Hello, everybody, and welcome to the annual Wolf Sports Network Draft Show. It's a very exciting time right now. Things have been building since the end of the NFL season in February after Super Bowl Sunday. Prospects have been training. We've gone through the combine, pro days, the interviewing process. The strange process where sometimes prospects dip on people's draft boards despite football games not being played. But that has all led up to tonight, April 24th. The Tennessee Titans are officially on the clock, and the NFL draft is officially open. We have a large cast of people coming on. All your favorites from Wolf Sports Network. Even a guy from Wolf Radio by the name of Riley will be on for the show.
Sir. I'm excited for him.
He's a diehard Colts fan. Has been really excited to get on. But in this first block, I will be your host, Richard Reed, joined by John Howley holding it down on the board. Happy birthday to John.
Appreciate it again, brother.
Carly Pearson right here. And Phoenix Lindquist, somebody that we have not seen on air in a good minute.
Welcome back.
Welcome on, everybody. How we feeling?
Feeling good.
I'm feeling excited today. Look, you said it was my birthday earlier. I appreciate it. But there's Terry Fontenot. I don't know if you're listening. I don't know what magical powers you got. There's one thing I want for my birthday, and it is an edge rusher, possibly out of the University of Marshall or Georgia. Heck, you may get a guy out of Tennessee. But all I ask for, please, 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 give me the edge rusher that we once needed last year. You made me crash out on stream for it. Seriously, I need an edge rusher for this Falcons team. We saw what happened this year. We got a young team, but we got to build for the future.
Yeah, the one constant thing across all Falcon fans out here, and you can see that general consensus on the Wolf Sports Network Instagram. Our social media director, Jackson, just put a video together asking all the Falcons fans here at the station who they wanted to see the Falcons draft. And everybody's saying the same thing. Edge rusher, whether it's Mike Green or Michael Williams, the Falcons want to get an edge rusher in this draft class, whether it's Mike Green or Michael Williams. Either way, Falcons fans want to see the Falcons get an edge rusher in this draft class. It's going to be very interesting to see where they go with that. But that's pick number 15. But we're starting with pick number 1 with the Tennessee Titans, who are currently on the clock. There's a lot of different ways they can go with that pick. They can go Abdul Carter. They can go Shedeur Sanders even, maybe even Travis Hunter. But the general consensus around the league is that the Titans pick is already punched and that they're going to go with Cam Ward. What do you all feel about that one?
Sorry about that. Honestly, you got to go Cam Ward here. He's your best quarterback on the board, essentially. And for the scenario that the Titans are in, the one thing you got to realize with Cam Ward, he's a playmaker. Look, we know that he started in Incarnate Woods, transferred over to Incarnate Word. So I don't want to say Woods. It's always gotten me.
It's all good.
We talked about that before.
Got a little list.
Hey, it's okay. It's okay. But we've talked about it before. You saw what he did at Washington State. You know, he originally was going to be in the draft last year, but decided to pull out and go to Miami. But we saw him shine. We saw him break records. We saw him absolutely throw it out there and really just show that why he is the number 1 pick. He is a playmaker. He's a little nonchalant in the pocket, but he is also able to just be creative with his plays. Another thing that I noticed within a guy like Shedeur Sanders, but still, I think you got to go Cam Ward 1 here unless you're going to shock the world and take someone else.
Yeah, it's going to be very interesting to see where the Titans go with that pick. This is a team that has picked quarterbacks in the past, but that hasn't really fanned out with guys like Ryan Tannehill. They didn't draft him. They traded for him. It worked out for a while. They had a guy in Malik Willis. They had Will Levis. They had other guys on this team, but things just haven't seemed to work out with the Tennessee Titans. So, as of right now, we're looking to see that they might just go with Cam Ward here to try to fix their issues at quarterback. As of right now, we got Commissioner Roger Goodell riding his bike out onto the stage alongside Lil Wayne and a few other notable NFL names, even though Lil Wayne's not an NFL guy. They're out there riding the bike, carrying on that Green Bay Packers tradition of riding the bikes out there at the starting training camp since the draft is in Green Bay. Roger Goodell's getting everything going for us. We'll be following along very closely to the entire draft, obviously, because this is our draft show. But what you will not hear is anything from Roger Goodell or anything from the broadcast. We at Wolf Sports Network do not want to get copyrighted. We don't want to have to pay the NFL any more money than we have to pay them already for subscribing to them in order to watch their games. But we will be covering every single thing, letting you know each and everything that is happening so far. Now, Carly, I know there was one specific thing in the draft process that a lot of people don't think about that you wanted to kind of shine some light on this opening block.
Oh, yeah, for sure. I think, first of all, with the draft, usually each year the branding is somehow a little different, especially with the place that's at. This year, it's Green Bay. You see so many cheese hats in this crowd right now. But one thing I do want to point out, first of all, is this logo for the draft show this year. It's an all-green logo, which is different from the light blue contrast that we've seen in the past, which I think is really cool. You're in Green Bay. You go with the all-green. So I think it's super cool. You're going all out, matching the city that you're in. Another thing that I do really want to touch on that we touched on last year, shout out Gianna. She is a World Sports Network alumni. Me and her covered this at the beginning of the draft last year, and we couldn't help but do it again. And I'm joined by Phoenix, so this is going to be great. So a lot of people love to make their statement with their outfits, right? So all these draftees are coming out, showing out in their best red carpet, or might I say green carpet, outfits for this NFL draft. So we kind of want to break down some of the ones that we've seen highlighted a lot. I think the one that has really struck most people is Jalen Milroe's
that chrome heart suit?
The chrome heart suit. So it's an all-black suit with a couple white bedazzled crosses all across the suit. He has his initials in like a cursive gold, like pins on the side. Lots of diamond chains and everything. Overall, clean outfit.
Mm-hmm.
What do you think, Phoenix?
I actually like it. I mean, that's an expensive outfit right there, first of all.
Yeah.
And he showed it off pretty well. I like it.
For sure. I think another one that's really catching people's attention, really a highlight of this draft outfits would be Travis Hunter in the highlighter pink blazer. Mm-hmm. So he went with an all black tie, button up, black pants, but he showed up with a highlighter hot pink blazer.
I'm not liking it.
It is very bright.
Yeah, that is very bright.
Yeah, it's definitely a little rough on the eyes. You got the Pepto-Bismol pink going on. I'm not really the biggest fan of it.
It's brighter than Pepto-Bismol.
Yeah,
it's brighter.
It's a little brighter than that, but it still has the point. It feels thick like how Pepto-Bismol is. I don't know if you ever had to take it, but like it's a thick pink liquid, and that's what that suit feels like to me. It just I don't know, it just kind of makes me uncomfortable. I'm not really a biggest fan.
Is it crazy to say that I'm a little bit of a fan of it? I kind of like it.
It is a little crazy to say that.
Got to stand out amongst the stars, you know. It's a bright pink.
Yeah, I feel like if you're gonna go with the hot pink, you got to go with a different color other than black to contrast, because black and that very hot pink, they don't complement each other super well. So that's probably what I would say. Another outfit that's caught my attention as well is Shamar Stewart from Texas A&M. The all green.
I like that green color.
Okay, it's a nice Kelly green color. All green, but it's kind of like a side button.
I'm giving a rope.
And it's like a satin green. And then the big chain. I'm not sure what like the symbol on the chain is.
It looks like some kind of animal, like a bear or something like that. Like he's going beast mode. But it's okay. I mean, I like the way the chain goes with the green, but there's too much green. It's a little too much going on. I'm not really a fan of the satin. I made this joke earlier. It looks like something that you would wear to a Hugh Hefner party. I mean, it's just like, I don't know, it's like a little too much silk satin going on. I don't know if he has like crazy plans for after the draft. Maybe he does. He's going to get drafted in the first round. It's not my business what he going to do with his money, what kind of party he going to. I know Diddy's locked up right now, so he's going to those parties, but I don't know. But the satin ain't really my Matt forte.
I'm not able to see it right now, so I just give him the thumbs up right here.
Seal
of approval from John.
All pants, all satin.
Carly, I don't mean to cut you off right now, but I just do have to say the Tennessee Titans are officially on the clock. They currently have 9 minutes left until they have to enter their pick for the first overall pick in this year's 2025 NFL Draft. They're showing Cam Ward on the screen right now. I'm not opposed to Cam Ward's outfit. He kept it pretty simple.
That's nice.
Got the U on there.
Grayish
the white
tan,
undershirt,
white tee.
It's looking classy.
Yeah, you see he has the Miami Hurricanes logo on the on his pin there. I mean, I'm not mad at it. Very simple outfit. Didn't do too much. I don't know. I feel like he did just enough. You know, that's a guy that's just in there to handle business. He's not here for the fashion show. He's repping the U, his most recent school, and he's looking to get drafted first overall.
Let me see.
Now, John, while Carly looks for what she's looking for, Do you think Cam Ward is a lock for this number 1 overall pick here, or can you see them going different ways with it? They look pretty relaxed in this draft room. It seems like they already know what they're going to do.
It reminds me of when the Jaguars drafted Trevor Lawrence. I mean, they talked to him months prior, already starting to install the playbook slowly.
Wait a minute, Cam Ward just took a phone call.
Oh?
Cam Ward just took a phone call, ladies and gentlemen.
Oh, gosh.
Listen, and you know what that means. When that phone rings, that means the general manager is calling, unless one of your homeboys prank call you, whatever, but I'd have everybody else blocked.
It
seems like the Titans
he
general
got 2 phones
manager
tonight.
may have just called Cam Ward. I mean, they're showing on the TV that Travis Hunter's standing up. I don't know why he might be standing up. See, I'm overanalyzing it. But I did just see Cam Ward take a phone call. I'm assuming that phone call was telling him that, look, I'm the general manager for the Tennessee Titans here. We're going to see him use his first overall pick to take you. What do y'all think? Y'all see this going any other way? Do you think Travis Hunter could go first overall?
I mean, if he hasn't gotten a phone call yet, I mean, who knows? I'm sure Cam Ward would be happy with that first round pick.
I don't know. I feel like Cam Ward is a lock for the first overall pick. The Titans have a lot of flaws. All they have at wide receiver right now is Calvin Ridley. Last night they actually made a big signing and getting Tyler Lockett to a 1-year deal for $4 million up to $6 million. So I feel like in making that move, they're trying to get whichever quarterback they take the proper weapons needed to have at least moderate success in the first year. The defense isn't terrible, but it's nothing to write home about. But right now the only weapons are Calvin Ridley, Tyler Lockett, and Tony Pollard. 3 very quarterback-friendly options. Calvin Ridley gives you that opportunity to really push the ball down the field and really become an explosive, flashy offense. So looking at that, I'm thinking it may just be Cam Ward here. I don't really see them going Shedeur Sanders first overall. I feel like it's got to be Cam Ward. But while we're still waiting on them to put in this pick, they got about 6.5 minutes left. Carly, I want to throw it back over to you.
Yeah, so I looked up the entirety of Cam Ward's outfit because I wasn't sure if he just did like the khaki tan colored jacket with different colored pants, but he did the full khaki tan color blazer with the pants with just the basic white undershirt and a chain. I think it's a very classy look. It looks very professional.
I agree. Yeah, it doesn't look like Travis Hunter. His looks tacky, and now he took off the
Yeah, he took off the
suit,
pink,
and
now
now
he just has
He's
on
it's
black.
also
all
probably
black.
stressing
Yeah.
like crazy
So it's
right
kinda-
now. I mean, the conditions that you go in the draft room. I remember the phone calls used to be showed all the time, and now, like you said, you saw the phone call. I didn't see it.
The
but
Tennessee
still.
Titans are currently on the phone. They just passed the phone around to everybody in the office. I feel like this pick is officially in. There's a lot of people standing up. Abdul Carter standing up.
Yeah.
Travis Hunter was just standing up. Cam Ward was
Nervous.
just standing up. I feel like they're doing this to kind of make everybody a little nervous here.
Yeah.
But I don't know, man. It's very interesting. They're making phone calls, so I'm not really sure what's going to happen. I just got pumped fake by JT in the control room. He just pointed to the screen, acting shocked. I turned around really quick. I'll admit that, JT. He broke my neck right there. But we're still waiting on the Titans to put in their pick. I'm thinking Cam Ward, but it could be Abdul Carter.
I think that's a good point going back to you're under a lot of pressure as a draftee in this draft. And honestly, in terms of outfits, you don't want to wear something that's super restraining or tight or honestly just looks really stiff. And a lot of these guys' outfits kind of do look like that. So props to Cam Ward. It looks like he's in his European linen era and it's nice. So good for him. But I have to touch on one more outfit fashion. So Austin Genty.
Oh my gosh, we're talking about
The pick is in. The pick is in. I'm sorry. I had to say that. The Tennessee Titans pick is officially in. Carly, I want to let you make that point real quick when talking about Ashton Genty's outfit before the commissioner walks out onto this stage. But I just saw the graphic change. The Tennessee Titans pick is in. So,
Yes.
Carly, if you could make it a quick.
Yes. Okay. You have to look up his Crocs. I don't know what's going on. I don't know if they're bedazzled. It kind of looks like shattered glass with bedazzled stuff. But yeah, look up the Crocs. Let us know what you think in the comments, and let's see what this first round pick is.
I will say this, just chime in quickly before everything really gets going. They're showing Cam Ward right now, but talk about Ashton Genty's outfit. He has on a pretty nice suit, but he has on diamond and black Crocs like Carly was saying. I'm not sure if they're real diamonds or if they just look bedazzled or not. But either way, they're diamond Crocs, and I'm really not too mad at him for it. I used to wear Crocs a lot in high school when I played baseball. Super comfortable.
Yeah. It's cool.
I actually was looking all over the world for Croc cleats because how comfortable Crocs are. So to have some Croc cleats, I feel like it would have been the coolest thing ever. So I'm really not mad at him. Get a nice
They're
flashy
cool,
pair of Crocs wear on stage for the draft. I think that'd be dope.
But I feel like it doesn't match.
Yeah,
well
nice
with the
suit.
patterns.
Yeah.
that he has
So
going on.
I'm asking
Phoenix, talk about
Genty,
the
we'll
patterns
just
and the
stud it out.
colors.
That's like burgundy.
Yeah,
Would
it's
you
almost
say?
like a burgundy,
Like
purple,
with,
brown,
like flower, like lace. It looks like lace
yeah,
with flowers
with the
I don't even
black
know.
low key, it looks tacky.
Yeah.
The more I look at it, I'm not
No, I
even gonna lie,
believe you.
y'all.
There's not much you can do
Yeah.
to make diamond and black
No.
Crocs.
He should have just worn like
tank.
all black, or maybe with like a flower.
Yeah, if it was all
lace.
black.
Yeah, I don't like the burgundy or whatever that is.
Okay,
Yeah.
the graphics on the stage just changed. The Tennessee Titans pick
Gosh,
is
you're
officially
ahead of me,
in,
dude.
like I
It's
was
coming
saying.
out.
And Roger
I'm
Goodell
nervous.
is walking across the stage. The 2025 NFL Draft is now open. These things are happening, ladies and gentlemen. I am so excited.
Dude, you are so
Because the
ahead.
first overall pick, the Tennessee Titans will select. All right, I was a little ahead, but I'm waiting. Here we go. Roger's reading it. I wish I could let y'all hear it. Quarterback Cam Ward
there
from the
we go.
University of Miami goes first overall to the Tennessee Titans. The first peg has officially fallen, and Cam Ward is the new quarterback of the Tennessee Titans. Congratulations, Cam Ward. John, I want to throw it over
Yes,
to you
sir.
first. How do you feel about this moment?
I mean, I think this is a great thing to do. Honestly, that's the best pick you got there, and that's where you go, and you're going to try to build for the future now. That's the whole thing with Cam Ward. You bring this guy in to change your franchise, to be your franchise player. I mean, this is what you want from him. He's a guy who can sit in the pocket, who can read the field, and you know what? If he's got the time, which he won't have that much time in Tennessee with that O-line, which they need to build up, he can still survey the field and get plays off. And
Oh my
extend
gosh,
with his
hold on, we got
legs.
to trade.
We already got a trade?
The Cleveland Browns have traded the second overall pick to the Jacksonville Jaguars, ladies and gentlemen. I don't know what is going on right now. Things have just gotten crazy. I don't have all the details of this trade right now, John. I'm sorry to cut you off.
No, you're
but
good.
I thought, okay, let me just tell you.
This is crazy.
Second overall, Cleveland Browns. I thought they were penciled in. I was like, in my mind, I was like, okay, they're either drafting Travis Hunter or Abdul Carter. But now you have the Jacksonville Jaguars sitting with the number 2 overall pick. I'm not sure where the Browns have moved back to, but in viewing this pick, the Jacksonville Jaguars are a team with a lot of holes on their roster. Obviously, they know which guy they want to get, which is why they moved up. But if I'm the Jacksonville Jaguars, obviously, with all these holes on the roster, you need to get one of the best 2 players available.
My question-
The top 2 players available are Travis Hunter and Abdul Carter, but as the Jacksonville Jaguars, they need help. I think they go Abdul Carter second overall with this newly acquired pick.
I mean, the more thing I'm trying to think of is, what'd you do to trade up that far? I mean,
That's what I'm wondering. The
You're not
details
that
haven't
far
come out yet.
behind. I mean, we're still waiting to see what's been traded here. But I mean, the speculations around the Jaguars recently was they were potentially going to take Ashton Genty and moved on from.
There's no way.
I think you're right
From
here.
Trevor Lawrence?
No. Ashton Genty. They're going to take him. I don't think you move on from T-Law.
Yeah.
Okay,
You don't move on from T-Law. You got to give him his time.
See, here's my thing with that pick, John. Getting Ashton Genty early in the draft, even at the pick they were in, made no sense to me. Because this is the team, they have Travis Etienne at running back already. Yes, he hasn't been that successful, but there are holes up and down that roster. The offensive line is not great. They need another corner outside of Tyson Campbell in the secondary. They have holes all over that roster. They need receiver as well. So when looking at this team, running back isn't that. Drafting a running back here would be like putting a Band-Aid over a bullet hole. You've got way
I
bigger
know
problems.
this.
You need to go to the ER. And I
Yeah.
feel like the best medicine the doctor could give the Jacksonville Jaguars right now is taking the best player available, which would either be Travis Hunter or Abdul Carter. And I'm really leaning.
I'm going Abdul.
I'm really leading Travis Hunter here.
Really?
And I'm going to tell you exactly why. They need another corner. Travis Hunter is a two-way player. They've lost just about all of their weapons except for Brian Thomas. They lost Evan Ingram to the Denver Broncos, and they also lost Christian Kirk. Can't remember where he went, but he's no longer part of their roster. So in getting Travis Hunter, you get a guy that you can have as one of Trevor Lawrence's top weapons at receiver, and also put him at corner opposite side of Tyson Campbell. What do you think, y'all? What do y'all think?
I'm honestly just in shock that that just happened because I feel like no one was expecting that. So I'm really
I'm confused.
with just under 4.5 minutes left. I'm really interested to see what they do, and they're also not showing any of the guys in the room, so it's like we can't see if someone's getting a phone call or not.
Well, that's the whole thing. You keep it a surprise. But
Oh,
back to what
yeah.
you were saying, Richard, to pair him up with Tyson Campbell, we know he's really good. And at this point, he is really, really wanting to I guess they really need to build their defense. I mean, you got an offense with some weapons, so you're really trying to help build this up. And to go get defense here, if it's going to be defensive line, it's going to be cornerback, you're going to put it in a different scenario, then I think it's a smart move. But I'm leaning Abdul here. You know what? You know who they ended up taking? Trayvon Walker. A couple
They
of years
did get
ago,
Trayvon Walker
and he
first
hasn't
overall
been
in the
bad at all.
2022 draft.
You know what?
I know he has not been
I might
bad
start seeing the
whatsoever.
vision now. It could be Travis Hunt. Gosh. I don't know.
I really think Travis Hunter's the best pick here. We got Andrew Jefferson rotating in for us right now. We're going to get another opinion on this matter. So, Andrew, you see what just happened. Cam Ward just went number 1 overall, but we're not even here to talk about that right now. The Jacksonville Jaguars pick is officially in. They've traded up to number 2 overall. Andrew, I made the case for them drafting Travis Hunter right here. What do you think would be the best option for the Jaguars right here at number 2 overall?
I think number 2 overall, the obvious pick is Travis Hunter. Because imagine what the pairing would be like for Trevor Lawrence, because we saw what he was able to do last year. Because people are masked over by the lack of success that Jacksonville had last year. But you go look at his tape and you go look at his highlights and what he was doing on a week-to-week basis. Yeah, the numbers don't reflect it, but the plays that he was making with the lack of weapons was insane. And you look at the top, like the aggressive catches that Travis Hunter was able to make in double coverage based on the wide receiver potential that he has. You mix him in with Trevor Lawrence, who can fit it into tight coverage.
Yep.
That's a pairing match. That's a match made in heaven right there.
I agree with you 100%, Andrew, and that's only one side of the coin. You talked about him being a dynamic playmaker at receiver, partnering him up with Brian Thomas, their stud of a wide receiver that they drafted in the first round last year. But Travis Hunter can also help at cornerback as well. We know he's the best two-way player in the country, one of the only two-way players in the country, which is why he just won the Heisman. So pairing him up in that weak secondary alongside Tyson Campbell, who has shown he can be a top 10 to 15 corner in the NFL, I feel like that can really help fix a lot of issues for a Jaguars team that has issues up and down the roster.
So I'm going to ask you this.
I'm seeing right here that the Jaguars got a bunch of the picks from this year from the Browns. They got a 2nd, 4th, and a 6th round to get from the Browns to move up to the 2nd spot. I did not catch the other graphic what the Browns traded, but obviously, I mean, I'm wondering what else the Browns traded to move down from there.
There's a lot of high fives and hugs in the Jaguars war room right now. Andrew and Carly, do either of you have any thoughts going into this as we wait on the commissioner to walk into the stage?
Well, I was just going to say, I don't know what you guys had looking at Cleveland to get in the 2nd pick before it was traded, but I was really loving the idea of Travis Hunter. You talked about his cornerback ability, getting paired up with Denzel Ward and moved Denzel Ward to the cornerback 2, but now that our reality is out the window. So what do you see for the Browns' future now that they've traded down and they're not going to get Travis anymore? Who do you guys have the Browns getting now?
Honestly, this is a very interesting situation for the Browns to be in. What they moved to 5, right? They did a pick swap to 5?
Yeah,
Yes.
5.
Okay, I have an idea right here, and I'm very interested. I really want to talk about this, so we'll talk about it more in a second, but the commissioner is officially on the stage.
Let's go.
And I think he's up there with Eric Armstead. Correct me if I'm wrong, but there aren't too many other guys with heads that square and necks that round. So I think that might just be Eric Armstead on the stage with the commissioner.
Eric Armstead,
Let's see what this pick might be.
Man.
And
This is so nerve-wracking, and it's not even my team.
It's extremely nerve-wracking. This is exactly why I love the NFL draft right here. Conversations like this, and now questions needing to be answered, like the one Andrew just posed to me, of what do the Browns do at 5th overall right now. Very interesting case study as we wait on the commissioner to read off this very small note card. I'm not sure why it's taking so long. All right, I think Eric Armstead's about to say a few words here. So, and I don't want to start this whole conversation and then they announce the pick. So I'm just kind of trying to drag it along here. But
who would have predicted a draft this trade this early in the draft?
I thought the first 3 were solidified no matter what, but it's crazy to see them trade up and say, "Hey, we're going to go get someone." I mean, that's the new front office, right? The young front office is the Jaguars brought in. So I think the GMs, the Duval or whatever it is, trying to make a statement.
What I was thinking the first trade of this draft would happen around 6 with a team like the Oakland Raiders, a team that has gone out, got a new coaching staff, got a new quarterback in Geno Smith and a few other pieces. I feel like they would and still could trade back from that 6th spot to accumulate more draft capital in order to fill more holes on that roster. But for the Cleveland Browns to trade out of the 2nd overall pick, I found this very shocking. Eric Armstead just changed note cards. He's smiling pretty big. Let's see what they say here.
Who do we have
with
here?
The 2nd overall pick in the 2025 NFL Draft, the Jacksonville Jaguars select. And we're still waiting.
The suspense is crazy.
It's Travis Hunter.
Is it Travis Hunter?
Yes.
Yes.
Travis Hunter, 2nd overall to the Jacksonville Jaguars.
He's got a little dance going on.
This is huge for Jacksonville. I'm super excited. Travis Hunter is too. The number 2 overall pick in the 2025 NFL Draft is Travis Hunter. What are y'all's immediate thoughts?
I mean, I'm just going to say this was the obvious pick to me. I mean, you talked about it even more, Richard, just what this pairing does to Jacksonville, a team that had a really depleted offense. Now, mind you, injuries did come to the injury bug did get him last year, but even a healthy Jaguars team was not going to make much of a deep threat to any of the opposing teams. But again, you get this pairing with Trevor Lawrence and Travis Hunter warmed up and what he's able to do on the defensive side. Now, it is a big question mark on how much back and forth he will be playing in terms of offense and defense, because we've seen players like him come into the league and do this kind of stuff in college. Jabril Peppers is is the name that's renouncing in my head right now.
Gosh.
But those questions will be answered later. But right now, I'm salivating over this if you're a Jacksonville fan.
Oh, yeah. If I'm a Jacksonville fan, I'm extremely excited as well. And when talking about if he's going to be able to play both sides, he is killing it on the dance floor. Before he went to dab up the commissioner. That kind of energy is exactly why I love Travis Hunter. But when looking at this for Jacksonville and thinking about what side of the ball he may play, I wouldn't even limit him and try to pencil him in a certain position day one. The way I see it, players like this is what the preseason is for.
Absolutely.
I
say in certain preseason, one preseason game, maybe let him get a lot of reps in at receiver. Then the second half of that same preseason game, let him play at corner the entire time. Or let him do like how he did in college and just play the full game of both positions and see how things go. I feel like in the NFL, he's going to have to be penciled in to one primary position to maybe help out at another. But I feel like in the preseason and throughout training camp is where we'll really see him line up on both sides and get a glance at which position he may be able to succeed at the most. But with this Jacksonville team, partnering him up as a potential wide receiver with Brian Thomas and a potential big-time lockdown corner alongside Tyson Campbell really helps to fix a very, very, very flawed Jacksonville Jaguars team.
Look, I'm liking it here. I mean, I finally sold on myself, and I like what you said there. Give him the preseason kind of figure it out because, I mean, with all due respect, this isn't college anymore. You're now in the NFL. You were drafted second overall, and you're going to – I know you say, like, you've played both ways your whole life. You'll quit. You're going to have to make a decision. And honestly, I think he's a better DB than he is a wide receiver. That's what he was known for at Collins Hill here in Georgia. And when he went to college, everything, he's a primary DB. I know he's got a little bit more size on him, but still, we know he's a great DB. But I like what you said there. Let him figure it out in the preseason, and they'll make the call then.
But one thing I will say, John, you just pointed out the fact that he was just drafted second overall. You don't draft a guy like this second overall just for him to play one position. When it's a guy that's a freak athlete like this, you draft him second overall because of how many different ways he can help your team.
Absolutely.
So I'm not penciling him in anywhere right now. You're drafting a guy that is a flat-out baller, and however way you need him to help your team, even if you need him to line up at quarterback, he'll be able to do it.
He'll do it.
Now we got to move on because the third overall pick is officially in. The New York Giants have placed their pick. It has yet to be announced, but the Giants sit at third overall, having signed Russell Wilson and Jameis Winston as the quarterbacks on their roster. So, Andrew, looking forward to the Giants pick third overall. Which direction do you see them going here? There's a lot of big-time names still on the board, one including Abdul Carter.
Well, I'm gonna take a look at Abdul Carter, actually. You look at what he did in how he fixed the team, and I take a look at what the Giants did over the offseason and acquiring some other edge rushers like Brian Burns, for example. I think these are some pairings that could present one of the NFL's scariest pass rush trios if they get Abdul Carter, because the Giants ranked 30th in the NFL in sacks per game, which was just 1.8. So Abdul Carter is going to boost those numbers immediately. Now, I have to say, though, I know the quarterback situation in New York, you got Jameis Winston, you got Russell Wilson. Those are two vets that can carry you throughout a season. So I know quarterback is not solidified there, but it's ridiculous to assume they're going Shadir Sanders for anyone out there who believes it. Because you can wait until next draft, which the quarterback's room in the next draft is so much better than what you have now. You can get by with Russell Wilson, Jameis Winston. You get your edge rusher now, solidify that defense that's been lacking on pass rush for many, many years. So I think Carr's the obvious pick.
I'm with you 100%. I think Abdul Carter is definitely the best pick for the New York Giants here. If any team over the history of the NFL has proven that you can never have too many really good edge rushers, it's the New York Giants.
Yep.
They were built on defense, those Super Bowl runs when they beat Tom Brady 2 times in the Super Bowl. So adding another big-time pass rusher in Abdul Carter, pairing him up with Kayvon Thibodeau, I feel like is the obvious pick. You can never have too many. Really shore up a defense that was really shaky throughout the season. Get yourself a big-time pass rush, because that is one thing that will never go out of style in the NFL, having a disruptive pass rush.
Yeah, that's the thing I was thinking about with Kayvon. You get a guy to pair with Kayvon Thibodeau because, to be honest with you, I don't think Kayvon Thibodeau has been that great. I mean, I know they drafted him 5th overall back in 2021, I think. And but I just have not seen him be that special, and you're going to need another guy. It can't just be the Kayvon Thibodeau show. And, I mean, I know you have – I'm trying to think of their defensive line, and I don't know.
You got Brian Burns now.
Brian Burns.
Brian Burns is also a part of that team.
But
his pass rush can be special.
So let me present this idea, because I know what you're saying about Thibodeau not being so effective, but if you stack the line with Thibodeau, Brian Burns, and now Abdul Carter, do you know the opportunities that could open up? Because the coverage on the offensive line is not going to lean so heavily towards one side. They're going to space out more. There's going to be more cushion.
Hold on, the pick has been officially placed. I hate to cut you off, Andrew, but Abdul Carter has been drafted 3rd overall to the New York Football Giants. Welcome in my guy JT Groves.
How we doing?
Sometimes host of the Playbook. Glad to have you on. I know you're a New York football fan, but you got all your Bills stuff. How do you feel about the Giants selecting Abdul Carter 3rd overall?
I expected this. I'm just really confused about the Jaguars trading up for Travis Hunter. I don't hate the move, but I saw Abdul Carter being a great fit for the Giants here.
Yeah, I think it's incredible. Andrew, you were talking about this a second ago before I cut you off to announce the pick.
Oh, I was just going to say, talking about what John was saying about Thibodeau not being the greatest or most effective right out the gate. But it's because, I mean, let's face it, he was the only legitimate pass rusher for New York. But if you stack that line with Brian Burns and now Abdul Carter, that's going to cushion up the offensive line because they're not going to be leaning so far heavy one side. So there's going to be a lot of blanket room for all these 3 other edge rushers to be pushing in and getting into the pocket. So this is a great move if you're a New York fan. Absolutely beautiful.
And I'll say this: Abdul Carter is a certified game breaker. He's one of those guys. He's not just a game player. He's not just a stud. He's an outright game breaker. He's one of these guys that can turn a game in your favor. Now, obviously, he has not played any snaps in the NFL right now, but pairing him up with Kayvon Thibodeau and Brian Burns, adding Abdul Carter to that mix, that gives him the ability to play free. He won't have to just be penciled in as a straight-up edge rusher. He'll be able to move around like his Penn State predecessor, Micah Parsons. I know it's a big name to compare him to, but that's how he'll be able to be utilized in a defense, on a defensive line that already has so many big-time weapons. I feel like this is the perfect pick for the New York Giants, who are already kind of somewhat set in place at quarterback with a guy like Russell Wilson that can give them a solid performance this year.
Yeah, I mean, look, I think it's just one heck of a move. You got to do it. You got to build for the. I mean, I keep saying build for the future. That's the whole point of the draft. But still, you got a beast of a defensive edge right there. You got an absolute beast. And really, I just like it. I know the New York Giants, all the fans, they are so happy. And you saw the guy holding the Carter sign up and just going crazy. So great to see it.
Richard, you made a good point about how you're talking about the free roam that he's going to have on the line as well, because we're talking about his pass rush abilities, but we're not even taking into account what he can do in stopping the run and the amount of tackle for loss yards that he picked up this past season and in 2023. So in terms of just stopping the run, that's just another factor that's going to play in tight for this Giants defense that's really looking for that kind of presence.
This is also a guy that you can use as a QB spy as well.
Yep.
He has insane sideline speed, as a lot of these highlights being broadcast on the ESPN broadcast are showing. He's outright incredible. He can get out there. He has insane bend. He can get out there dead on, rush the passer. You can drop him back in coverage. You can use him as a spy. He's a big-time run stopper. He's not a little guy, even though he looks slim. He's a big-time defensive lineman. He's a guy that you can put any and everywhere. And adding him to this Giants defense is really going to help strengthen this team a whole lot. But I'm still very interested to see what the Giants decide to do offensively, because you have Russell Wilson. You have Jameis Winston. I'm not going to stay on the Giants too long because I know the Patriots pick is coming up at 4. But at the same time, what are the Giants going to do offensively?
I think they're kind of banking on next year's draft is what I've seen. And not what I've seen, but that's
does Brian Dable have that much time left on his contract?
I would say otherwise, unless for some reason Russell Wilson gives them a little bit of that, like they'll give you the 1-year extension. I mean, I feel like they're trying to fully go on to next year, but that's not the scenario they wanted. They hired Duval to be in a much better scenario, and obviously they are not there right now.
Could this be another team that we looked maybe later in the draft to make another trade up and maybe get an offensive weapon? I'm just speaking hypothetical, but we've already seen one I would call shocking trade so far. So I think the possibility is out there.
I wouldn't be surprised at all to see them make some moves throughout the rest of this draft. There's a lot of teams I have in mind that I could see maybe moving around and kind of pivoting to get back in range. But one of those teams is the New York Giants. I could see them maybe sitting back in the early second round and drafting a guy like Jalen Milroe, or trying to shop that second round pick in order to get another offensive weapon to pair up with Russell Wilson and Malik Neighbors.
But with the Giants, I don't really see a reason for them to trade up because there's so much talent at the running back spot, the wide receiver spot in this draft. I don't see a reason they would have to trade up to get a great guy on offense.
I can understand that because this is very deep in skill positions. Now we're going to take a quick song break, but stay tuned because when we get back, we're going to dive into the Patriots' 4th overall pick because they are currently on the clock. We'll be right back in a second. This is the NFL Draft Show on Wolf Sports Network. Welcome back, everyone, to the Wolf Sports Network 2025 NFL Draft Show. We will be covering the entire first round of the NFL Draft with all of your favorite Wolf Sports Network personalities. I am Richard Reed, currently joined by John Halley, JT Groves, and Andrew Jefferson. Excuse me. I don't know why I put an S on the end.
Hey, wonderful sponsor here in Carrollton, all right?
Oh, yeah, we love Jefferson and Carrollton, though. So while you watch us, be sure to get some great food from Jefferson's in Carrollton. Now, we are currently awaiting the New England Patriots' 4th overall pick. New head coach Mike Vrabel looking to add on to this team that will be led by Drake May. And the commissioner is currently on the stage. We came back at the perfect time. Does anybody have a quick prediction on who this pick may be?
I got you.
And it's Will Campbell.
I was going to say Will Campbell, you son of a gun.
So you have Drake May at quarterback for the New England Patriots. New head coach Mike Vrabel used to coach the Tennessee Titans when they had a lot of success with Derrick Henry. He goes out and gets his franchise offensive lineman to protect his franchise quarterback, Drake May. John, I know you played offensive line in college. Walk us through what makes Will Campbell so special.
Yeah, look, I've heard what the critics said. Said he's got too short of arms. He's basically got T-Rex arms. Get that out of here. Get that trash out of here. I do not care. Here's the thing. Will Campbell's got great technique. And when you have great technique, that allows you to do a lot of things here. We saw it at LSU. He's a stud. You have a guy you have in the locker room. But here's the one thing as well. He's very smart when it comes to run blocking and pass blocking. I was watching earlier today to double check myself. When there's just open field, he is scanning and moving around. He's pass setting. He is posting. He knows when to pick up on certain stunts. And then when it comes to run blocking, he's really good on the outside and can get really downfield and hard nose with these guys. That's what a couple of these guys can do really well at the guard position. But having a guy like Will Campbell, I think it's one heck of a pick. I love it, and for to beef up the Patriots offensive line to give Drake May what he needs, it is a awesome choice. And like I said, I don't care if you got small arms, what you think, get it out of there, because I promise you, this is a Pro Bowl winner right here. I'm promising you that Pro Bowler right
Pro
there.
Bowl offensive
Exactly.
lineman, I like it.
Yeah.
Yeah, exactly. But even with the critique saying he has small arms, they might move him to offensive guard. Either way, he's going to be a great talent.
I don't think you're moving to guard right now.
He's going to be a great talent no matter where he plays on that offensive line. He can play anywhere. You can put him in any
I
spot
like what
if you need
there.
him.
I like what you said there, buddy.
With a young quarterback like Drake May being back there, you're going to need someone to protect him so he doesn't end up like Tua. But
Yeah, I mean that's a great assessment. Another AFC East quarterback. So yeah, they go out, get a franchise offensive lineman, who they want to be their franchise offensive lineman, and Will Campbell from LSU, pairing him up with Drake May and Stephon Diggs. It could be something special building up there in New England. Maybe
Scares me.
another dynasty.
Oh,
Now
I love
Andrew,
scary.
5th overall pick. The Cleveland Browns have done a pick swap with the Jacksonville Jaguars. They currently have 7 minutes left on the clock before they have to make their pick. Who do you think the Browns draft 5th overall?
So this is something that I think could probably cater to the reason why they trade down. I think you take a look at Myles Garrett coming back, that surprise signing that happened over the offseason. So I think if you're the Browns right now, you could take a stab and bolster up the defense even more. I would love if the Browns go out and just go and snag Jalen Walker right now.
Oh, wow.
I think adding Jalen Walker to that defense
It's
would
an
be
already insane defense with Myles Garrett and
Denzel Ward,
excuse me. Yeah, it's a lot of talented guys on that defense.
And yeah, Walker, he's just a versatile guy. I mean, 5 sacks, 8.5 tackles for loss last season, and he plays multiple linebacker spots. I mean, you can just move him all around the field, and he's going to give you that defensive presence that you need. And I think, again, the Browns didn't have, I think they were bottom 15 in terms of a run defense. So I think, again, I love going back to the tackle for loss numbers because it just caters to how well he is at stopping the run. But I just think the Browns, I mean, you had the chance to bolster up that defense and create one of the scariest lines in all the NFL right now, so why not just go out and do it?
Now, Andrew, I understand that because Jalen Walker, I'd argue, is arguably the best player available right now, especially on the defensive side of the football. He's incredible. But if you're sitting at 5th overall and you're the Cleveland Browns, you got a lot of question marks at quarterback. Jameis Winston's no longer there. He's a New York Giant.
Okay.
Deshaun Watson, he's just torn his Achilles for a second time this offseason. But even when he was healthy, he still obviously was not the answer. Dorian Thompson-Robinson, he wasn't the answer either, but he's no longer on this roster. Why not go out and get the son of primetime Deion Sanders and shake things up early and draft Shador Sanders 5th overall? Now you have your franchise answer, who you want to be your franchise quarterback. Go ahead and get him 5th overall. Add him to an offense that showed flashes of being something special with Jerry Jeudy late in the season. I feel like this could maybe be a perfect fit for the Cleveland Browns, drafting Shador Sanders right here at 5.
I mean, I see what you're saying there, and I guess my logic towards that is, yeah, I guess the concern about Joe Flacco being behind center, especially with that offensive line.
Oh, I forgot Joe Flacco was there. So now we have a bridge quarterback.
Yes,
Yep.
Even better.
So I think, but with Joe Flacco being there, because I'm kind of I've made a list of teams that I think are going to be looking to next year's draft, and I think the Browns are up there on the list. Now, had the Browns had the 2nd pick, I would have seen them. They could have gone Travis Hunter, of course, but I don't know. I feel like the Browns went down in the draft to bolster up their draft capital and to stack the defense even more. I think they're going to be okay having Joe Flacco behind center for this season. And I know this is going to be far-fetched because of the contract that they have with Deshaun Watson, but the possibility of them still acquiring Kirk Cousins somehow is still out there, because I know there are teams that are still in talks about getting Kirk Cousins, and I know the Browns were one of those teams, and I don't know, there might be behind-the-scenes talks going on there. So I think the quarterback situation, they might just be bouncing around for this year, but I still like them to go Jalen Walker.
Yeah, with the next draft being much better with quarterback talent, I don't think you go with Shador here at 5.
Yeah.
I think you go with a guy like Mason Graham to help on that defensive
Can
line.
you go as far as to just straight up say the next year's draft is much better, though?
I would say
Outside of Arch
there's
Manning,
gonna be
who's
more
another just
talent.
certified guy that you can say, yeah, that's going to be a big-time pick, outside of Arch Manning.
There will be more talent.
But
There-
who? That's what I'm saying.
There will
We
be.
can't just say that now when we really don't know. And the Cleveland Browns just placed their pick, defensive lineman Mason Graham from Michigan. Now, JT, that's exactly what you were just saying. Y'all are talking about looking forward to next year. I'll go ahead and shut up. Take it away. Why was Mason Graham the right fit for the Cleveland Browns?
You said Jalen Walker might have been the best guy still available on defense. Mason Graham is easily the best guy available on defense. This guy can disrupt a defensive line just like Myles Garrett can. And if you have two of those guys on the same defensive line, that defense is set for, like, it'll be a great defense.
Mason
Top
Graham has
five.
had a very, very, very good career at Michigan.
And I guess, I guess it's interchangeable with Jalen Carter and Mason Graham because I think it's kind of this. It plays the same way like Jalen Carter. An interesting stat to know about Jalen Carter when he was with Michigan. When Jalen Carter was on the field, teams had a 3.6 yards per catch statistic when Graham was on the field. So that goes to show just he disrupts backfields. I mean, that's what he does best, and I guess that's what the Browns are looking for most. Because in a way, he's going to kind of help the secondary a little bit with the way that I guess he could play somewhat of the middle linebacker position. So I don't hate the pick. I don't hate it at all.
But here's the thing as well. They're just showing right there with Mason Graham. I mean, he's going up against one of the top prospects in the guards and Tyler Booker right there. And he was able to just absolutely eat him alive. I mean,
he ran right through him.
I'm about to say, to have that happen right there, to make that pick, it just adds that defensive line. You pay the money for Myles Garrett, so obviously, I mean, it's a good move. And JT, you must be an inside source or something.
I really like the haul that they got for that Travis Hunter trade up too. They got, I think it was a first next year. They got a couple second. They got a couple later picks. Oh, wow. I really like it, and they still managed to get one of the top defensive talents. So I love this for the Browns.
Yeah, this is definitely going to be a good long-term answer for the Browns. I was on the side of them taking Shedeur Sanders here just because next year's draft class still has a lot of question marks around it outside of Arch Manning. You're not really sure where you're going to be picking, but like you said, now they have 2 first-round picks. They have however they'll be placed next year, and the Jaguars picking next year's draft. They already brought back Myles Garrett to this defense. The secondary is elite with guys like Grant Delpit and Denzel Ward. And you go out and get an outright game breaker in Mason Graham at the defensive tackle position. It's a big-time win for the Cleveland Browns right here. They could have really gone either side. Quarterback, still a big question mark. Yes, they have Joe Flacco. Maybe they go out and get Kirk Cousins. Maybe for some reason they're still drinking that Deshaun Watson Kool-Aid. I'm not very sure what they're going to do at quarterback. Same way I have no idea what the what other team we were just
Raiders. Oh, sorry.
Raiders. Just how I'm not really sure what they're going to do about quarterback. To be quite frank, I'm not really sure what the Giants are going to do at quarterback either, or the Pittsburgh Steelers. But I do know one thing. The Cleveland Browns went out and got the best defensive lineman available in Mason Graham, a big-time defensive tackle who they are looking to be a match made in heaven alongside Myles Garrett.
Sorry, John, you good?
No, I didn't have anything
You got
to
it.
say.
Oh, okay, I was just going to say, let me just throw this possibility out there because I know we're already talking about next year's draft, and I guess I was also talking about next year's draft. But is it far-fetched to say, like, they have Joe Flacco sitting right there? Do they try to play off what Green Bay did with Aaron Rodgers? And who's to say they don't later in the draft get a guy like Jackson Dart or Dylan Gabriel who has that longevity career in college football? Because we've seen it more and more in recent years, like Bo Nix. You see how those years in college built up to his experience and how that built off his rookie season. So you get a guy like Dylan Gabriel or Jackson Dart and sit him behind a veteran like Joe Flacco for 1 or 2 seasons. Who says he doesn't have a Jordan Love kind of effect?
That is definitely still a
I do like
possibility.
that.
I'm not really upset with that because the Browns do still have an early second-round pick, and like JT said, they also acquired another second-round pick. So maybe early in the draft, you named a few guys, maybe early in the second round, you go and get Jalen Milroe. A guy that a lot of people is saying is a little rough around the edges, but has shown potential. In that game against Georgia, I'd argue he was the best quarterback in the country.
Oh, 100%.
That game against Georgia, I was convinced. The guy was like, yeah, he's going first overall. He's winning the Heisman. So we've seen flashes of what he can be. The deep ball accuracy is there. He's elite with his legs, right up there on Lamar Jackson's level when it comes to making plays with his legs. It's just the short and intermediate game is rough, and his ability to read defenses is very shaky.
Yeah.
But pairing him up with a guy like Joe Flacco, he can sit behind and maybe learn from. And then, like you're saying, other quarterbacks as well. If not Jalen Milroe, maybe Dylan Gabriel, a guy who has the all-time touchdowns, who's the all-time touchdowns leader in college football. That could be a big-time grab for the Cleveland Browns as well.
Yeah, and on the topic of quarterbacks, we're 5 picks into this draft, and Shedeur Sanders is still on the board.
He is.
He's fallen very far, and
I think his best case scenario is going to the Saints.
I don't think he's fallen too far so far. I don't mind him 9th overall to the Saints, but the commissioner Roger Goodell is just on the board, and with the 6th overall pick, the Oakland Raiders select Ashton Genty, the myth, the maniac from Boise State University that a lot of people, myself included, would have voted for to win the Heisman Trophy this past year. This is a huge pick for the Oakland Raiders, a team that has gone out, got their new head coach, Pete Carroll, gotten Chip Kelly, the new offensive coordinator, and their new quarterback, and Geno Smith, getting him a big-time bell cow running back in Ashton Genty. How do you all feel about this pick?
I love this pick. With Pete Carroll being the head coach there now, you know he loves running backs. He loves running the ball, except for on the 1-yard line. But this is a guy like Marshawn Lynch that can carry an offense very, very far. the Raiders could maybe push for a playoff run with a guy like Ashton Genty leading that offense.
Sorry, go, John.
Listen, there's one player that Pete Carroll had in the backfield. We know who that was.
Yeah.
Beast mode. He wants to replicate beast mode there. And I was thinking, I was texting my buddy. He's like, nah, he's a Cowboy all day. I said, no, he's going
I thought he was
Raiders or a Bear. Raiders or a Bear. But I love it. I think it's a one heck of a move. And, they're, like I said, they're going to try to build for more. And now you got Brock Bowers and Ashton Genty. I mean, whew, man, that's going to be fun out there.
Now, I originally had Ashton Genty actually going to the Jacksonville Jaguars before they traded their 5th overall pick. Now, as for the Raiders, I thought they could go Jalen Walker here since the Browns pass up on him. Because I guess I was kind of looking at they needed kind of that young, athletic linebacker core. But I get the pick with Ashton Genty, especially with the offensive line they have now. Because he forced, I just have the numbers right here. He forced 66 missed tackles last year, which is 3rd among FBS quarterbacks. So with the depleted offensive line, I mean, the backfield hits are going to be there. So forcing mixed tackles and getting those toughness and short yardage ability, I mean, I can see how that bolsters up the offense. I mean, because Ashton Genty, he's a freak of nature. I mean, in my opinion, should have won the Heisman, but I think that could end up being a steal of the draft. Maybe the closest thing to Saquon Barkley. I mean, I don't know.
That's a pretty good comparison, but I will say that I just blanked completely what I was talking about. My bad.
Happens.
I mean,
I remember now. All right, so for the past month, I've had this pick locked in. I knew that Genty was going to Vegas, but a week ago, he got interviewed when he was in Green Bay, and he was like, I don't want to go here. There's nothing to do here. So that made me think he's not going to want to go to Chicago. What is there to do in Chicago? What is there to do in Illinois, you know?
Chicago's a pretty big city. There's
it's
a good bit of stuff to do.
He's got to go out and
Where
explore.
better to be than Las Vegas? There is so much to do in
think of a
Vegas.
lot of trouble to get into out there.
What happens in Vegas stays in Vegas, as they say.
This feels like a match made in heaven for Ashton Genty.
You know, Magic City Monday is only in Atlanta, right? That's all I'm saying. That's all I'm saying. Now, there are other places to go other than Vegas, but I understand.
And that's why Bijan's still a happy guy.
Hey, look, Bijan, Drake, London, they love it here. Kyle Pitt's still around.
Kyle Pitt's a great guy.
So
I hear the wings are outstanding on Monday nights.
Let's say, JT, we heard you were able to meet Kyle Pitts recently.
I did meet Kyle Pitts. He's a great guy. Falcons fan hate on him for his ability in football, but
Clearly.
maybe he should quit and play golf. He looks pretty good at golf too.
Maybe, but the Las Vegas Raiders, got their guy in Ashton Genty, an outright beast at running back. And coming up with the 7th overall pick is the New York Jets. We got a little behind talking about the Browns at 5, but looking forward to the Jets pick because you see what the Raiders did. They already have Brock Bowers. Geno Smith went out and got Ashton Genty. I fully expect to get them more and more and more offensive weapons throughout the entirety of this NFL draft. But as we currently sit here, the New York Jets are on the clock. We have a new set of guys rotating in. Aiden Aby joining us from the playbook. Chase Jefferson joining us from Sports Out of Pocket. Welcome in, brothers. We got a long night ahead of us as we await the 7th overall pick with the New York Jets. Aiden, I want to start with you first. Where do you think the Jets go 7th overall?
I think it's going to be Armand Mimbo, big tackle out of Missouri.
Okay.
A team that just hasn't been figuring it out on the offensive side of the ball lately. Need to get a franchise tackle over there to anchor this offense as they rebuild and retool.
I'm thinking a different scenario here. I think it's where the first receiver goes off the board, and I'm going with Ted McMillan out of Arizona.
Wow.
I mean, honestly, at this point, Garrett Wilson's awesome. You lose Tay Adams, you got to get another weapon. I understand offensive line is a huge need over there, but I feel like you can definitely get some other guys in these in the later round and be able to do that. But I think Tet goes here, but at the same time, I could be proven wrong. Simple as that. But
it's a new coach, unknown quantities out there in New York this year.
Chase, what do you think? An offensive line or skill position here for the Jets at 7?
I'm gonna agree with John in terms of offense here, but I'm not thinking McMillan. I think they go Tyler Warren, the tight end out of Penn State. I think they want to bolster the weapons for Justin Fields. Like Aiden said, a new QB. I think he's a little more of an offensive-minded guy, and I do like the pick of
Genty?
Not Genty. Genty. No, I'm sorry. Lost my train of thought. Missouri guy.
Oh, Mimbo.
Yeah, Mimbo. So I don't know why his name left my mind. I do like the pick there. I could also see that. I'm thinking they're going to go skill position here.
Yeah, Justin Fields loves his tight ends. We saw him in the Bears.
Absolutely.
The Bears would draft a new tight end every year, it felt like, when Justin Fields was there for him.
And that's why I'm on the same page with Chase here. I could see them going offensive line as well. Mimbo will be a great pick, 7th overall from Missouri. He's a very, very, very good offensive lineman. So I can see it going either way because O-line is an issue there. But when you're looking at this Jets team, they went out and got Justin Fields, a guy that can extend plays. The offensive line here is better than what he had in Chicago a couple years back. So he has a little bit better to work with, somewhat similar to what he dealt with last year in Pittsburgh. So he's familiar with what he has. He already has a big-time running back in Breece Hall, who has shown flashes of what he can be. We have Garrett Wilson, a star young wide receiver that just needs a consistent quarterback, somebody that Justin Fields has already built a lot of rapport with in college together at Ohio State University. So looking forward, yes, they could go offensive line, and I wouldn't be opposed to it, but the only other option would be getting T.J. Warren right here at tight end. He's the best overall athlete in the draft. He's lined up at quarterback, center, tackle, wide receiver, running back,
you can put him at nose guard at this point.
He's incredible. He's like if Taysom Hill was a freak athlete. Taysom Hill's great, but he's like if Taysom Hill was like had DK Metcalf's athleticism. It's really hard to explain how good Tyler Warren is, and I feel like adding him to this Jets attack would really work wonders for Justin Fields.
And Warren at tight end, he can help you in the blocking game and in the receiving game. He can do both and improve you in both facets of the offensive side of the ball.
I also do want to bring in that this is actually a really big pick, I think, for the Indianapolis Colts, because I think they have their eyes on Tyler Warren, and this is the only chance of them being able to get Warren if the Jets don't take him here. So
I was like, wait, you're talking about the Colts, but obviously that's the one thing that the Colts are missing. They need their tight end. They need their tight end. We know in the past they've had wonderful tight ends, but recently, who even is their tight end?
Well, the thing is, if they don't get, they can still get Colson Loveland if they don't get Warren here. But Warren's easily the best tight end in this draft.
I'm so glad you avoided the question of who the Colts tight end is.
I don't
have
idea.
That's the whole point because nobody knows who it is.
That was my answer to your question. Me not saying anything was my answer.
But I do know one thing: the New York Jets pick is officially in. Roger Goodell has walked out onto the stage. He is reading off the note card, and with the 7th overall pick in the 2025 NFL Draft, the New York Jets select Armand Mimbo, offensive tackle from Missouri. Aiden, you hit the nail on the head. Great pick by the New York Jets. John, I know you've done a lot of work evaluating these offensive linemen in this draft class. Walk us through what makes Mimbo such a big-time pick here in the top 10.
You know what? I'm going to have to give this one to Aiden, man. Simple as that. I feel like Aiden's got a little bit more in his playbook than my playbook.
Oh, okay.
Mimbo's a guy who he was the definite – he was probably a late 20s pick going into the NFL Combine. Okay. Then at the Combine, he came in and he tested perfectly. His arm measured in some of the longest arms at the Combine in history. His athleticism was off the charts, way more than it was expected from him. He ended up rising up these draft boards, and now here he goes, 7 overall to the Jets. Some people were saying he could go over Will Campbell, who didn't have a great Combine. Not exactly there, but
hey man,
made himself a lot of money at the Combine.
He's not in a bad spot whatsoever. Now, I hate to move on from it that quick, but at 8th overall, the Carolina Panthers pick is officially in. Chase, you got a lot of Falcons stuff right now, so I know you know some stuff about the Panthers. NFC South rivals, the team that beat the Falcons at the end of the season to keep the Falcons out of the playoff hunt. So, Chase, what do you think the best option is here at 8 for the Panthers? Do you go out and get a defensive weapon, best player available, maybe a Jalen Walker, or do you go out and help Bryce Young out on the offense by getting a wide receiver like Matthew Golden or Ted McMillan?
I'm glad you said Walker, because that's exactly who I have the Panthers getting. Now they could go the option of getting maybe Golden or Luther Burden even.
Ted McMillan.
Or Ted McMillan, exactly. If they want to get Bryce Young some help, I think they're going to hold off there. I think they definitely need an edge rusher here, someone to come off the defensive side and add more pressure to the quarterback, because we all know that's something the Panthers lacked greatly all throughout last season. It's a lack of defensive pressure for the opposing QBs, and I think Bryce Young is talented enough. I think especially towards the end of last year showed that he can kind of hold his own for what the Panthers have for him right now. And we don't know what the Panthers have for the future for the rest of this offseason too. So we have to wait and hold for that as well. So I think for the time being, they are focused on boasting the defensive side before they get Bryce Young any help.
John, do you agree?
I mean, I agree. I think it can go both ways. If you either go Tet because you need someone other than Adam Thielen, and obviously Xavier Leggett's still developing, but at the same time, it wouldn't hurt to get a guy like Jalen Walker. We know he's a bona fide stud. He's insanely strong. I mean, I think if you go edge, you go linebacker, it helps. You go wide receiver, it's going to help. Like, it's going to help both ways. I think I think here, though, the smart pick would be go defense. Go defense, go get Jalen Walker and have yourself a stud in the linebacker position. You can roll him down into the edge position. You have him on that blitz, and he can cover very well. We've seen it. We saw him have a highlight game against Texas both times, and I just think the smart thing to do is to go get defense.
Yeah, I agree, John. Jalen Walker is a Swiss Army knife on defense. You can do just about anything with him on that side of the ball, and the Panthers are a team that have invested in that offense heavily the last 2 years. Bryce Young, Xavier Legette, they've built out the players on that offense that they're trying to develop for the future.
Right.
Go to the defensive side of the ball now. Get you a guy who can hold down that side of the ball for the next 15 years.
Yeah, it's very interesting because this is Carolina Panthers team that was already had some struggles on defense. They went ahead and re-signed J.C. Horn to a long-term deal at cornerback. He's shown flashes of greatness, first-round pick from a couple years ago. But they also just moved on from Brian Burns, a guy who you could argue was their other best defensive player outside of J.C. Horn, a guy that you could drop back in coverage, use the spot of the quarterback, and also get after the quarterback and rush the passer. So in looking at the Panthers right here, I can see them going multiple ways. Jalen Walker will be the perfect replacement for Brian Burns because he can literally fill in that gap, rush the passer, spy the quarterback, and drop back in coverage. When you look at this offense, like you said, John, Adam Thielen is not getting any younger. You drafted Xavier Legette early second round of last year's draft, but he hasn't really panned out. He's been solid, but not that big-time 1,000-yard receiver that you were looking for. So when there are guys like Ted McMillan and even Matthew Golden on their board, even Emeka Egbuka, the top 3 wide receivers in this draft class, it's hard not to go with those guys because those are some guys that we all agree could be certified number 1 targets for Bryce Young and be his best friend in that offense.
Here's one thing I'm looking at right now, though. I just took a look. What about if they go corner and Will Johnson? If you think about it,
I don't know if I like that.
Look, that's just what they're saying. The best fit is as of right now. They're actually their key losses. They lost 2 of their cornerbacks. I don't know if they're exact starters, but still. And you lost a safety as well. So maybe it does. I'm saying it poses the question: do they go corner here?
Yeah,
it could definitely happen.
When you look at their free agency signings, they added a defensive end, 2 defensive tackles, and a safety. This is a team that's been committed to building their defense in the offseason. Maybe they're happy with the way that they feel their D-line is right now. Want to go to the secondary, want to go to the wide receiver position.
Right, y'all could be on something right there because I hadn't really thought about it, but based off the acquisitions that they have made, they are leaning into defense. Jalen Walker, you could argue, is the best defensive player available, but the best corner in this draft class outside of Travis Hunter, who I just have listed as a straight-up athlete, is without a doubt Will Johnson.
Absolutely.
He's great. I'd compare him to a guy like Patrick Surtain just because how mechanically sound he is. They have similar build. Patrick Surtain's a little bit longer, but they have similar builds. They both move like robots. They are just technicians at the cornerback position, and that's really what you want. A guy that's fluid but still tight, if that makes sense. That's right. But I think Will Johnson could be a great fit in Carolina. Y'all just kind of sold me on him in 5 seconds.
The interesting thing is about the Panthers here is that they haven't had an identity for a while. They've had many head coaching changes. They have Dave Canales now at under head coach. And I don't really know too much about him and too much exactly what he's looking for. So when I was making my mock draft, I actually had a hard time deciding who the Panthers were going to get. And I originally had Tate McMillan before switching to Walker.
So
but I think that's 2 great positions. Will Johnson, personally, I think is going to go a little later, maybe to the 49ers. I think is where I have Will Johnson going on my mock draft. So I'm really thinking Walker here, but Tate McMillan would not surprise me at all.
Go ahead.
Yeah, I think Walker to the Panthers has really gained a lot of steam over the last few weeks.
Oh yeah, of course.
It's been the most hyped thing over the last few weeks. And
I think so too.
Yeah.
Hold on, the commissioner is walking out onto the stage, and the Carolina Panthers pick is officially in. I think somebody in the studio just farted. I hope the chair creaked, but Aiden looks a little guilty.
No, the chair creaked.
The chair creaked.
Don't you do that now.
Okay, sure, bro. The 8th overall pick, the Carolina Panthers select Ted McMillan, wide receiver from Arizona, 6'5", monster. He's a bona fide ex-wide receiver, can burn you downfield, run short and intermediate routes as well. He's a technician. Some guys like Steve Smith kind of question his catching, but I think he's a very good receiver. Very good stats, 1,300 yards over the past 2 years. Had some big time matchups against Colorado with Travis Hunter. It was kind of a back and forth match here. He had some success. Travis Hunter had some success. But either way, the Carolina Panthers are committed to building up this offense around Bryce Young. Ted McMillan, you are a Carolina Panther.
Ooh, well, I will say, because I had Walker going to the Panthers, I was talking to my buddy Brandon out there, of course, a member of the Playbook, and he convinced me that McMillan was going to go to the Saints, and the Saints were going to wait till next year to get their quarterback. But now that that's not the case, do you think they go Sanders here?
Sure.
I think
so.
you absolutely have to go
so.
Sanders here. I mean, look, Derek Carr, as Rich has mentioned in the past, might be out for the year. We don't know yet. And let's be real here. Are we going to really start Spencer Rattler? Are we? Are we going to start? No, I'm not.
It could happen. Spencer Rattler's very talented, and the Saints pick is in. They put the pick in fairly fast. So, and look at this pick.
The Shador man?
Shador Sanders has expressed interest in New Orleans. What's his name? Alvin Kamara was in Colorado a few weeks ago for a few days. He was at practice hanging out with Dion and Shador. And all new head coach Kellen Moore coming off a Super Bowl win as the offensive coordinator for the Philadelphia Eagles. This could be a match made in heaven. Young offensive head coach with a young quarterback in Shador.
And I think, there's now a current fear in New Orleans about Derek Carr and his health. So I think Derek Carr being their solidified guy is out the window. And another point that Brandon mentioned, though, was that because Derek Carr was looking like to be their quarterback heading to the season, maybe the Saints didn't really have enough time to scout quarterbacks because that's not really what they're originally thinking. So that's my only, critique about them going Sanders here, but I think that the way this draft is gone, I think they didn't really think Sanders might be available per se. So now that he is available, it might be a little ridiculous not to take him.
The big thing for me right here at 9 is if Shador does not go right here to the New Orleans Saints, then where does he go? That's the question I'm asking myself, because when you get past the 9th overall pick, no other teams are just in dire need for a quarterback. Unless a team like the Steelers moves up or maybe the Browns creep back in, the New York Giants ship off one of their guys, or maybe San Francisco drafts a quarterback. I highly doubt it. I know they love Brock Purdy, so I'm really grabbing that. I'm really just snatching at I'm grasping straws here. But outside of New Orleans, where else could we see Shador going?
I got a little something bold here. It's very, very later on, but I think you could get him in the Rams. I mean, put it to you this way: do you think Stetson would be the starter?
I don't think that's.
I mean, Matthew Stafford's the current starter.
I'm sorry, but sorry, that's what I meant to say. Do you think Stetson's the replacement? Trust me, I love Stetson deep down, but he is not the replacement.
I don't think that's bold, John.
But it's just later on. Could he fall there, or does would it be something like the Steelers? I could see him if he doesn't go to.
Where did the Rams pick?
They pick 26 as of right now, so it'd be late. It'd be like a Lamar Jackson sort of deal.
Oh, I find it very hard to see him falling that late.
Yeah, I think that if he keeps going down the board, we're going to see somebody come back up into the first round for him.
You would have
Definitely.
to.
Personally, I think if the Saints don't take Sanders here, he falls out of the first round. Unless someone does trade up to get him. But I don't
falls out of the first round completely.
Somebody will trade up for him.
I don't think Pittsburgh gets him. I think they get their quarterback next year.
Somebody's going to want the 5th-year option on Shador Sanders. It's going to make him valuable enough to trade back into the first round to get him.
I don't see a world where he falls out of the first round. Seeing him fall out of the top 10 is something crazy on its own right. When you have teams like the Steelers, like the Rams, who, yes, they have Matthew Stafford, but they wouldn't mind having a guy that they know could be his replacement after he retires in probably 2 years down the road.
That'd help.
I can maybe see them moving up from 26 into into 20 and above range to scoop Shador up.
Maybe.
I don't know, man. But falling out of the first round is a bit of a stretch because I like New Orleans here at 9, but also Pittsburgh at 21.
I think
Pittsburgh would be insane to just let him go by.
I really hope he doesn't get drafted here. As a Falcons fan, I don't want to see Shador Sanders.
No, I would be fearing for my life if he just starts to have success over there in one day.
My thing about him not going to Pittsburgh, I don't see Aaron Rodgers going anywhere else, and I could see the Steelers rocking with Rodgers this year and getting their quarterback next year with a much better quarterback class and the draft being in Pittsburgh. That's what I see for the Steelers. I think if the Saints don't get him here, the only way he doesn't go the first round is if someone trades up to get him.
If Shador's there at 21, why wait till next year?
He's right there.
He's a
playmaker. I don't really understand the knocks on Shador Sanders.
I don't either.
We watched him excel and put up insane numbers behind the worst offensive line in college football, guys. So we put him on a half-decent team here. We've already seen him, what he's able to do with crap. So if we see him get into a half-decent football team here, I feel like he can really excel as a pocket passer in the NFL.
Plus,
he's extremely accurate. That's one thing you can't just teach is accuracy.
Right.
Yeah, he might not have a Josh Allen arm, but he's extremely accurate. He's poised in the pocket. he has the NFL pedigree,
Yeah.
guys. I mean, I don't understand the knocks on Shador Sanders.
It's the same thing that happened with Lamar Jackson, where he fell to 32 for reasons beyond my comprehension.
Exactly. I don't understand how you continue. You said this in the playbook the other day. I don't understand how he continues to drop without football games being played.
I think the pick is in.
The pick is in. Roger Goodell is on the stage, and with the 9th overall pick in the draft, the New Orleans Saints select Kelvin Banks Jr., offensive tackle from the University of Texas. So everything we were just saying flies out of the window. The New Orleans Saints go offensive line with Kelvin Banks Jr.
Oh my gosh, that's
John,
crazy.
I know you evaluated a lot of these offensive linemen.
Yes, I did.
Tell us about Kelvin Banks, man.
I mean, look, Kelvin Banks, he's got some massive size, and the one thing that I noticed right away, I'm trying to pull up his exact size. I think he's around 6'7", 300 plus, which we'd love to see. But he's got size. Size is the one thing, but he's also a great pass blocker. But when it comes to run plays, when you're getting that outside zone and everything, he is hard to it. He will take guys and pummel them into the ground. Now, the one thing is he can get bullied. He has that pass blocking ability, but when you have a stud as an edge or someone who can really extend their arms and bully you, that is where he starts to crumble. That is the only sign of weakness I saw. We saw it against Jalen Walker. That's what he did. He absolutely went crazy on Kelvin Banks in one game, and you're able to get him. But I think you're going through the Saints, and they have been known to make great linemen. So honestly, I think it's a great pick at all. It just surprised me because I really thought Shador was going there.
Yeah.
Now, go ahead.
He's an absolute bruiser out there on the outside. He does struggle, as John said, with those smaller defensive ends who can really get on him quicker than he's expecting, and he's not great at getting his hands on those quicker guys. But this is a guy who started every single game since he arrived on campus at Austin. Yeah. He started at right tackle as a true freshman.
Starting at right tackle in college football as a freshman.
Came over to the left and led Texas to the playoffs.
The Chicago Bears pick is officially in. I'm not knocking anything you just said, Aiden. It's just this draft is moving a lot faster than I anticipated. So the Chicago Bears pick is in at 10. I was just sold that the Bears are going to draft Ashton Jeanty 10th overall here.
Me too.
But he flew off the board early to the Las Vegas Raiders. Excuse me. So if you're sitting at 10 for the Bears here, new head coach in Ben Johnson, former OC for the Detroit Lions, had a lot of success there. Offensive line was shaky last season, but you already went out, got a lot of free agents, added talent. You have receivers. You have a very solid defense, and you have Caleb Williams at quarterback. What do you do 10th overall, Chase?
I mean, I don't know. I would think that they would go D-line, but like you said, they've already had a crazy offseason. Grady Jarrett is also now on the Chicago Bears. Yep. So do they go defensive line, or do they try to grab an offensive weapon for Ben Johnson, who's an offensive-minded guy? And honestly, that's a question I don't know if I have a sure answer for.
Yeah, I mean, you could think tackle here, but who's the best tackle on the board now? So you got the.
Well, I can pull it up for you.
Because Will Campbell.
I mean, I would take Josh Simmons. That's your best tackle on the board.
Okay.
I mean,
a tackle's an option for him here, and then
my top 3 tackles are all gone.
Yeah, me too.
That was my top 3.
The undebatable, and I think there's a little bit of a gap here between the top 3.
Oh yeah, Josh Simmons I had going really low, like late first round.
I had Josh Simmons going in like the late 20s, early 30s to like a team like the Bills, the Commanders, something like that.
I did too. But at the same time, that reminds me of the one time when the Patriots traded back in to get the guy from Chattanooga. And
Cole Strange.
Cole Strange. He ended up being he's been a stud offensive lineman. And so I mean, I would say Simmons is not a reach here, but I mean, where do you? I think they go wide receiver and get another weapon. I don't see what's the harm in not getting another weapon.
Receiver.
Keenan Allen currently isn't re-signed. Maybe you go out and get a guy in Matthew Golden. Pair him up. Very good route runner, can kill in the slot, running short and intermediate routes. Pair him up with Rome Dunze, who is your certified X receiver.
Yeah.
That could be a pretty nasty combination.
Do you see him going secondary at all? Someone in the backfield?
This could be
maybe Will Johnson.
Will Johnson spot.
This could be
Will Johnson. This could be a Will Johnson.
Maybe
even a Jalen Walker.
Maybe a safety here as well. I don't know who their safety is off the top of my head, unless I know they just paid a corner though.
But this might be one of. I think Andre Cisco's their top safety right now. Correct me if I'm wrong. But this could be one of those times where it's like just take the guy that's at the number 1 on your board.
Yeah.
Ashton Jeanty's gone.
Maybe a Tyler Warren at this point.
Exactly.
Just talent. Just
exactly. Whoever you have listed as the number 1 prospect available, whether it is Jalen Walker, Tyler Warren, Matthew Golden, Will Johnson. If you're the Chicago Bears, you go get whoever is sitting at number 1 on your draft board right
Yeah,
now.
pick your poison
gosh,
right now. I mean,
now their
this is,
pick
It's just crazy.
Their pick is officially in. We've been going all gas, no breaks here. At some point, we're going to have to throw a song break in here.
I'm about to
But
say.
until the commissioner slows down, we will not be able to slow down. I'm waiting to see if he's going to walk out to the stage here so I can maybe get a sip of water. But they're showing some cheese heads right now. Not really sure what's...
What about the odds of Omari and Hampton? I mean,
I don't see.
I,
There's
look,
two running
look,
backs
I
in the
would
top
just
10.
those are your
Last
top
time-
two running backs.
yeah.
But just hey,
Yeah.
I'm just curious to
Last time we saw that was what, Bijan Robinson at 4 to the Falcons?
Yeah.
And,
I
I
Jameer
mean, hey,
Gibbs
look,
at 12 to the
I own the
Lions.
jersey, so it worked down one way, right?
All right, the commissioner is officially on the stage.
Who is
with
it?
the 10th overall pick, the Chicago Bears select. Let's see. Will it be Jalen Walker, Matthew Golden, Will Johnson? Let's see. Waiting on the graphic
Yeah,
to pop
we are
up on
all
my
waiting. We are
computer screen.
preaching.
Come on.
And, we'll get a quick memorial for Steve McMichaels. Long live Steve McMichaels.
Steve Mongo McMichael, WCW legend.
Trying to tell you, former Chicago Bear, lived a long,
You know your
luxurious
stuff,
life
brother.
from
You know your stuff.
1957 to 2025. He was a part of those big-time Bears defenses that brought home the most recent Super Bowl to the Bears.
The Bears.
Rest in peace, Steve McMichaels. He had a long battle with
Went on-
ALS.
Went on to feud with Hulk Hogan
He-
in his years after.
Man, hey, you just stat diving.
hell,
here. You
hell
gotta
of a
eat.
life lived.
I'm about to
man.
say.
Hell of a life lived. So we're currently still waiting on Roger Goodell
Roger
to
Goodell.
announce this pick. But there are a lot of different ways they can go with this. As we said, maybe running back Amari and Hampton. I feel like this might be a little early. Maybe Will Johnson, best corner available. Jalen Walker, arguably the best overall defensive player available.
50th anniversary of Walter Payton selection.
50th anniversary of Walter Payton selection.
Gosh, there's
Roger
so many
Goodell
avenues we could
is-
go here, fellas.
There's a lot of stuff going on. They're getting long breaks, but we are not.
All this honoring of the Bears legends in Green Bay.
Roger,
Yeah,
this
in
is
Green Bay.
This is
We're
why
gonna-
Roger gets booed on the stage. This is why.
Just extremely disrespectful. Honoring every Bear in history. I think there's going to be a Jay Cutler thing coming up next.
Yeah.
All right, I think we're finally going to get the pick here. Roger smiling. All right, with the
laughing.
10th overall pick, the Chicago Bears select
What?
Colston
Oh
Loveland.
my gosh!
Tyler tight end
What?
from Michigan.
The Colts' hopes are alive. The Colts' hopes are alive. The war room has gone crazy here at WSN.
And losing his mind in there. That means Tyler Warren's perfectly played for the Colts again.
Oh my goodness!
What do you think the reason is they're taking him over Warren?
Hey, I can't give you a reason. I'll be honest with you. They gotta like
This
something
is one of
they've
those
seen.
things I can't really make much sense on because I think everybody in the world, even people down there living in Atlantis in the deep blue sea, had Tyler Warren as the number one tight end in this draft class. So the Bears going out and getting Colston Loveland is just
They know something we don't, I guess.
I'm about to say they
Maybe
have
they
to
don't know
see.
anything at all.
Maybe they, yeah, or maybe they don't know anything at all. Maybe we're assuming too much of them. Because with Tyler Warren still on the board, Colston Loveland, I have a first round grade on him, but I don't see a world where you draft Colston Loveland over Tyler
Tyler
Warren.
No,
I'm not understanding.
I don't love this move at all. I mean,
I don't either.
I just think there's so much better of an athlete in Tyler Warren. It's not that Colston Loveland's great, but
I mean,
it's-
look.
In defense of Colston Loveland, he was playing with incompetent quarterbacks for
Very
most
true.
of the year.
True.
And still put up very good numbers.
He did.
Was the focal point of that Michigan offense. He was really the only guy that defenses had to worry about most
Right,
games.
that's very true. He's a big target, 6'5", 250 pounds, very solid route runner, big catch radius, great hands as a tight end. I just find it hard to believe that you draft
Over
him
Tyler
over
Warren.
Tyler
No.
Warren, a guy that is probably just up there with Travis Hunter as the best overall football player in the nation this year. He had votes for the Heisman Trophy, guys.
I'm about to
I mean,
say.
Tyler Warren was a monster at the tight end position, but the Chicago Bears go with Colston Loveland from the University of Michigan.
we're all in
Tyler
shock
Warren,
here.
you're an Indianapolis Colt.
Yeah.
Yeah, looks like
I
it.
think it's safe to assume he may go to the Colts unless a team like the Cowboys, not the Cowboys have Fitzpatrick.
Yeah.
But 11th overall pick is in. The San Francisco 49ers are no longer on the clock. I was thinking we're going to be able to switch out here in a
Thought so
second,
too.
but
But we're
the
good.
draft just keeps rolling on. Let's see if they go to a quick commercial break. And no, they're showing the
No.
Colston Loveland household.
Colston Loveland.
So,
that's a call they
ele-
weren't expected to get this early.
11th overall pick. Where do we think the San Francisco 49ers go? This is a team that whose title window we can all agree has passed. They moved on from Deebo Samuel. Brandon Ayuk is coming off a torn ACL. Quick predictions here on what the 49ers may do.
I'm going Will Howard. This is a team that needs to reload at that cornerback
Will
position.
Johnson.
Will Johnson. Will Johnson.
Will Johnson.
So
Sorry,
what
yeah,
are you
not Will
saying?
Howard. No, yeah. Will Johnson. They need to reload after losing Charvarius Ward over there at corner.
So, really quickly, we're going to go to a quick song break due to the fact that we have not taken a break in a while. But when we get back, we're going to dive into this 11th overall pick with the San Francisco 49ers. Stay tuned. This is Wolf Sports Network NFL Draft Show. Welcome back, everyone, to the 2025 Wolf Sports Network NFL Draft Show. I am your host, Richard Reed, joined by John Howley, Jackson Voles, and Riley Ford, making his Wolf Sports Network on-air debut. How you feeling to be here, Riley?
So excited to be here, guys.
You joined the dark side. There is no going back.
Absolutely. I've mastered both sides of the force here.
Oh, okay.
Got Mace Windu in here. Got a purple light. Hey, I'm not mad at it whatsoever. So, obviously, this draft show, you will see all your favorite personalities from Wolf Sports Network and some even that are primarily on Wolf Radio as well. So, stay tuned throughout the entirety of the first round because things are going to be shuffled. I'm not even going to be hosting the entirety of the draft show. Surprise, surprise. So, stay tuned. You're going to see a whole lot of new faces throughout this entire first round. Now, the San Francisco 49ers pick is officially in 11th overall. Roger Goodell is about to walk out onto the stage. But really quick, before he announces it, Jackson, Riley, quick predictions. Who do you think the 49ers get right here at 11?
Now, looking at this 49ers offseason, they lost Deommodore Lenoir in their secondary. They also lost Dre Greenlaw over this offseason.
And
Charvarius Ward. So, two prospects I'm looking at for the San Francisco 49ers is either Jalen Walker or Will Johnson that is still available.
I mean, you put Jalen Walker in the Niners' lap. I mean, they lost Greenlaw, like you said, but they also lost Talanoa Hufanga as a safety. So they might be shopping some secondary options. So I think Will Johnson's a great pick as well. But Jalen Walker, what a superstar. Like, he can play linebacker, he can play edge. I think if he's in your lap, he's in your lap.
Yeah. I like what you're thinking there.
Now, let me say this. In every single mock draft I have made, I've had the San Francisco 49ers going Will Johnson right here at 11. It makes sense to go Jalen Walker. They need corner and linebacker. But Lord, I'm on my knees praying that Jalen Walker does not go here because I want him to slip to the Falcons. The commissioner is on the stage with the 11th overall pick. The San Francisco 49ers select. I timed it up wrong. I'm still waiting.
He's saluting all the military people who help serve out there. Thank you for your service.
I appreciate that. Salute the
Absolutely.
service. I really appreciate it all. My grandfather was a veteran. A few of my family members are veterans. I listen, you'll never hear me speaking ill of any veterans out here. Now, with the 11th overall pick, Michael Williams, edge rusher from the University.
Okay, here we go, baby.
Now we spoke
Interesting.
on Jalen Walker, arguably being the best overall defensive player left in the draft. I just got a little excited.
No.
I'm super happy to see Michael Williams go here. Very versatile player. He's a guy that was injured a lot throughout his senior year at Georgia. But in the big-time moments, the game against Texas especially, facing off against an offensive lineman like Kelvin Banks that was a top 10 pick in this year's draft, outright dominating. You can line him up in the edge. You can drop him back in coverage at times. I wouldn't recommend it, but you can do it. He's that versatile. There were even times in the Texas game and other games throughout his career where due to a lack of depth and obviously a few injuries along the line, he had to line up on the interior at defensive tackle as well. So going out and getting a guy, Michael Williams, 6'5", 260 pounds, can line up anywhere on the defensive line. The San Francisco 49ers got a Swiss Army knife.
Dude,
Absolutely.
It's insane, and I love to see it. First off, for being a Dogs fan, to see Michael go, congratulations, buddy. But we see it there. He's a stud. He can absolutely just he bull rushes people, and he's getting his arms extended. He's able to get off these guys and create havoc in the backfield. And the one thing as well, I remember at Tennessee when we played them, we traveled to Tennessee. One of the guys was chewing at Michael, saying, "No one's gonna know you. Nobody's gonna know who exactly you are." Man, picked right there. Absolute stud. I mean, I think they made a wonderful pick here in the 49ers. Super happy for them.
Now, Jackson, I do want to pivot here because the Dallas Cowboys pick is in at 12, and you have on this nice Philadelphia Eagles jersey. These are your division rivals.
Yeah.
This is a team that needs a lot. They have a lot of holes to fill. What decision do you think Jerry Jones and the rest of the Cowboys out there in Jerry's world are going to make here at 12?
Now, do I think this is going to happen? No. But the Cowboys right now, they lost Tyron Smith to retirement, and they lost Zach Martin to retirement. Do I think they go O-line? No. But what they need to do is get another wide receiver on the opposite side of CeeDee Lamb. Me and you had this conversation, I believe, earlier today, that CeeDee Lamb is the best slot receiver in the entire NFL. They need to get a guy like Matthew Golden on the other side of the field.
Go ahead, Riley.
I absolutely agree with that. I think a wide receiver is totally the option here. I think, as you said, Matthew Golden or Luther Burden, one of those two is like a great just run out there, get the ball deep option. I mean, not to shoot myself in the foot here, but Tyler Warren is still available, and it's not like he's a slouch in the receiving game.
I hate to cut you off here, John, but the commissioner has taken the stage, and with the 12th overall pick in the 2025 NFL Draft, the Dallas Cowboys select Tyler Booker, offensive guard from the University of Alabama. Colts fans, Falcons fans, football fans around the country have taken a deep sigh of relief because I was convinced that the Cowboys are going to go Jalen Walker here, and he is still on the board to potentially become an Atlanta Falcon. But John,
yes, sir.
Tell me about Tyler Booker.
All right, so Tyler Booker, we know he's a big guard to go down in there, but obviously watching some film today, double checking. Here's the one thing he's great at: he's downhill running. He get on those inside zones and really take those guys down into the ground. And the next thing I noticed, he can get to the second level and block that linebacker. That's a huge thing there. When you're able to get up to the second level and block the linebacker, you create space for the running back or a simple play to have. Perhaps it's designed to do that. So really, here is a smart move. You got a really good kid there as well. I think if I'm correct, he was also coached by Saban and DeBoer. If I'm correct,
yeah, he was.
So also you got a guy with great discipline. But I'm loving this pick right here. Like I said, the downhill running and his pass blocking is not bad. He's got some things to work on. He can get overextended and beat. But other than that, awesome prospect here. I loved it, and I think it's a super smart move, especially after losing your golden guard, and it's just you got to replace, right?
Honestly, I understand the move because, yes, you did lose your golden guard to retirement. He had a great, potentially Hall of Fame career.
Yeah.
When you look at the Dallas Cowboys, there's a lot of holes on this roster. Dak Prescott's been battling injuries recently. When healthy, he's been solid, but nothing transcendent. outside of CeeDee Lamb, there's no more firepower. Yes, you have Rico Dowdle on this offense, but outside of that, so what? He only had, 2 touchdowns the entire season this past year. It really hurt me week in and week out in fantasy football. The offensive line, yes, just went out and got a rookie, but it's still not what it used to be. The defense isn't the greatest outside of Micah Parsons and Trayvon Diggs, who a lot of people will argue is an overrated corner in the NFL. So outside of CeeDee Lamb on offense, what else do the Cowboys have?
They have Javonte Williams they just signed.
Wow.
Right.
Wow,
right.
what a generational
signing.
running back. But,
Right.
I mean, I wouldn't be too mad at this Tyler Booker pick. I kind of expected him to go in the later first round, maybe to a team like the Baltimore Ravens.
Maybe the Chiefs.
But Tyler Booker, I mean, you did lose also Tyron Smith. Don't forget just Zach Martin. And, again, as you said, Dak Prescott has been battling injuries due to, well, you need some pass protection.
Yeah.
I know you said the Ravens, but I'm curious what this does to the Seahawks because they need interior offensive line more than anybody.
And O-linemen are flying off the board this year.
And they do have 2 second-round picks and 2 third-round picks, but are the interior offensive linemen at that place going to matter as much as Tyler Booker does?
It's hard,
especially with Kenneth Walker. You could have loved that downhill running that you mentioned.
Yeah, you're going to need it. I mean, I think if you're going to go downhill running here, you're either going to have to go with. I mean, you can get a guy like Miles Frazier from LSU. You got Gray Zabel, but, I mean, I have Donovan Jackson going next. I know he's a little bit down on the prospect list, but, I mean, I think that's your next big guy you got to go with. Or, honestly, a guy like Tate Ratchett, he's 6'7", 308, and you have as an offensive guard. And that's one thing he's known for, is being a run-nosed bully. He's just been injured, but I know he can be great. It is a great question because Seahawks need it badly. And you got to protect Sam Darnold now if you want him to continue the production that he had this year that we saw him resurge his whole career with.
Yeah, you're right. The Seahawks do need offensive line bad. And with the offensive linemen flying off the board way earlier than a lot of us anticipated in this year's draft class, we can see guys like Tate Ratledge move up some. Even looking at, we talked about Seattle and these other teams that need offensive line, maybe even Baltimore. But when we look at a team like Miami, they're picking 13th overall. This is a team that's really up in flux right now. They have 4 minutes left on the clock and still haven't put in their pick. This is a team where reports are that Jalen Ramsey may be looking for the door.
Yeah.
A lot of back and forth reports on whether Tyreek wants to be there or not. It's kind of up in the air. Tua Tagovailoa, yes, he's been signed to a big-time contract with them, but his history with concussions is very concerning. So it's like moving forward, looking to the future, what do the Miami Dolphins do here at 13? Do they take a reach and grab one of these offensive linemen that we all have projected late first round, early second? Or do they maybe trade back to maybe try to get more? Maybe let a team like Atlanta jump them so they can make sure they secure a guy like Jalen Walker. I'm not really sure what Miami's going to do here, but their pick is in, but I'm not sure what it's going to be.
I mean, with Jalen Ramsey, you said Jalen Ramsey is at the door. What other defensive backs do they have? Because Xavier Howard's no longer there at all either.
Nothing.
They added
outside of Jalen Ramsey, Javon Holland's gone.
When you have a guy like Will Johnson, who was a projected top 10 pick right here at this pick, I mean, I don't see them going any other way outside of a reach out offensive line.
Will Johnson makes sense.
I've seen Walter Nolan a lot mocked to this team as well. They need interior defensive line as well. I definitely don't see them trading back at all for an offensive lineman. I think they stay here and pick defense. I think they go Will Johnson. If they want to do that secondary with Jalen Ramsey out the door. But I think Walter Nolan is something that's really good for this team as well because they've lost their interior defense. They lost one of their D tackles over the offseason. And so
I wouldn't be mad at Walter Nolan or Will Johnson here. Both would be phenomenal picks. John, you had something to say?
I think you got to go offensive line here. I mean, you've seen what's happened to Tua. You hate to see what happens to Tua. I think you got to go with. I think you got to go with the tackle here, and you might have to go. I don't know exactly their cap space right now, but you might have to go sign a couple guys and really just help bolster that line because it's either going to be. I feel like a Josh Simmons or a Josh Conley Jr. out of Oregon, but it's just this is completely changed from what we thought it is, and this is how draft night goes. I mean, this time last year I was flipping out about Michael Penix, man. So I mean, we'll just have to wait and see what happens. But I say you have to go offensive line here, no matter what. You got to protect Tua. If you make him you want him to be your franchise, you want him to be the history. You got to go line here.
Yeah, I mean, I understand where you're coming from, John. Early in this draft process, I had them going offensive line.
It would have been very
because
smart.
of the troubles at Tua. But the thing that's changing my mind right now is the fact that all of my top offensive linemen are already off the board.
Very true.
A lot earlier than I anticipated. So, judging off what's already happened thus far, and the fact that all these linemen that I had high grades on are off the board, if I'm the Dolphins, I'm not going to reach. Because the worst thing you can do right now, yes, there's some offensive line troubles. You want to protect Tua. But the worst thing you could do right now is reach on a prospect that you're already 50-50 on. Because now you're taking a chance on a guy instead of getting a guy that you feel in your heart of hearts will come in and produce. And the only guys available right there that I feel will come in day one and be able to produce are Will Johnson and maybe even Walter Nolan. If I had to pick one of those, I'd lean Will Johnson here. Pair him up with Jalen Ramsey, who's still there. I think Jalen Ramsey's going to be gone soon. But go out, get Will Johnson. Best corner available in this draft class will help the Dolphins.
So hypothetically, say Jalen Ramsey does leave. Right now, their secondary consists of Storm Duck, Ethan Bonner, and Cam Smith. 3 no names. I have no idea who any
Cam
of these.
Cam Smith is the closest name that I can think of. But Storm Duck, what a name!
What a name!
It's like
I remember Storm Duck as a prospect, man.
Can we start him for that name, please?
Yeah.
Oh, he has one of the coolest names in the country.
It's like the coldest Crawford or something, man. You know.
I think the coldest to ever do it, Crawford has him beat out. But Storm
coldest
Duck
to ever do it.
Oh, that's his middle name. The coldest to ever do it, Crawford.
That's
that name
crazy.
right there is elite. He's at the transfer portal a lot. I'm not sure we're going to talk about him on a draft show anytime soon. But who knows?
Who knows?
Crazier
One day.
things have happened.
Look, he made his way in here to us, you know.
And the Miami Dolphins pick is officially in.
This is an interesting one.
I'm very excited to see what happens right here.
Come on.
Yeah.
It's gonna be very interesting. The commissioner is walking out. My prediction here is Will Johnson. Jackson, give your final prediction.
I think it's going to be Will Johnson.
I'll go Walter Nolan. I'll be different.
I will stay with Will Johnson, though.
Okay.
All right, here we go. With the 13th overall pick, the Miami Dolphins select Kenneth Grant, defensive tackle from Michigan.
Really? Okay.
So Kenneth Grant soaring up the Miami Dolphins draft board and going off way earlier than I expected.
Yeah.
We got some pretty shocked faces in the war room here.
I definitely thought he would go later, like in the 20s.
I didn't even know if he was going to be this high up. I mean, this is a little surprising to me, and I feel like I guess it's another thing. They got to see something than we do differently, right?
Right.
There's got to be something they see than we do, because honestly, at this point, I mean, I don't know. I feel like you had a better player in DeMar or Derek Harmon out of Oregon. I like the Walter Nolan, but I did not think they would go with Kenneth Grant here.
Yeah.
I mean, I'm looking at this pick. Riley, I want to ask you, you seem to know a lot about Walter Nolan. What separates Kenneth Grant from Walter Nolan?
I think it's like I think Kenneth Grant is like just a real pound and just get in there, go for the quarterback kind of defensive tackle, whereas I do think Walter Nolan has a bit more, for lack of a better word, finesse. And so I saw Kenneth Grant going to the Chargers a lot, and I thought, oh, that's a great Harbaugh pick right there.
I thought he was going to go in the late 20s as well.
Yeah.
This is just a lot higher than I think, so maybe the Dolphins just see something they really like, and maybe Walter Nolan had some bad interviews or something.
Yeah.
Not really sure, man.
I'm not sure either. I don't know too much, but
Now, Riley, I do know one thing you do know a lot about. You know a lot about that one as well, but you just knocked yourself. But the Indianapolis Colts pick is in right here at 14. Now, earlier in the draft, you celebrated when Colston Loveland went 10th overall to the Bears.
Yeah.
As an Indianapolis Colts fan, you go on the Colts blue. This is our Colts. This is our team. We bleed blue.
for the shoe, baby.
What do the Colts
He
do right here at
knows.
14, Riley?
Let me read my notes directly.
My man's prepared. I love it.
If Tyler Warren is available, this pick should be submitted in a minute. It's just Tyler Warren, I think. Unfortunately, I didn't think Jalen Walker would be here, and that is really tearing me up because we need edge and linebacker, which Jalen Walker can play. But I think we need tight end more.
I agree. Y'all need tight end more.
Tyler Warren is just so perfect for this team. He's great in the receiving game, but he's the best blocker of this tight end group, and that's going to be great for Anthony Richardson running the ball. It's going to be great for Jonathan Taylor running the ball.
Yep.
He also did fullback on certain plays when he was with Penn State, so he can really do it all to support this run game and still be very, very effective in the passing
He
game.
can line up any and everywhere. He's incredible. He can make every single catch on the field, make every play on the field. Crazy one-hand catches. He mossed 3 defenders in the end zone against USC. And I'm with you. Y'all do need help on defense, But I want y'all to get Tyler Ward because I need Jalen Walker to be the Atlanta Falcons.
Yeah.
Yep. Commissioner Roger Goodell is on the stage, and Tyler Warren has gone to the Indianapolis Colts.
Please. This is awesome.
Arguably the best athlete in the NFL draft.
Steal at 14.
Yeah, that was a steal at 14.
Steal.
Now, I have to say this. I am about to depart. It's been amazing sitting here for the first half of the draft with you all. But I want to say this. The 15th overall pick are my Atlanta Falcons. And one thing... Okay, I'll sit down, Joey. Joey wants me to sit down. I wish you just adjust the camera, Joseph, but it's okay. But listen, this is what we're going to do here. Atlanta Falcons pick at 15. I'm about to get out of y'all's hair so a whole Falcons cast can come on. But if the Falcons do not draft Jalen Walker right here, I'm going to hurt somebody.
I think it's going to be Omari and Hampton.
Shush.
Give me a quick song while we rotate, John.
Yes, sir. I got y'all. We'll go to break.
Ladies and gentlemen, I'm shaking. If you can see my hand, if you can see my legs,
I don't know if you can get this on the camera too right now, but my hand is shaking big time. Terry, do not mess this up here.
Look, we've been here before. Look at this. ATL representing. We got the senior cast on, plus John. We appreciate John here on the board for this Falcons pick. Falcons fans, what do y'all think right here? Jalen, dude, oh my gosh, I'm shaking.
You know what? I want to take a moment to apologize. I was kind of crazy for not being so excited about Jalen Walker. The only reason I was that is because we
didn't expect him to be there.
I just need somebody to bolster this defensive pressure on the defensive end. And you know what? I was too busy thinking edge, Mike Green, Shamar Stewart. But you're absolutely right. Slide me out there, y'all. Stop me.
Yeah.
Jalen Walker's on the board, y'all. You're absolutely right. And I want to apologize for just not because I'm settling again. You're right. Jalen Walker, JT's absolutely right. Jalen Walker is a lot more than just a linebacker. Mm-hmm. He can be a guy very elusive, very quick, that can attack on all four fronts on the defensive end. And if I wanted someone who could pressure the opposing quarterback, why am I acting like Jalen Walker can't do that?
This team needs a young and versatile linebacker group right now. And Jalen Walker falling into our laps. I mean, we were throwing Shamir Stewart, Mike Green out there because, like John, Jason, you just said, there was no thought in mind. Even Richard on the little reel that we did over on our Instagram page said that in a perfect world, Jalen Walker falls right into our hands. And he said, but the world is far from perfect. Guys, it is perfect today. The stars are aligning. Can you imagine putting Jalen Walker, getting that young, versatile presence in with Zach Harriet, Kentavious Street, Brandon Dorless?
Kentavious Street, what a name.
Shout out Philly. Because we know we've already made some defensive moves this offseason, and we kind of need to bring that intensity back on the line.
You're right.
For a pass rush that had the first half of the season the worst statistical stat when it comes to pocket presence and overall just quarterback pressure. And man, dude, talk about bolstering up the line.
I mean, look, if we can bolster up the defensive line, I did not expect this to be the scenario we're in right now. I mean, it is absolutely insane. I already mentioned earlier in the show, we go back to a year ago. Me and Steven are on here. We're talking Dallas Turner, Latu, Jared Verse, the 3 defensive ends that we could have taken. Who we take? Michael Penix Jr., our now starting quarterback. And yet, we have the opportunity this year. We can take Jalen Walker, and he's just a stud. He's an absolute stud.
Don't forget the Bijan pick. I know we love Bijan, but we passed up on Jalen Carter to get Bijan Robinson.
Look, I own the jersey. I don't care about that anymore. I own the jersey.
We love Bijan. We love Bijan.
Listen, yes.
I will say, John, I'm so glad you mentioned last year the defensive tackles and the defensive pressure we missed out on last year.
Yeah, absolutely.
And we were freaking out about Michael Penix.
Shoot, I crashed out live on stream before we started to say crashed out.
That is in the WSN archives, by the way.
That is a golden clip, just like you wearing a Florida pullover. I had to get my money. I had to get that there. Look, Terry, I don't know what you're doing over there. We got a minute 36 left on the clock.
And you're absolutely right. Imagine how well this could work out. Michael Penix, who we were a little shaky on drafting last year, he is now going to be our solidified starter. Now that that's in place, and the fact that Jalen Walker could fall in our laps, we get the best of both worlds. This could actually turn out to be a full circle moment.
Everything has fallen into place. Like last year, we were confused. You saw all of us. You saw whenever we signed Kirk Cousins. That's another clip. Me and John are like, we got the quarterback for the next 4 years.
Yep.
But that obviously didn't happen. Everything happens for a reason. Coming into this draft, like today, we were like, best case scenario, Mike Green or Mikael Williams. And I was even leaning more towards Mikael because, I'm a dog guy. This is better than the best case scenario right now.
Let's not forget another thing that the Falcons had issues on interior-wise is getting our linebackers to help fill in the interior lanes. That is a big problem why the Falcons' run stoppage was so weak and so poor. Jalen Walker, you cannot point out another guy remaining in this draft that helps cover interior lanes better than Jalen Walker does right now. And I know you,
gentlemen, all I'm saying, there's 30 seconds left, and we don't have a pick in. Gentlemen, I do not understand.
Making you a little nervous.
This is making me very nervous.
Guys, I did hop on this mic, and before we went on air, I did say I was nervous. And the only reason is because we are so sold on getting an edge rusher. That's who the Falcon scouts were looking at the most. So you think because of that, they're like, hey, this Mike Green guy, we spent all offseason scouting him. We are sold on this guy. We're not getting anyone else.
That's a possibility.
The pick is in, fellas.
The pick is in. It has been solidified. It is in. Hey, the fate has been set, ladies and gentlemen.
I'm gonna close my laptop. I'm going pure screen here. I'm gonna see what everyone's reacting with. I am not trying to jump the gun on this, fellas. Will I get one more birthday gift for today?
Oh,
will
John,
I get one more birthday?
Jim,
will I get one more?
Oh, Jim, this is all for you, baby.
While we're here, happy birthday, Johnny.
22 years old, by the way.
Yes,
congratulations.
Sir. And if for the people saying it's my Taylor Swift year, thanks.
It is. Absolutely it is.
I don't know about you, but I'm feeling Jalen Walker.
Bars. ESPN that says that Derek Harmon for the Oregon Ducks is technically the Falcons' best friend.
No, stop.
ESPN does not know what they're talking about.
They do not know ball like we know ball, respectfully speaking.
I was just pointing that out just just in case his name flashed up on the board, that I could just draw into talking about him, but
no. We know who we want.
Jay Walker's got to be the guy. Hey, I was just setting up the possible scenario because we've been in for a
we have to prepare. You're saying we have to prepare our minds and hearts.
Yes, we have. But here's the thing: we had the guy coming from Clemson. I know he's injured beginning of the year, but once he came in, what did he do? Create instant pressure. We have Braylon Trice, another guy we can keep developing. I promise you. Then we signed a guy in Leonard Floyd, and we brought in the new DC. And I mean, look,
right.
I don't think that's the big concern. You have to go. You have to go edge here, or at least, or Jalen Walker, the linebacker. You can work down into the edge position. You can have him fill the A gap, the A's and B gaps to create all that pressure, because that's what we did in college. We had the double stunts and everything, and that's what he was able to do. And I just look. I'm getting more and more antsy from this pick right now.
If we wanted to carry towards the inside linebacker position, I'm just telling you right now, James Wood for the Falcons, I mean, he was one of the kind of the moves up, or Josh Woods, excuse me, was kind of the guys that we let slip under the radar because of how low the offseason was. That's the guy that I really want to look out for the Falcons.
All right, hey, Roger Goodell is standing on the podium. History will be made here. In the past, we have felt they have made the wrong decision. Will the Falcons right all wrongs and do what we say with the 15th pick in the NFL draft?
Let's go! Let's go! Walker! Jalen Walker
welcome to Atlanta, baby. Welcome to the ATL. Welcome to the ATL. Let's go.
Nothing heals a sore heart after losing Grady Jarrett to the Chicago Bears and getting a linebacker, Jalen Walker, to fill in the hole and the Falcons have been missing for years.
Listen here. What a bunch of happy birthday, John. Happy birthday.
Look, that's another crazy pick, another yelling pick. Terry, you're not walking around with your head on a pitchfork tonight. You made this city happy. You made me happy. You're getting a stud right here. Oh, freaking Luya, baby. Oh, my gosh.
I know Brendan Willoughby Ray, the former sports director, is out at the Mercedes-Benz for the watch party. It's got to be Jubilee in there right now inside the Mercedes-Benz Stadium. Oh, my goodness. Guys, all I wanted was somebody to add pressure to the opposing quarterbacks. And Jalen Walker, with his size and elusiveness, can come off the edge and do just that.
Look,
I am shaking. As a Georgia fan, I know you, John. We've seen number 11 do some work. We will see what he can do as he stays in the great Peach State of Georgia, baby.
Now, John, you're a Georgia fan. You watch Georgia games.
Absolutely.
Tell us about Jalen Walker. What
Listen
about him
here.
should Falcons fans be the most excited for?
Look, there was at one point I was on a Sports Pack episode, and I know what I say here was a little crazy, but it was after Texas, and Jalen Walker absolutely terrorized the Texas offensive line. I said, you look at terrorists in the definition, you're gonna see Jalen Walker right next to it because that's what he is on the field. He creates so much danger and havoc. At this point, you got to make sure that that you watch out for him. Like I said, he's big, he's strong, he's fast, he's great with stunts, and you are able to work him into all the gaps. You can sneak him down into that edge, and boom. Get that right through there and get the sacks.
I
know, Jim, you like the boom.
And I have to say this because speaking of booms right here, John, I'll throw one out here right now. I was on my Paul Feinbaum run last week.
Oh my gosh, yeah, you're absolutely loving the Paul Feinbaum. Yeah, you do love Paul Feinbaum.
I might pull him a little bit here again, but I think
my goodness gravy. Oh my goodness.
You want to talk about a guy that can rip through NFL defenses or NFL offensive linemen? You take a look at what the biggest prominent conference is for building offensive line. It is SEC linemen. It doesn't get bigger. It doesn't get stronger. It doesn't get more agilitized than the SEC's offensive line. And Jalen Walker terrorizing that SEC line for many years at Georgia and what he's going to bring to his hometown Falcons now, it's poetry in motion. I mean, this is poetic justice because of what happened the previous draft picks. And though they might pan out, we finally got the edge rusher, not the edge rusher, but we finally got the interior defensive lineman that we've been salivating for 3 years now. This is Jubilee for us Falcons fans. This is the stride in the right direction, guys. The sun is so bright. God, I love it.
This is only done today because of some of the picks that have happened earlier in this day where we thought maybe the Dolphins will
are absolutely right.
Maybe the Dolphins will pick Jalen Walker. Maybe whoever will pick Jalen Walker.
I had Jalen Walker going 6 to the Raiders on my mock draft.
Well, I like Ashton Genty. I'm not going to lie there.
I like it too.
Ashton Genty was a beautiful pick for him
Although I will say, and Brandon will disagree, the Raiders have a lot of holes, and I love Zamir White. As a Georgia fan, like that is a great running back. They could have bolstered their offensive line. They could have bolstered really anything. Really, they've picked, 2 running backs now in the last 2 years in the first 2 rounds. So
it's not been the greatest form with the running backs. I mean,
what has been the most surprising pick to y'all?
Easiest. What's his name? Colson Loveland. From Michigan.
Oh yeah.
I mean, I can't believe the fact that you took him over Tyler Warren, and it created the best case scenario dream for us for the Falcons and everything. And I mean, seriously, at the end of the day, I can't believe you took him over Tyler Warren.
I can't believe that either. But if you want to ask me, one thing I was really shocked about was I love the fact that Jacksonville traded to number 2 to get Travis Hunter. But I thought for sure that the Browns were in perfect position to get Shedeur Sanders because I don't like the fact that Joe Flacco is their quarterback. Now, I know they could get quarterback next year, but I feel like Shedeur Sanders would have perfectly placed them back on the right track.
All right. Well, I'm just saying that is it for me tonight. Falcons,
Johnny
ready to go.
John,
rise up, baby.
I will relinquish my duties to Mr. Aiden Aby, but for that tonight, it's been one heck of a birthday. Terry Fontenot, thank you so much. See y'all tomorrow morning for Triple Threat.
The very best.
Hey, amen, John. It's been a pleasure. I love you, buddy. And like he said, shameless plug, Triple Threat in the morning, baby. I'm sure we will have full analysis and breakdown of what's happened here today. It's been amazing. I'm having a great time. And as I'm speaking, we have Aiden Abe himself. Welcome to Controlling the Reins on the Board. Goodbye, Johnny. Good night. And congratulations, you Falcon fan.
Cardinals pick is actually in, so we have to turn our attention here.
He has stood on the board.
Will
We have not talked
Johnson.
about the
Will Johnson's got to be it, right?
Shamir Stewart. I'm going Shamir Stewart. You talk about edge rusher. Cardinals need a long-term pass rush.
Walter Nolan.
Walter Nolan is taking with the 16th pick in the NFL draft. Gentlemen,
I had Walter Nolan going to the Cincinnati Bengals, the very next pick.
You want to hear something crazy?
Oh.
You want to hear something crazy?
What's crazy?
Did you know what was said about Walter Nolan?
What was said about Walter
Walter Nolan?
Nolan?
Had the crazy idea that he was even better than Mason Graham. And this was a guy that I think not a lot of people are keeping their eyes on. And I actually absolutely love this pick for the Cardinals. The only reason I'm a little iffy about it at the same time is because over the offseason, Calais Campbell, Josh Webb, they picked up a lot of defensive tackles already. I was thinking this would be the perfect opportunity to get Will Johnson, who, by the way, I still can't believe he's on the board, to bolster that secondary. That Cardinals secondary is weak.
I like this pick. Like you said, Calais Campbell they picked up in the offseason. That dude's pushing 40 these days.
Josh Sweat, though, he just led the sacks in the Super Bowl.
Josh Sweat's good. Walter Nolan, though, this is a guy who can play any spot on that. Well, not any spot. He can play any spot in that inside defensive line. He can play straight up nose. He can play a 3. He can play a 1. This guy can fit anywhere in the scheme. Has faced the elite offensive line talent like Tyler Booker repeatedly and look good against them
over there at Ole Miss.
Well, and I gotta say, I think this is a kind of guy that you can rotate in a year before starting full time, and that can carry to the Cards. But I do like the pay. I'm just glad they got someone on that line.
Now, ladies and gentlemen, me and Andrew are saying our goodbyes for now. We're gonna bring 2 new men here on the board. We'll see you in a little bit.
And with that as well, I'm going to hand over the hosting reins over here to JT, hosting his first ever draft show. Ladies and gentlemen, for Jason Barker, it has been a freaking pleasure, and it has been an honor as a Falcons fan to be on the call for Jalen Walker, going to be striping it up for the Atlanta Falcons for the foreseeable futures. Ladies and gentlemen, I bet you I'll be back around, but give a warm and nice welcome to almost a full playbook cast here with JT.
Playbook plus Phillip. Shout out to Phillip. As the reins hand over to JT, the Cincinnati Bengals sit on the clock. Where will they go here?
Wow, what a pick for these Atlanta Falcons. We have mixed emotions here. I'm going to kick it to Aiden first. What are your thoughts on this Falcons pick as a Falcons fan?
I don't love it. I don't love it at all. I don't love Jalen Walker.
Jason,
I've said it time after time.
My screw fell out of my mic. I don't know what happened. I barely pulled it.
Yeah, it's happened. It's happened, I think, 3 times on this show.
We're making a lot of sacrifices for this show to go through. So
yeah, but Jalen Walker does not excite me. I'm a Georgia Tech fan, so I know what Georgia players to fear. Jalen Walker was not one that I was ever had a shred of fear in my heart about
what
him.
do you mean,
What he was going
buddy?
to do
Oh my
against
God,
Georgia
you're
Tech.
talking to another Georgia Tech fan over here, and I'm going to double down on what I have been saying on the playbook for the past 2 weeks. We got the best edge rusher in the entire draft this season, y'all. The Falcons didn't mess up a pick.
got muted for a second.
All right, Brandon's getting muted. Yeah, Brandon.
I think your mic cut out for
Yeah,
a second.
Brandon's on mute over there. While we're going to talk about why Jalen Walker is extremely overrated, in my opinion. This is a guy who came off the edge a lot last year, didn't have sack production except against Texas. He could beat 1 tackle, and that tackle was a top 10 pick this year, but that was the only tackle he had any production against all year.
He had
In
production
coverage,
against other tackles.
He had 1.5 sack against other tackles.
Well, I want to flip this one over to Phillip. Phillip, I know you have some mixed emotions. You were looking at guys like Mike Green over Jalen Walker. What are your thoughts on this pick?
It took me about 1
clip on Instagram of watching Mike Green to realize that's who I wanted this draft.
Me too.
One clip.
Oh my goodness,
he's insane.
Did you see him at the Senior Bowl?
These guys aren't watching the Senior Bowl.
I mean, I can show
Unbelievable.
you one clip.
No,
Like,
no. Mike Green is objectively a better pass rusher than Jalen Walker. I do like that Jalen Walker can cover a little bit. I like his versatility. I like that he's a sort of more outside linebacker than edge rusher. But I definitely think Mike Green would have been a better pick. I kind of think Will Johnson would have been a better pick, but I do like the pass rush.
No, absolutely not. We should not have gone cornerback with that.
I don't know how many
second corner, and then Walter Nolan would have been a really good pick too. Walter Nolan's
Walter Nolan's good.
A better pick, Jalen Walker.
Jalen Walker, we're getting a Swiss Army knife, a jack of all trades, a master of none, a guy who does a lot of things decent, who doesn't do anything extremely well. When I think this is a team that needed an extremely good edge rusher.
He rushes the quarterback well.
Where's the statistics then? He hasn't rushed him well statistically.
Quarterback hurries.
No, he doesn't. Statistically, he does not.
He's just objectively not better than Mike Green. I think.
So listen, we can sit here and we can talk about the Falcons pick all day long.
Bengals sure are taking a while, huh?
We have the Cincinnati Bengals on the clock.
All right, I just want to say we obviously have some mixed emotions from Falcons fans. Jalen Walker's overrated. Jalen Walker is the best pick available right now.
And Mike Green is a goat.
Mike Green
is unbelievable. The Bengals should pick Mike Green.
I'm
here.
so sad that Mike Green's going to be on another team.
I hope that the Bengals do
I was
pick
so
Mike
committed
Green
to him.
Mike Green is so good.
We did mention Will Johnson a second ago. I had the Bengals taking John Barron because I thought that Will Johnson would have gone earlier in the draft. I think Will Johnson falling to 16 here to the Bengals is an amazing pick, but I want to hear your guys' take. Aiden, who do you think the Bengals go with here?
Hold on, I'm seeing waiting for commission confirmation. There might be a trade here. Somebody might be trading up.
I really don't think the Bengals should trade away this pick.
I don't either. I think they should pick Mike Green.
They need an edge rusher. They have Mike Green right there.
Yep.
They have Shamar Stewart. They have everything that they want right there.
Should be
This
Mike
would have been
Green.
the equivalent of the Falcons trading out of their pick. This is not going to make any sense to me.
Mike Green makes so much sense here. I mean, that Trey Hendrickson requested trade at the start of the year. They never ended up doing it. But worst case scenario, you get an insane partner on the other side of Trey Hendrickson. I don't see any downside of picking Mike Green here. Well, except for maybe his character issues, and that could play a part. But NFL, you know what I mean.
The NFL draft is doing what they always do, and they like to take their precious time yapping on there before the picks come in. Roger Goodell is still waiting for confirmation on this pick.
You mean to tell me you don't want to listen to Mike McCarthy just talk all night, bro?
I would rather not.
What a draft show that would be.
Roger Goodell is
he's coming to the stage. No, they traded it away.
Shador.
Y'all say
It's perfect timing.
What are you talking about, Aiden?
It's perfect timing.
We'll see what happens.
What are we doing?
Oh, I thought it was the Browns, guys. The Bengals have the same color. I got confused. Hand up.
What's going on?
All right, here we go. The Bengals.
I'm calling it Mike Green.
What is going on right here?
Mike Green, I'm calling it.
Shamar
Stewart, baby.
Let's
go.
Shamar Stewart is another bum defensive edge
What
who's
are you
got
talking about?
his career high in sacks is 1.5.
Okay, I get the lack of statistical prowess, but his intangibles are ridiculous.
The greatest.
His arms are so long. He's got great athleticism. I don't hate this pick at all.
I think I love this pick to the Bengals simply because Trey Hendrickson's your pass rusher on the other side. You don't get a deal with him done. You have Shamar Stewart on the other side right there. And now he becomes your franchise edge rusher. Now, if you do decide over there to re-sign Trey Hendrickson, now you have the run stopper and Shamar Stewart on one side, and you have the pass rusher with Trey Hendrickson. I think this was the best case scenario for the Cincinnati Bengals.
It's not better than Mike Green.
I love this pick for them.
It's not better than Mike Green.
Shamar Stewart is the best defensive end athletically ever in the draft. Relative athletic score of 10.
Yes.
That is the greatest that it can get.
But
he doesn't produce on the football field.
Mike Green produces.
Mike Green had 17 sacks, had 25.
Mike Green produces.
Well,
it's about stats a little bit, brother.
When you
This is the things that you do that go unnoticed, baby.
Yes, so stats are great to have, but they aren't everything.
Okay, when you look at the edge rushers who are good in the NFL, it's not the guys who in college weren't doing good. It's Myles Garrett, who in college had 20 sacks. Aiden Hutchinson in college was unstoppable. Chase Young in college, unstoppable. TJ Watt, the Bosa's. These guys were in college and unstoppable. There is no edge rusher that was bad in college and then randomly put it together in the NFL. That hasn't happened in 10 years in the league.
Yeah. Mike Green, I don't. The only reason he wasn't picked, it's got to be character issues. It's got to be because of the lawsuits he had a while ago, getting kicked out of Virginia. Because his Oh my gosh! I'm telling you, I know this is glaze. I know this is heavy glaze. I watched a minute and a half of him in my lifetime, and I wanted him so bad.
He had some guys have the juice. Not Green.
I just needed a minute and a half of watching him do those one-on-one drills with the student. He absolutely, and I'm not talking about his game film. I'm talking about him one-on-one at the Senior Bowl against future NFL players who are going the first, second, third round. He bullied them. It wasn't even close. They got bowled over. It was his power is insane. And
Mike Green, not drafted yet.
All right.
Instead, we took.
Wait for what's going to happen. Mike Green
Let's
gets
click on
drafted.
Mike Green. I want to end it with Mike Green is a good player. He should have been gone by now, but I like this Shamar Stewart pick to the Bengals. I think he should have went earlier too.
Yeah, that's fair. He's got the prowess. He's got like the athletic ability.
He's got athleticism.
As we speak, the Seattle Seahawks are on the clock with the 17th pick, and we got any predictions for this one?
I don't hate Matthew Golden here.
Yeah, I was
They just
thinking.
got rid of Tyler Lockett.
I'm thinking receiver.
Golden here.
Matthew Golden.
Brandon's
on off
Golden
here.
here, brother.
Matthew Golden's my number one receiver on my board.
I'd go with Buka.
I love Matthew Golden as a player. He's got speed. His hands are ridiculous. He did so like when you watched his game against Georgia this year in the SEC championship, he was ridiculous. Debatably the best player on the field that whole game.
Brother, okay, so they just got Cooper Kupp, and they have Njigba. So why are they going receiver in the top of the draft? They were 30th in the league in sacks allowed last season.
What's wrong
You've
with
got to go offensive tackle or offensive guard.
There's not a lot of tackle left on the board.
How many receivers are on the field at one time?
You have to go Josh Simmons right here from
1,
Ohio
2,
State. You have to
3.
get a tackle.
They need a third.
You have to make sure Sam Darnold isn't on the ground every single play.
Matthew Golden is just that good.
I want to say Sam Darnold did just as good in Minnesota with 2 good receivers. So I think Seattle's fine with not.
I get what you're
receiver
saying.
here.
I get what you're saying. But what if the Seahawks had the past night? They've had DK, Tyler Lockett, and Jigba. They've gone the 3 receiver sets this whole time. They can continue it so easily if they get a speedster like Golden to match up with Njigba and to match up with Cooper Kupp. They've got 3 great route runners and they can just cook.
I want to ask you what that trio got them last year.
They had Geno Smith and a first year head coach. What are you talking about?
Well, I mean, they're going to have Sam Darnold.
I mean, it was the coach's
Sam Darnold won what 14 games last year?
Yeah, he did.
Yeah,
I still think Sam Darnold is an unproven guy. What's
he got to do?
Are we going to act like people don't progress from one year to the next, and a coach doesn't progress from one year to the next as well?
I absolutely do think they do, but I do think a big part of Sam Darnold having the season that he did last year was him having the offensive coordinator that he had last year.
I think part of it was also him having Justin Jefferson and Jordan Addison.
He had
absolutely too.
And TJ Hawkins. You know what Sam Darnold had? Sam Darnold had 3 elite weapons.
Well, he's moving over to a defensive-heavy head coach in Will McDonald over there in Seattle.
Yeah, fair enough.
Where do you think defensive head coach Will McDonald goes here then, if it's not a receiver?
Who do you think he should go?
I think he should go offensive tackle.
Like who?
Okay.
I think he should go guy out of Ohio State. Josh Simmons. Yeah. I think this is the obvious pick.
It's a man that gave up a sack to Mike Green.
He's on the Seattle Seahawks.
Yeah, fist bump for that one. Fist bump for that one. That's elite. I wouldn't hate Mike Green.
Who do they go here?
Gray Zabel out of North Dakota State.
Gray Zabel. Okay, I don't hate it. They went offensive lineman. I would have went.
He's a guard, I'm pretty sure.
I don't think
he's gonna play tackle
guard
at North Dakota State. Probably gonna kick in to guard.
They
announced him as a guard.
I get the fit. I'm just such a big Matthew Golden and Mike Green are 2 of my favorite players in this draft.
Yeah, I do think they are set at that receiver position, and I think O-line's where you build up to really help that pass game. Now you've got you've got Cooper Kupp, you've got Jackson Smith and Jigba, who are proven weapons out there at wide receiver.
I agree.
Now you go and get Gray Zabel, help out Sam Darnold where he can hit those weapons often on the outside.
I just think Matthew Golden would have been a great wide receiver.
I like them
but
going offensive line.
I am shocked that Matthew Golden's still there.
I like them going offensive line. I just don't like that they didn't go with Josh Simmons.
Yeah, but they've already got they drafted their 2 tackles. What was it, 3 years ago with Charles Cross and Abraham Lucas? Has Lucas fallen off since his rookie year? Because he was really good his rookie year.
They're both probably going to stick at tackle here.
Yeah, exactly.
Zabel's going to go to the inside.
Yeah,
they've got looking very
tackles.
good.
Like they didn't need a tackle. They've got their tackles for the future. They got them both in the same draft.
So
they
we've
got
been
Charles
talking.
Cross.
JT, how do you feel about this pick, bud?
I'm not a fan of this pick. I think that they should have at least traded back, and they still could have gotten Gray Zabel.
I like that. Yeah.
I think another guy like you mentioned with Josh Simmons would have been a great pick here, but Will Johnson's still on the board, and the Buccaneers are on the clock. One of their biggest problems in the past has been that passing defense, and Will Johnson would be a great pick, but I also have Malachi Starks possibly being an option here. But
yeah.
we'll see how that goes.
Will-
They're still on the clock.
The Buccaneers. I'm feeling Jade Barron out of Texas
Brother.
on this pick. This
I like
is
that
interesting.
too. I like that
Will
too.
Johnson falling this far in the draft is absolutely insane. And if I'm the Buccaneers, I don't think I've pressed a button quicker to submit a pick for Will Johnson.
I think
than
Will
they
Johnson
will.
and Starks are close. It's got to be. I think I agree. It should be one of the two. But then, like pairing up Antoine Winfield with Malachi Starks would be pretty wild. Might be the best safety.
Like
duo.
you have your biggest need in this draft was going to be somebody in
It's
the
up there.
secondary, and I think that for the Buccaneers, this was the best case scenario.
Yeah, they have a
everybody
choice.
dropping to them because
Yeah,
there
they've got a
hasn't been a
choice with the
corner taken
secondary.
yet.
Yeah, they've got a choice with the secondary, or Mike Green.
Yeah, with Will. but with Will Johnson, you have the injury concerns.
Yeah.
You haven't. He didn't run at the combine. He hasn't tested athletically. At Jade Barron looked insane athletically at the combine.
That
You've seen
Arizona
him-
State game.
Yeah, you've seen him play at Texas. He's for sure a great
He is,
lockdown
yeah.
corner. He can even play some safety if you need him to. This is another guy who has a lot of positional versatility, can be used wherever you need him.
Yeah.
Gray's able,
Ian
lefty
Rappaport-
pitcher, used to throw in the low 90s. Good for him.
Wow. Yeah, he used to be a pitcher. That's pretty neat. I guess that translates.
Thank you, Ian.
We'll see how that translates to the NFL. But with this Buccaneers pick, we mentioned throwing around names like Jade Barron with Will Johnson, both who should have been gone by now, in my opinion.
Most likely.
Malachi Starks also a great option. Nick Emenwari also could be a great option. Somewhere in the secondary, any one of those four guys would be a great pick here for the Bucs. But man, are they taking a while?
The way that the secondary players are falling right here, I do think they can even double up in the second round.
I will say.
Go out and get Benjamin Morrison, or they can go out and get Maxwell Harrison in the second round out of Kentucky.
Chris Godwin's had some serious injury issues, guys. Is it Matthew Golden time?
Is it-
Maybe.
I don't think this
No, I don't think Matthew Golden is going right here.
My prediction is going to be Starks.
ESPN has the best fit as James Pierce Jr.
It is going to be
I
don't see
wild
that,
to
but
me
that
if
is,
Will Johnson doesn't get picked right here.
But I think teams are really factoring in his injury concerns. Like they're like not participating in the combine is rough. Like that hurts
Well,
you a
we've
lot.
already seen a whole lot of picks this year that didn't participate in the combine.
Well, not at
You can debate Starks. You can debate Starks.
not at
like,
such athletically dependent positions like corner.
yeah. And Starks is so talented. Like ever since his freshman year at Georgia when he was playing corner, I think he could be a fantastic corner in the league too. Like he's so versatile. He's been great all year. Great all past year and the past year. Like his freshman year might have even been his best year. I like Malachi Starks a lot as a player, even though I hate Georgia.
Well,
He's just a great player.
With the Bucs, their needs are basically corner, edge, linebacker. Get
Yeah.
a guy that can do all three in Nick Emenwari. I don't hate if they go with him here. That guy can rush off the edge, or he can be at linebacker, or he could even play in the secondary at safety, which is his main position. This guy can do everything on the field.
Yeah.
So that'd
And
be
when
my
you
ideal
when you
pick
look at
here.
what the Buccaneers have already added in the offseason, they got a new offense. They got outside linebacker Hassan Reddick, linebacker Anthony Walker, and a corner Kendall Vildor. This is a team that's building up that defense. They've shown they're committed to it in the offseason. I think they continue here, whether it's Starks, whether it's Barron, whether it's
I think
Will
the reason I
Johnson.
love Starks is you can keep is just his verse. Like he could play slot corner, he can play safety, he could even play outside corner. I really think he can play outside corner.
Similar things with Jade Barron.
Yeah, I agree. Jade Barron's similar. I just personally like Malachi Starks more from what I've seen, but I do like Jade Barron.
And just there.
There goes Mike. Adam Schefter just had
We
a
lost.
great tweet saying the Buccaneers are picking.
Yeah, not
What
trading
a-
the pick away.
What a weird little
good-
sequence of events right there.
A lot just happened, but
Philip,
we're still living
we've
over
lost
here.
Philip.
This is Mike, guys. We have
Philip,
lost
you
Philip.
are muted while your mic is fixed, so we don't get a. we don't get screwed.
Like, I do think it's very far-fetched that they go Mike Green here, but again, this is a draft, and we've seen crazy things happen.
We've seen much crazier. We saw Colston Loveland go over Tyler Warren.
We have Jason Barker here to
Jason-
save the day.
Technical assistant Jason Barker in the area as the Buccaneers. The pick is in
The pick is in.
for Tampa Bay. We will sit here and
Wait for
await.
Roger
said,
Goodell to take his
await
precious
for
time.
Roger
I
Goodell.
really don't think that this could have gone any better for the Buccaneers with everybody passing on these secondary
They
players.
have so many options here. I wouldn't have hated if they traded down. There's so many good guys they could get at this spot. They could have probably traded down 3 or 4
maybe
picks
a
and
thing
still
to where-
gotten a great player. In
It
the
may be a
secondary.
thing where they didn't even look at Will Johnson because they didn't even think there was a possibility that they would even fall to him. But now we're in a scenario where you have a guy who you may not have scouted that you may take. They may take Jedi Barron here just because That's a guy they scouted and
Yeah,
they
guy
knew
that
was
looked
going to be on the board whenever they were going to pick.
Guy who they've done their due diligence on and are more comfortable with. As I want to talk about how Shadur Sanders is still on the board. This is a guy.
We have a pick.
Hold on.
Oh, Roger Goodell's talking.
Goodell
Oh, my
is
goodness.
up. Let's see. The Buccaneers.
The Buccaneers have selected Emeka Egbuka, wide receiver out of Ohio State.
Wow. Good job.
Is it working? I'm mute.
Good job.
Oh, Philip is back.
There we go. I see. I would have taken Golden, but I get the appeal with Igbuka over Golden. His route running is probably a little better.
Mm-hmm.
He's better at some things. So,
As a Falcons fan, I love this pick.
No, I don't.
I hope that comes back to bite you.
I completely I'm going to disagree with that because I think he's a really good Chris Godwin replacement, and Chris Godwin's is getting old. He's getting hurt all the time, and for now he can play in the slot while Chris Godwin's healthy. I think it's a great pick by the Bucs personally.
No, I absolutely disagree with that one. I think they should have gone secondary with it. Will Campbell still being there. I don't know what kind of backstory or injury, anything like that someone knows that we don't about Will Campbell. But there's no reason.
What do you mean you don't know? He tore his ACL.
I mean, yeah, and clearly, there's
he tore his ACL to the point where he didn't compete in the combine a year later.
Yeah, those team doctors have done their due diligence on Will Johnson. I'm going to assume they probably know a little better than we do about his health right now.
Looking at Emeka's stats from last year, 81 receptions, just over 1,000 yards. A great player, but I do not think he should have went above Matthew Golden. I feel like Emeka Egbuka should have been a later pick in this first round. Not saying I hate this pick, but they could have traded down.
I don't mind it at all. This is a guy who can be that number one receiver. Who can, as Mike Evans and Chris Godwin get older, you're going to need somebody to pick up the slack that they've got to that Father Tom's going to pick up on them eventually. And Emeka Egbuka's that guy who can come in and play slot for you right now. He can move to the outside whenever you need him to. This is a guy who can be a number one receiver, and he can play as a number two and number three. We've seen it. These Ohio State wide receiver rooms are loaded with talent every year, and now he goes to another receiver room that is absolutely loaded with talent where he can succeed.
I mean, Chris Godwin's getting old. I mean, even Mike Evans is getting old.
Yeah.
Like, they're all getting old.
And
Baker Mayfield needs to keep getting weapons. I mean, does he really have a running back weapon out the backfield for receiving? Not really. I don't see oh my God, I'm blanking. Who's the running back? Who's it?
Bucky Irving.
Bucky Irving was a beast last year.
But he's not,
he was a beast.
He's not like a receiving back though. He's not a receiving back. Their tight end play for receiving is Like they need more weapons. They got Baker Mayfield another weapon, and if we're talking about their free agency, as Aiden said, they've already stacked up.
The Buccaneers came into that pick with the 30th ranked pass defense in the league last year, so I don't understand at all why you didn't go secondary.
Because they
targeted a lot.
They targeted in free agency.
Targeted a lot of guys in free agency. Maybe they're happy with the guys that they've got and
Who
feel
did they
good.
target in the secondary? I know
They had they got a cornerback and a safety.
You just said they could get in the second round. You just said they could fix it in the second round. So I don't hate this pick. It's a really good Chris Godwin replacement.
You double up on a safety and a corner right there if you need that much help.
I think what they should have done is waited until the second round, traded up for a wide receiver like Luther Burden, or probably could have gotten Egbuka in the second round.
The way receivers are going, I think.
If Luther Burden falls to the Falcons in the second round, I might just that
would be pretty nice.
Be happy.
Or if the Bills want to take him, hey, I'll be happy with Luther Burden.
The Broncos,
he was one of the best receivers in college football a couple years ago.
Speaking of receivers, I think that all of us can kind of agree on where the Broncos go here. Do we all like Matthew Golden?
I like Matthew Golden.
No, I disagree. I disagree. I'm going.
I think you're disagreeing just to disagree.
No, man. This is a guy that I really love, that I think fits very well in what this Broncos team is doing, what they're building over there. I think it's Jihad Campbell, the linebacker out of Alabama. I love Jihad Campbell. I think this is another guy.
No.
The guys out of Alabama didn't get a lot of love in this pre-draft prospect, the Tyler Booker, who we already saw go higher than expected. I think Jihad Campbell's in that same boat. This is a guy who's been starting for Nick Saban, starting for Kalen DeBoer, trusted in both regimes, and been a stud in both regimes.
Well, with some of the mock drafts we have going around the station, and some that we've been seeing from some of these experts, a lot of them are saying maybe a second running back goes here.
I was about to say, can I? I was going to say Amarian Hampton.
Amarian Hampton.
Yep. That was going to be my player. I watched Amarian Hampton in college because as a Tech fan, we played him a good bit. That kid's a dog. I mean, he is unbelievable. He's fat. Like he's not JT, obviously, but he's fat. He's faster than JT. I think, personally, from what I've seen. Like he's He reminds me. This draft kind of reminds me of the Jahmyr Gibbs, Bijan Robinson draft in a way of him being the Jahmyr Gibbs type player. I'm not saying he's going to be Jahmyr Gibbs.
Yeah.
But I really like him here as well. I like him, Golden. I like Starks just because he's good and versatile.
I think
it's just hard not to like Starks almost anywhere because he's so versatile and just a good athletic player. That's like he has such a high floor. I don't see Malachi Starks being bad.
Good news, the Broncos pick is in. Okay. We had our debate about where they should go. Everybody had a different opinion.
I think they go Derek Harmon here.
Oh, Derek Harmon.
Good player.
Let's give our final guess. I'm going to go Omarion Hampton. That's my guess.
Omarion Hampton, Derek Harmon.
Oh, I said Jihad Campbell.
This was one of the best defenses in the league last year. I don't understand why at all they would go defense. I think you need to continue the momentum of the offense. That way, Bo Nix doesn't have a sophomore slump, and you go out, you get Matthew Golden.
Well, you look at their losses in the offseason. They lost quarterback Zach Wilson, so that'll probably improve the offense a little bit for them out there in Denver.
That'll help the quarterback room's chemistry.
Things are looking up out there for the offense.
But I mean, their running back room is just not great after losing Javonte Williams. I mean, they got Jaleel McLaughlin as their starter and Audric Estime as their backup.
Yeah.
Even when they had
Omarion Hampton's just miles better than both.
My take on running back at this point in the draft is it's such a deep class. You can get a running back who's going to be a difference maker.
I agree.
Potentially in the third or the fourth round with like R.J. Harvey out of UCF is probably the 8th or 9th best running back.
I like Judkins too in the second round. I love Judkins in the second round.
Judkins, Henderson, Caleb Johnson out of Iowa. It's murderers.
Cam Scatterbo. Cam Scatterbo is just a dog.
There's plenty of talent that you can get later in this draft.
There is a gap between Omarion Hampton and the rest. Like, there is a maybe not too significant, but I'd call it a significant gap.
Yeah, I don't know if it's significant enough to use your first round pick on it. When
I would put Judkins.
The Broncos are a team. Yeah, the Broncos are a team with a lot of needs. This is a team that they've been good, not great. Bo Nix looked really good in his rookie season. Get him a defense that can go out there and win a championship for him.
I personally like either Golden or Hampton here. I like both. I do like Starks. I like Campbell. Mike Green.
We love Jihad Campbell.
I like the thought of them going offense. I like Jihad Campbell. I like Derek Harmon going here. I like all of these picks. I could feel for Bo Nix getting some help out there with Omarion Hampton or with Matthew Golden. I mean,
it's hard for them to go wrong.
They're announcing
Roger Goodell. No, Roger Goodell's brought somebody out. He's going to go on a rant, guys. We got time.
It's hard for them to go wrong. That kid looks like
got to be Zach Wilson's younger brother.
That could be me. He's got my haircut, bro.
Roger Goodell going to take his sweet time. I want to talk about how earlier in the draft, Roger Goodell was out there every 2 seconds, it felt like. Just running through the draft.
Out there.
Yeah,
biking out there.
The first 12 picks, I feel like we got done in 50 minutes.
Him and Lil Wayne biking out there will never be out of my mind.
Out there was the highlight of the night for sure.
There was a pick every 4 or 5 minutes to start the draft. We have slowed down considerably.
All right, we're ready.
All right,
Phillips'
Zach Wilson
brother
Jr. is
steps
out
up
here.
to the
Looks like he
stand.
could be my bro. I can see it.
He's hyping up the Bronco fans as he is about to get the
Green Bay.
Broncos' first round pick.
Who do we got, kid?
Broncos select.
What'd they say?
See, John
Barron. I don't understand that at all.
Why?
What?
You don't understand any pick.
Because it's not making sense.
Why not?
Well, hey, this is teaming up. Pat Surtain with another elite secondary member.
They didn't need another secondary member, Aiden.
He's also like he's similar to Malachi Starks, and I said Starks, so I'm perfectly fine with that.
You're acting like this defense is like the 2002 Ravens or something. They can add talent on the defensive side of the ball.
Defenses in the league.
Listen,
they need to get either a running back in Omarion Hampton, or they need to get a receiver in Matthew Golden.
But like he said,
those are both positions that you can go and get value for later. Running back and receiver are two of the deepest positions in this draft.
I think that Matthew Golden is still by far the best receiver left. There's a drop off.
Luther Burton is still there. Ayomanor is still there.
They could so easily either do this. They could go Quinshot Junkins in the second and like Trey Harris in the third, or they could hit a Luther Burton in the second if he falls and like a Cam Scatterbo, Caleb Johnson, or R.J. Harvey. I think that on top of getting debatably the best player on the board, I'd argue Mike Green and Starks. And Golden maybe.
Golden.
I do like Golden, but I think this is a really good pick. I think they knew the depth of the other positions, and they went, all right, let's get the best player on the board with the biggest drop off in their position.
But what is going on with Will Johnson?
Yeah,
Injury. Barron over Will Johnson. Well, Will Carter had an injury. And
but
still took him quite
his injury was not the same as
Also, his injury, he played with it and got like 4 sacks in a playoff game.
There were teams that entirely removed Will Johnson from their boards after testing him out with their doctors. You've heard the stories of people having fears about these injuries, and we're seeing the effect it can have on a player tonight.
I mean, like Abdul Carter played with one arm in a playoff semifinal and was debatably the best player on the field.
Not debatably. I mean, he took over that game.
He was probably the best player on the field. Yeah, that is true. That is true.
Insane. As the Pittsburgh Steelers come onto the clock,
it's got to be Shedeur.
This could be a spot for my goat, Shedeur Sanders.
This is the he may not.
It's got to be Shedeur.
I think I had for sure Shedeur Sanders going to the Steelers in my mock drafts, but I didn't anticipate Will Johnson still being there.
This could be perfect timing.
And I think
hey.
That's a Shedeur Sanders reference. In case
I'm not a big Shedeur guy. Everybody knows I'm not a big Shedeur guy. I think this is a good spot for him though. I think if I was a Steelers fan and I was like, what do I want for my quarterback situation this year? I think best case scenario is Shedeur Sanders. Like Aaron Rodgers isn't a better case scenario. I don't think there's any other quarterback they could really trade for as a better case scenario. Like what I like about Shedeur is I think a lot of people like his ceiling. I like his floor.
I do too. I agree.
I don't love his ceiling. That's why I don't love him personally. I don't know why. I just don't see his ceiling as being insane.
A super accurate quarterback who can avoid sacks.
He doesn't avoid sacks very well, though. Kansas, he could have taken so many less sacks. But I love his floor. I think he's accurate. I think he's very accurate. I think he's got a solid arm. I just don't love his playmaking ability at some points. I think he got sacked way too much against Kansas, so that's why I didn't love him. But I do love his floor. I think he'd be a very good quarterback. I think his floor could low-key be like Justin Fields. Like he's a different player, obviously, very different player. But like as talent-wise, I think that could be a floor, and I think that's perfectly fine.
I don't think he's much different from Justin Fields.
I'm saying running ability. Like he's not the runner Justin Fields is.
I think if I'm a Steelers fan, I'm mad if I don't go Shedeur right here, simply because you built up this offense in the offseason to have this great year this upcoming year. You brought in DK Metcalf, and I think that if I'm not going to take a quarterback, I'm not going to be happy if I'm a fan, if I'm rolling with Mason Rudolph with the supporting cast that I have for him.
Only other thing I'd be okay with is Mike Green. And I know, but it's because TJ Watt. TJ Watt is winning out a little bit. TJ Watt is kind of winning out.
The Pittsburgh Steelers, with the 21st pick, select
somebody.
Derek Harmon. They don't go Shedeur Sanders.
Okay.
I didn't think they were going to go defensive line. But
I would have rather Mike Green at D-line, but I said D-line was the other thing I would be okay with.
Wow.
I didn't think that they were going to go D-line with it. I thought they were either going to go secondary with the pieces that were left. They could have even got Malachi Starks right here.
But why would they need secondary right now? They need D-line more with TJ Watt wanting out, or like kind of wanting out.
Well, that's the thing. You're going to have to figure out that toxic relationship, buddy.
Well, sure, but they don't really have much on the D-line outside of TJ Watt. Also, the Steelers have always been a D-line squad. They've always been a D-line heavy team. I think this helps their interior. I mean, I don't hate. He's more. Derek Harmon's really good too. He's more like Derek Harmon's first game against Ohio State. Obviously, the Rose Bowl was rough. His first game was ridiculous, and they're showing it right now.
I don't know. I don't really understand it. I really thought they were going to go either corner with this, or I thought they were going to go Shedeur.
But why would they need corner? I get Shedeur.
They do need corner. I don't know any corners on the Steelers right now, but it does say they need it on ESPN. So that's what
I guess.
Joey Porter Jr. is on the Steelers. I do know that.
Yeah, Joey Porter Jr.
I saw cornerback as a need on ESPN. So that's what I know.
Will Johnson is just scary. Will Johnson is terrifying with his injuries. I get it.
But he's good at football.
He is.
And somebody's going to take him eventually.
At some point.
Hopefully.
Yeah.
Unless he doesn't have a knee.
Dude, I'm surprised that they did not go Shedeur here. Like Brandon was saying, you build up the offense with guys like DK Metcalf. You already have young talent with George Pickens. And then you have Najee Harris and Jalen Warren, who were a decent duo in the backfield last year. But Mason Rudolph. What are you doing, Steelers?
Well,
do you want to make another playoff run? You're known for Mike Tomlin constantly having winning records. This could be the first season that you don't, if you don't take a quarterback later.
I will say, from what I'm seeing, Shedeur could fall all the way to them in the second. Maybe that's their thing. Maybe they know NFL intel more than we do, which would make sense.
There's no way he falls all the way to him in the
second. He really could, though.
This is so depressing.
Maybe the Steelers trade up. Maybe they trade
I do
up.
think this does confirm one thing, is that Shedeur Sanders is not being picked tonight unless he gets picked by the Rams.
No, somebody can trade back in for him. He's a quarterback. They're going to want the 5th year of control that you get on a first-round pick. So look out for the Browns or somebody trading back up into the first round for
the Browns, the Steelers again, maybe.
Yeah, but Derek Harmon is over there cheering with his family.
What a guy.
I don't hate the pick. I think Derek Harmon is a great player.
He's a very
out
good
of
player.
Oregon. Not a guy with great stats, but a guy who can,
Are you talking to me?
a guy that can work on that defensive line, disrupt the defense. Like one of the best players on Oregon's defense last year, and there's a reason why he's a first-round pick this year. I love this pick. But we are now joined. Me and Aiden are still here, but we are now joined by Michael from Clean Old Fashioned Hate, the podcast, and Joey Prater, who's been the greatest thing at Wolf Sports Network for a while,
I love Joey
helping us
Prater.
out with the camera work behind the scenes, being a TriCaster. We love Joey here. How you guys doing today, man?
We're living the life at this point.
Yeah.
I saw that Minneapolis with the Vikings was about to come on. I'm like, oh, I gotta get on for that.
Yeah, Michael, how are you doing today, man?
I'm having a great day. I'm having a phenomenal day. Jalen Walker's an Atlanta Falcon, so I couldn't be happier.
Oh yeah, we had some mixed opinions, but Michael is very happy that Jalen Walker went to the Falcons. But right now, the Chargers are on the clock.
They are.
We have some mixed mock drafts here at the station. Me personally, I could see them. I had them going with Colston Loveland, who was surprisingly taken much earlier in this draft before Tyler Warren, which is insane to me. But I could see them going with maybe a guy like Amarion Hampton.
No, I don't see that. no, I don't think it's Amarion Hampton's time. I think, especially with their addition of Najee Harris in the offseason, I think Jim Harbaugh is pretty set with his running back room for now. I think this is a team that could be a possibility. And again, we've said it 100 times, it feels like, for Will Johnson. This is another team that could be a possibility. Let's see. Who are some more of the top players on the board at this point? Mike Green's still there. Maybe a spot for Mike Green. Maybe
James
a spot
Pierce.
for James Pierce.
Jr.
Jihad Campbell, who I love. Come on, Jihad Campbell. Somebody draft him very soon.
What do the Chargers need?
They need
They have a
wide
great
receiver,
defense.
tight end, defensive.
Yeah, they need offense, but the offense left at this point may not be worth it.
We could go with a Matthew Golden here.
Yeah, I love Matthew Golden. I think he's.
I
I honestly thought Matthew Golden was I had him as my number one receiver in this draft. To be honest with you.
Yeah, Matthew Golden could be the play at this point in time. They also maybe go for James Pierce, maybe go for Nick Scorton, maybe Donovan Izuriaku out of beautiful Boston College.
What if they go Malachi Starks and get that safety alongside of Derwin James?
I can see that.
That would be a very scary duo back there in the secondary. You're not going to be able to – you couldn't do it last year. You're not going to be able to do it this year if you go against the Chargers. You're not going to be able to pass that ball. The top 3 defense last year and getting it even better. With talent on the offense, you have Justin Herbert. You have some bad receivers, in my opinion. I mean, Ladd McConkey's great. Quentin Johnson stepped it up from the year before, being known as the guy who literally could not catch a football. But so I don't hate Matthew Golden, but I could also see him going with somebody like Will Johnson is still there, or Malachi Starks. I don't hate either of those picks.
They have lost Joey Bosa so far.
They
this
have lost
offseason.
Joey Bosa,
so
maybe a guy
that
like
replacement at edge could be very important for them. James Pierce Jr. sitting there has a lot of production out of
Mike
Tennessee.
Green's
Mike
still
Green,
there.
we've talked
Mike
about
Green
Mike
should
Green for
be
20
gone by
years. It
now.
feels like.
I do have an opinion on James Pierce. Actually, I don't see him
going first round.
Going first round at all.
Wow.
I see him falling second, possibly even in the third round, due to his personality.
I think with some of these teams later in the draft, teams like the Chiefs, the Commanders, the Bills, some of these better teams, the Eagles, I could see some of these teams going with some D-line help, so I don't see James Pierce falling out of the first round. Also, Mike Green, I feel like those guys will go before this first round is over. But we will see. The Chargers are still on
I'm
the
going to
clock.
go ahead and predict Mike Green here.
We're going to
to
predict
be honest.
Mike Green?
Yeah, I'm going to predict Mike Green.
Okay.
This is a team that needs edge, needs to continue to build the defense. Jim Harbaugh loves to build a great defense. That's how he's done it his entire head coaching career, wherever he's gone. He builds the defense, worries about the offense later. Mike Green's a very good player.
Yeah, I'm glad, and Aiden, I'm glad you brought up the fact that Joey Bosa's not there anymore, because I wasn't even thinking about that before this pick. But yeah, I think it's going to be Mike Green. I think it should be right here. Even though, like, Will Campbell, I can't believe he's still here.
Will Campbell.
Yeah, I cannot believe that, like.
Let's
Will
stop
Johnson.
mentioning him.
Will Johnson. My bad. Will Johnson. I'm sorry about that.
I've called him Will Howard. I've called him Will Campbell.
Saying Campbell, Jihad Campbell is still there.
Yes.
I don't hate Jihad Campbell here.
I don't either. I love Jihad Campbell.
They could literally go anywhere with this pick, and I would not be mad at it.
This is a team that's in a very good position. I think they've got a lot of talent in a lot of positions. They need to reload at some spots, but this is a team that's poised to make a deep run.
Personally, I think they go Omarion Hampton. That is my pick for them. I think they need that running back to help them, like how they used to have Austin Eckler. I think they need that running back to help push them past the best team in football in the Kansas City Chiefs. And if they want to be able to compete in that division, I think getting a guy that can make plays on the offense with the help of Justin Herbert, they're going to need somebody like Omarion Hampton or Matthew Golden.
I was about to say, Omarion, I felt Omarion was going to them this entire time if he wasn't already taken.
This is a good spot for them too, because I don't feel there's like a bad pick they could make here. Really, like I could understand like everything we've talked about. I think Matthew Golden would be good because like we talked about offensively, they could use another receiver with Ladd. James Pierce, I think, is still very good. He's still here. Mike Green to fill in for that Joey Bosa void, and then also I like what you said, JT, about Malachi Starks being paired with Derwin James too. I think that's a really that could be a really good option for them.
Or even Nick Emenwari, a guy you can play literally anywhere on the ball. He had a great combine performance. Ran like a 4.2
4.3,
and that dude is huge. People are literally comparing him to Derwin James when he came out of the draft, except for his combine was better in every way, and he's bigger guy than Derwin James is.
That's terrifying.
Yeah, that's terrifying. Looking at the success that Derwin James had, looking at this guy coming out of the draft, I could see the same type of success, maybe even higher than how Derwin James has been playing. But the Chargers are taking their precious time.
The pick is in. I think it's more Roger Goodell at this point. Roger Goodell has gotten tired. He was busting his chops out there to start the night, and now he's gotten a little lazy, I think.
Yeah, we were averaging about 2 minutes per pick for the first 10 picks, and now we are down to teams are starting to take their time. I guess it's because the draft has been so unexpected up until now with a Travis Hunter trade earlier in the draft. But, I mean.
Well, also, those teams that are earlier up in the draft, they have less things that are contingent upon other teams. Like at this point, at 22, you had 21 other teams that made crazy decisions, like Colston Loveland and teams doing crazy things ahead of you that you didn't see coming. So you gotta continue to go. Kelvin Banks at 10 was a surprise to some teams, I'm sure. Don't think a lot of people saw that one coming.
Nope.
Yeah, this has been a draft where you got to adapt as you get later and later. And teams start taking all 10 minutes to make their picks, and Roger Goodell starts taking all 10 minutes to walk up to the board.
Yeah, you mentioned some crazy picks. Loveland going at 10 before Tyler Warren, but also Tyler Booker going at 12 to the Cowboys, which isn't a crazy pick. He's a great offensive lineman, came out of Alabama, but I think you could have waited a little bit to get him.
I had him mocked at 13. I feel like the NFL really liked Tyler Booker. He's a guy who started every snap he could possibly have played at Alabama. He walked onto the campus and was a starter. The instant he stepped into that program for Nick Saban, he started. Roger Goodell interrupts me very rudely.
So we will see what the Chargers go with pick 22 here. The Chargers select.
Oh, he's writing something
down. He's writing down something.
And now he's leaving.
He's walking away.
Roger Goodell left.
What?
I don't know what's going on, but I do know who the pick was. It was Omarion Hampton on my phone. I got it on my phone.
Yeah.
We just saw Roger Goodell awkwardly walk away from the podium without saying anything. I don't know what's going on over here.
Wow.
The Packers are now on the clock.
And Omarion Hampton is going insane right now. They're tossing out jerseys and everything. What is going on? Omarion Hampton, though, I don't hate this pick. Coming out of UNC, a great player. Just very talented prospect. And here comes good old Jackson Bowles, also on the playbook to come join us as Omarion Hampton goes to the Chargers. Jackson, we're going to throw it right to you. How you doing today, and what are your thoughts on this Omarion Hampton pick?
What are my thoughts on this Omarion Hampton pick? I do not like it. I'm looking at this Chargers running back room. They just got Najee Harris over the offseason.
You're right.
They still have J.K. Dobbins. And Brandon did mention that they had Blake Corum. So I have no idea why that the Chargers selected Omarion Hampton. But, by the way, JT, I'm feeling great. It's NFL draft day. I'm excited.
What do you think about your Eagles? What do you think they're going to do with all the craziness that's been going on so far?
Will Johnson has fallen. Again, organizations, I don't know what they're seeing that we are not. But I'm hoping for any sort of safety edge because, we lost Josh Sweat, Brandon Graham, and O-line. Yeah. Lane Johnson's old, and Mailata can't stay healthy.
Yeah, that Super Bowl team has taken a lot of hits since the end of the Super Bowl run they just had. But we will see as Now on the clock, we have the Green Bay Packers.
Almost already halfway through their time.
Wow, yeah.
But I like to see Matthew Golden go to Green Bay.
Matthew Golden to Green Bay. Maybe get Jordan Love, that number one guy. I do not hate that at all. But we will see, as another good option would be James Pierce Jr. out of Tennessee. Packers' biggest needs, ESPN is showing
cornerback.
They need defensive back, because there's been a lot of speculations that Jair Alexander may be moved today or by preseason. So, and they need another guy to pair on the opposite side of the ball of Xavier McKinney. I'm looking at guys again. Will Johnson, for some reason, has not been selected that we do not know. Maxwell Hairston out of Kentucky, a speedy guy who does very well in man coverage, I believe could be selected here as well. And you mentioned JT, wide receiver one. They need a solidified wide receiver one, which they do not have. Christian Watson can't stay healthy, and Dontavian Wicks, Romeo Dobbs, those are not guys.
It does say their best fit would be James Pierce Jr., which would be a great pick for them. But their top need is corner.
Yeah.
And there are two great corners still. Well, one great corner that is still out there in Will Johnson.
All right.
Well, two. I'd say two.
Give Maxwell his dues.
I'll give him his credit. But there's also two great safeties still out there. Malachi Starks still out there. I could see Malachi Starks being a Green Bay Packer, or even Nick Emenwari. I've been talking about these guys the entire day because there's no way they should still be out there. They're just all too talented to still be out there at all. But also, Jahad Campbell would not be a bad pick here. Needing some linebacker help for the Green Bay Packers. They got some guys getting up there in age, so I would not hate that at all.
Well, the only reason we've been talking about them all day is because this draft has been so crazy. We were thought they win in top 15 probably, and now we're still talking about Will Johnson, and I'm like, we almost done with the first round. There's no way I saw Will Johnson slipping out of first round.
There's no shot he slips out of the first round.
Yeah, I've kind of changed my tune in the last 5 seconds when I said Matthew Golden right here. I do think they should go Will Johnson right here because of what Jackson brought up about Jair Alexander's situation. And also, they kind of need help there anyway. And the fact that you've got a guy like Will Johnson that's just still sitting here, I feel like the value right there is it's too good of a spot to get him to pass that up.
Even with coming off the injury, you saw what he did before that injury, and you saw what he can do. And with the news, I'm just hearing that news too about Jair Alexander. And that's a need that they already have, like you mentioned, Michael. I love this Will Johnson pick here to the Green Bay Packers.
Well, the one thing that people aren't realizing about Will Johnson, during his pro day this season, he ended up missing it due to a hamstring injury. Could this injury be a lot more deeper than people are realizing? Because that is a reason why Will Johnson could be sliding. But as a Packer, I'm not a Packers fan, but former Sports Out of Pocket member Christian Tyler texted me earlier. He said that they were looking for either linebacker or cornerback. And the fact that, again, we bring up the name Will Johnson, who is still out here on this board. I have no idea who the Packers are going to go here.
You got to look at it. They lost over the offseason. They lost two of their cornerbacks.
Yeah.
In fact, Eric Stokes was their biggest cornerback.
Yeah.
Got several interceptions for him. He's gone now.
Eric Stokes is gone. Jair Alexander is not
officially gone.
Is not gone, but he's up there in age, and he isn't the same type of cornerback at an elite level he's been playing.
And I've seen people compare Will Johnson to guys like Jair Alexander and Tre'Davious White when he was in his prime.
Yeah.
This guy can cover the field. He can cover an entire side if you need him to. Great zone corner, also a great man corner with good size on him. 6'2", 194. A taller corner, in my opinion. And I could see the Packers taking him here, but we will see as they are down to 4 minutes left on the clock.
1:22, actually.
And as a Lions fan, who do you not want the Packers to take? Who would you be scared to see going up against your Lions?
Will Johnson.
Will Johnson, James Pierce Jr., Maxwell Hampton.
Harrison, yeah. Okay.
Pretty much the top 3 picks.
That's fair, that's fair. That's Will Johnson, James Pierce Jr.,
Mike Green is probably the only one I'm like.
Mike Green is also there.
Mike Green still being there is also insane to me.
I'm hoping he keeps slipping.
Mike Green keeps slipping. Maybe there's something we don't see in Mike Green. A lot of Falcons fans here at the station wanted Mike Green.
There's a lot of people who wanted Mike Green.
at number 23, the Packers
We're
are
getting
getting trade calls, but
similar
there's no
to the
official.
Chargers.
There's no official
Well,
trade yet.
the thing
but
about-
teams are looking
Yeah.
to make trades for this 22, 23 type pick. We'll see what happens.
Oh.
Maybe
Well-
it's one of these secondary guys that are falling down the
You
boards.
talked about Falcons fans wanting Mike Green. Again, this is a really deep edge class. Mike Green also has a lot of allegations that I do not want to go into as of right now
Thank you.
against him that have caused him to possibly fall. Again, a lot of people look at him as a guy from Marshall. And we had this discussion on the playbook, JT, about how, you see these highly touted prospects coming from non-Power 5 schools who seem to be slipping down the board, but people don't realize what they have done in big games against, like, again, you saw Ashton Genty, who did not slip down the board, but again, is not from a Power 5 group. What he did against Penn State in big games like that. So,
And I will say the Green Bay Packers took their precious time, and with 10 seconds left, they put their pick in. So there's no trade happening right here. The Green Bay Packers are selecting a player here with the 23rd pick. We'll see who it is, but like you were mentioning, that any of these players I do not hate for the Green Bay Packers. Will Johnson, James Pierce Jr. As a Lions fan, of course you do. But Will Johnson, James Pierce Jr., Maxwell Hairston, I could see him going right here. Jahad Campbell, Mike Green. Any of these guys here, maybe not as much Mike Green with him falling down the board for certain reasons. But Roger Goodell is up on the stage. He brings out another guest, so we might be here for another minute waiting for this pick.
Now, I want to open a theoretical question up to this table right here. Who do the Packers select before they announce this pick?
I think they go with Jahad Campbell here out of Alabama.
Joey?
I'm going to go Maxwell.
Yeah, I'm going to go Maxwell also right here.
Maxwell Hairston. Honestly, I think they go Will Johnson, but I don't know.
Or
I think they go
they
Will Johnson.
Matthew Golden, wide receiver out of Texas. I don't hate that pick either.
They need a healthy solidified wide receiver one.
Let's see, the Green Bay Packers with the 23rd pick.
I'm going to turn my phone
See if
off.
he'll ever announce the
Select.
pick.
The guy's still talking.
He is a
He's still
rambler,
going.
apparently.
He's still going on.
Someone play the Jeopardy music
The
at this
Green
point.
Bay
Jesus.
Packers select.
He's giving the State of the Union.
Yeah.
State of Green Bay.
He's really hyping up these Green Bay fans, I guess. Which makes sense because they're in
Yeah.
Green Bay. But we will see. But they select.
I have no idea who they select. But
He's still going. He's still talking.
Oh my gosh, he is still going.
I'm just going
We
to check
give
my
up.
phone. The pick is in. It is Matthew Golden, receiver out of Texas.
Let's go.
So I do not hate
Yeah.
this pick at all. Getting a guy that Jordan Love can throw to. You have guys like Romeo Doubs, like Jaden Reed, who had great seasons last year. I do not hate this pick, getting more help for Jordan
Well,
Love.
the only problem with these Packers wide receivers that you mentioned, Jaden Reed, Christian Watson, Romeo Doubs, could not stay healthy. The only wide receiver that I saw that could potentially step up into a number one spot heading into this season out of this entire wide receiver draft class was Ted Rowan McMillan. The second guy that I could see was Matthew Golden. Matthew Golden had a fantastic pro day, had a fantastic combine, which definitely boosts him into the 2-3 spot. And I think Matthew Golden is a fantastic option on the opposite side of Jaden Reed for Jordan Love here.
That's a good pick because you finally give Jordan Love a real wide receiver one, in my opinion. Now, like I think Matthew Golden is very, very underrated. Like even like the fact that people have had him, like what Jackson said, you had him high in your mock draft, but even then, I think he was underrated in college football last year. The guy catches everything, and now you finally give Jordan Love, who's had so much success with receivers like Christian Watson, Romeo Doubs. He's the fact that he's been able to make those. I think he's made those receivers look way better than they are, and now you finally give him a guy like that. I think that's actually a really good pick here.
I mean, those Packer fans look really excited, and I would be too if I was a Packers fan. Matthew Golden, I had him going to the Cowboys up earlier in this draft, but him slipping down to the Green Bay Packers here at pick 23, great pick for the Green Bay Packers. Like you said, they need a guy that Jordan Love can have as a clear-cut wide receiver one. Matthew Golden has that talent to become the wide receiver one for these Green Bay Packers.
I don't know. I think Matthew Golden was a good pick here. I'm just nervous about this next one because it is the Lions' rival, the Vikings. So
Oh yeah.
Now-
that's going to give me a heart attack if they pick who I think they're going to.
Now, Joey, back-to-back rivals, the Packers and the Vikings. As a Lions fan, who do you think they're going to go here? Who do you not want them to go here? What is their biggest need as a Minnesota?
Their biggest need is a safety, and I see them going with Nick. I am not going to try to say that last name.
I like that. I also had them going Nick Emmanwori in my previous mock draft, but also with the fact that Malachi Starks would have been gone. Malachi Starks is still there. So I can see them going with either of those two safeties. See, like a lot of these teams later in this draft are needing that secondary help or that defensive help in some way. Will Johnson's still there.
Yeah.
He's falling. I might just stop talking about him because he's just going to keep sliding down as much as we know. It is saying, ESPN is saying
slide of the Lions.
Nick Emmanwori is still
the pick is in for Vikings.
And the Vikings pick is already in. They wasted no time. They know who they wanted. Maybe it's Nick Emmanwori.
I think it's going to be Shedeur Sanders.
All right, let's get some real picks in.
Some real picks
Who do you
in.
think it's going to be?
I
Jack?
forgot
So
they need a QB.
I'm looking at the Minnesota Vikings as of right now. Last year, they had a third-ranked pass rush defense in the entire NFL heading into Week 14, Week 15. Now with the Minnesota Vikings, what thing that really lacked was that secondary. So when I'm looking at this secondary, who's still available? Again, Will Johnson is still available. Maxwell Hairston is available, and a guy I'm really high on. Unfortunately, he only played 3 games last season during college football, and that was Siobhan Revel Jr. Again, he was a highly touted prospect heading in this season prior to season-ending injury. He was projected to be a top 15 pick, but I feel like he has NFL potential still, even though only showcasing three games.
Yeah, I think it'll be Malachi Starks going here. Like we just talked about, they need a safety, and I think in my opinion, he's by far the best safety left in this draft. I think he's the best safety to begin with in this draft. So Malachi Starks.
I'm about to say I don't know because I don't see why they're not going for a quarterback because they lost their primary, their secondary, and their backup. Like their 2 backup quarterbacks are gone.
They still have J.J. McCarthy.
They do have J.J. McCarthy.
They do have J.J. McCarthy.
He's been learning behind Sam Darnold last year. I could see J.J. McCarthy leading this offense maybe to another playoff run, seeing what he did in college. But I think that the Vikings go with a guy like Nick Emmanwori, a guy that can play anywhere on that defense. They need help with safety. They need help on that pass rush. They need help all over that defense. And you can plug and play Nick Emmanwori into any one of those defensive positions. And we'll see where they go here with this 24th pick, as there is officially no trade because the pick is in.
And another thing before we announce the pick with the Vikings, that O-line struggled a lot, especially towards the later half of the season. Again, we saw the Rams-Vikings game where the Rams rush defense was one of the most insane in the NFL. I don't really think they need any skill positions, any offensive weapons right now. They have Justin Jefferson, Jordan Addison, T.J. Hawkinson, and we know that J.J. McCarthy likes to utilize the slant a lot. He's a short route kind of guy. So, again, if you need a guy for pass protection, I mean, there's a lot of guys who have gone off the board already with this offensive line. A guy that I can see them potentially going for is Josh Simmons out of Ohio State.
Oh, yes.
6'5", 317, and he did fantastic for Will Howard. And I'm not saying Will Howard and J.J. McCarthy are a similar type of player, but Josh Simmons can be really valuable to that Minnesota Vikings O-line.
I think you could compare to like Will Howard on Ohio State last year to J.J. McCarthy this year because Will Howard had so much talent around him. You have Jeremiah Smith and Emeka Egbuka and all those weapons with him. And so like McCarthy this year is gonna be kind of the same thing, more of a game manager type situation where you have Jordan Addison, Justin Jefferson, and T.J. Hawkinson just distribute the ball.
Well, Roger Goodell is up on stage about to announce this last pick this pick for the Vikings. And we will see where they go here.
Donovan Jackson.
Donovan Jackson, guard.
Hush.
Wow.
Sorry.
I did not have him on my board at all in this first round. I don't even have him on my board at all. I've never even heard of this guy.
I don't think I had him until the 4th round.
Plays the right position for him, though.
Yeah.
Yeah, true.
Well, the thing I like about Donovan Jackson, again, he started 30 games at left guard last season for Ohio State and 9 games at left tackle, so he's a very versatile offensive linemen. If you have a guy who can play guard, offensive tackle, again, I mentioned one thing about that Vikings O-line. They struggled. They struggled against a rush defense. And Donovan Jackson, we were talking about on the playbook that, the NFL and college football, when it comes to defensive lines, it's a different breed. It's a different machine. But Donovan Jackson is a guy who is quick enough to reach linebackers when he climbs to the second level, and he's a fantastic pass blocker. Did I have him going in the first round? No, I did not. But I feel like, this is a great pick for the Minnesota Vikings.
I do like this pick with Donovan Jackson out of Ohio State. He was a big reason why the Ohio State running backs were able to perform and, this just in, the Giants are now on the clock. A big trade just happened. They traded up back into the first round with the Houston Texans, so the Texans might have moved out of the first round, and the Giants, what do you think they're going here?
So there's been a lot of speculations with the Giants. Are they going to draft a quarterback? Are they going to draft another guy who can be on the opposite side of the field for Malik Neighbors? Because we saw in this offseason when the Giants acquired Russell Wilson, they also got Jameis Winston, guys who are more towards the end of their career. But again, Russell Wilson, I feel like in this stage of his career, is a pocket passer. And you need another guy who needs to be on the opposite side of that ball. You still have Jaden Higgins out there. You have Luther Burden. Or do they go quarterback to maybe possibly succeed? There is a guy out of Colorado, Shador Sanders, who is still out there. Do I think he goes to the Giants? I am not too sure. But again, Russell Wilson is at the age of 36. So I'm not really too sure.
I think the Giants wait on quarterback. I don't think they traded back up into the first round to get Shador Sanders. They had an early pick in the second round.
Yeah.
So I don't think they would have done that, knowing that none of these teams up ahead would have went with a quarterback. So I don't think they would have traded up right here. I think they go defense here to pair up somebody with Abdul Carter earlier in the draft that they selected. Maybe somebody like Jahad Campbell, who's a great linebacker, who I saw going to the Packers, but they selected a wide receiver. Jahad Campbell, great player. But draft talk, Giants get the pick 25. The Texans get pick 34 from the Giants, pick 99, and a 2026 third-round pick. So we'll see. Apparently the Giants know a guy that is falling down these draft boards, maybe somebody like Will Johnson that they could take. Maybe they need some corner help on that defense. They really need every position on defense.
Well, I'm looking at this ESPN app, and it says the pick is in. Who do you three think that the Giants are most needy of now, with that number 3 overall pick being Abdul Carter?
I think that they go Jahad Campbell here
Joey, look at your phone.
What?
Uh-oh. Something big just happened.
Does that mean Shador Sanders is going off the board?
Maybe
what happened?
The pick is in just now, and we'll see what happens. I think they go with Jahad Campbell. The draft room is going crazy right now. I don't know what's going on. I'm really worried for what is about to happen.
I wouldn't hate it if they went Shador here. Yeah. I mean, I know they got 2 quarterbacks, but I wouldn't hate it right here.
I wouldn't hate it.
I made a pick on Sports Out of Pocket, said Shador Sanders was going to fall out of the first round. Do I think that happens? I am not too sure
Not
here.
anymore.
What happened?
I'm not sure at all anymore.
Wait.
Let's see. As my pick for this Giants team is Jahad Campbell out of Alabama, great player. Michael, who do you think the Giants go with here that they see and maybe they think they should trade back into the first round to get?
I feel like if you're going to trade back in like this, I feel like it's going to be Shador, or at least a quarterback. Could be Jackson Dart, who knows? I just feel like if you're going to trade back into the first round right here, I feel like it's got to be a quarterback if you're going to do that, because the way Will Johnson's dropping right now, I don't feel like they would do that at the situation.
I don't hate that pick, Joey. Who do you think the Giants go with right here?
Honestly, since he's still available, yeah, Will Johnson at this point.
I like that. I like that a lot. Yeah, Will Johnson with his injuries, obviously, a lot of teams are passing up on him. They might be scared of what was happening. Also saying he didn't show up to his pro day because of a hamstring. But big news as the Giants trade back into the first round. Maybe they trade up to get a guy like Shador Sanders. Maybe they don't think he should still be there. or maybe somebody like Will Johnson or Jahad Campbell. Who knows? But Jackson, who do you think the Giants go with here at pick 25?
I feel like when it comes to the age range for these Giants quarterbacks, Russell Wilson and Jameis Winston.
I'm sorry, I was looking at my phone and I got the notification. I understand why the control room is freaking out right now. I'm not going to say who it is right now because the TV hasn't shown it yet. Should I go ahead and announce who it is?
Tell me a position.
Whoa.
It is a quarterback.
It is a
quarterback.
That kind of gives it away, but
not really.
I'm just kidding. I'm going to tell you guys, it is Jackson Dart. They went with Jackson Dart.
Dart
over Shedeur Sanders.
Over Shedeur Sanders.
What?
I don't hate that.
I don't hate it.
I don't hate it.
I hate it.
I hate it.
I hate it. I don't.
I like Jackson Dart a lot. I like him a lot. I mean, look, I know I'm a Georgia fan. I'm biased. If you watched him play on a bum ankle against us and tear us to pieces, he has. There is nothing that Shedeur Sanders did at Colorado that screams to me a first-round draft pick. There is nothing that screams. He was really good. I'm not saying he didn't have success. He wasn't a good quarterback. Jackson Dart did it against some of the best defenses in the country. Did a really good job at it. I like the pick. I like Jackson Dart.
That is an insane pick. Holy.
Well, no, I brought up on the fact on the playbook. I was like, is Jackson Dart closer to the number 2 QB than Shedeur Sanders is closer to the number 1 QB? And I feel like that theory is sticking. All I know is Aiden AB. He's a big Shedeur Sanders fan. So I don't know where he is right now, but I know he's freaking out as of right now.
He's definitely freaking out as we are now joined by the GOAT.
What?
And Philip.
One more time for Big Phil.
So why do you guys think Jackson Dart was selected over Shedeur Sanders in this New York Giants organization? Philip, don't say anything,
No, Phil, speak your heart. Jackson, Jackson, Phil, speak your heart.
Okay. I have a personal opinion that Jackson Dart has more potential and Shedeur has a higher floor. If they're looking, I also think Jackson Dart can learn so much from Russ because they're very similar players.
They are very similar.
So yes. I like it for them. I think I would have picked Shedeur if I were them solely so I didn't get killed. But but I don't hate the pick. I think Dart can learn a lot from Russ. He's got a lot of potential. He had some rough game, like Florida.
Oh, dude.
Awful game.
Thank you.
Florida was awful, but I think he can learn from those mistakes. I think he can work on it.
And I can't do. I don't hate the pick per se. I'm just genuinely shocked for a couple of reasons. Though my main concern about Jackson Dart is his field awareness. I don't like how he scans the field. Mm-hmm. He's not good at going through progression, which is why he threw 3 picks in the Florida game. Most of them were crucial, and that's what ultimately lost him the game against Florida and kept him out of the playoffs. Same thing against Georgia. He took way too much time in the pocket and didn't go through his progression well. That is my main concern for Jackson Dart. No doubt in my mind that he has arm strength, he has arm talent, he has good accuracy. The reason I would have gone Sanders here instead, I don't care that he has maturity issues. That can be fixed easily. But Sanders has more talent, in my opinion. He doesn't have problems going through his progression. The Giants have a bad O-line. If you want to use Sanders, he could work around that bad O-line. We saw his elusiveness. We saw his ability to go outside the pocket and still make plays. That's a better fit for the Giants, which is why I'm still shocked by the pick. Now, if he does sit behind Russell Wilson and learn from him and his progression does get better, then this could turn out very good.
Oh my goodness!
The Falcons are on the clock!
The Atlanta Falcons are back on the clock. They traded up to get the Rams pick. Oh my goodness!
What do the Falcons do? Wait. What do the Falcons do here? Do we go another edge? Do we get Mike Green? Do we get Mike Green?
Oh my goodness,
fellas!
What is going on?
There is a world where the Falcons get Jalen Walker and Mike Green, or do we go quarterback and get Will Johnson despite his injury history?
Give me Mike Green. Give me Mike Green.
Mike Green.
Give me Mike Green.
What? You know what this means, guys? Sanders is out of the first round.
Sanders is out of the first round. Sanders is not going first round. Wait. Why are we so guaranteed about that? We saw what the Falcons did a couple years ago. Could they do it again?
I think the Falcons select Caleb Johnson.
No.
Let's
stop.
All right, there's 2 picks I'm okay with here. Mike Green Best receiver off the board. Maybe we could use a receiver. Don't hate it. There's some good Trey Harris. I'm trying to think of who's left though for receivers with Golden off.
I feel like when you're looking at this
Egbuka's still there. Did he go? Where did he go?
Gone. He went to the
Buccaneers.
The Buccaneers.
He did.
So hold on.
I meant Burden. I'm so sorry. Burden. I would love Burden or Mike Green.
I would love Mike Green or Will Johnson.
Has Starks gone yet?
Malachi Starks is
Malachi
gone.
Starks is still there. Malachi Starks could be going to Atlanta.
Now here's the thing.
Wait.
All right, so the Falcons traded pick 46, 242, and a first rounder next year.
A first rounder next year?
For the 26th pick and the 101.
Okay, you know what I think's going to happen here? So, now, we could go
and the pick
edge
is
rusher.
already in, so they know who they want.
Okay, a first rounder next year is kind of crazy, though.
It might be crazy, but listen, I think we go Will Johnson here. And I know a lot of people are concerned about his, I was actually a little unaware of his ACL history that is actually quite prominent. But looking at what he did last year alone, I know he didn't attend the combine. The pick is in.
Roger Goodell is up there.
I'm fine with so many picks here. So many. It's so hard to mess this up.
Who's it going to be?
You're trading up. You know the guy you want.
Trading up, you know.
Who's going to be that guy?
James Pierce.
Pierce Jr.
I'm fine with that. I'm fine with that. I'm fine with that.
I'm okay with that.
Wow.
I'm fine with that.
The Falcons go up there and they get their guy.
Listen.
Two edge rushers.
It would have been so hard to ruin this pick. You could have gone James Pierce, Mike Green, Malachi Starks. You could have gone Luther Burden. You could have gone Will Johnson. You could. There's so many guys. They did a good job.
There's so much good talent still on this board that should not be on this board. And I love it as a Bills fan because the Bills fans are coming up with a couple picks. We cannot mess this pick up either.
Yep.
But
let me ask this.
I love this pick for the Falcons.
Let's hear it.
A lot of people think that James Pierce might be a bust here. And I think that would be a little crazy. I think with a guy with that size, I know he's a little smaller than most edge rushers in this draft.
That's why people don't like him, his size.
But speed and elusiveness can fix size.
He's so fast.
And that's what I'm saying. That can fix size. Listen, if you're going to get a big tackle, the big tackle is going to be slow. You can use your speed and elusiveness to get around that tackle, and if you're quick enough, that can go get size.
I want to give a scenario. Imagine a play, right? Drop back. You got James Pierce out on the play him on the inside to start. You got oh my gosh, who was our first pick? Jalen Walker. Holy crap! You got Jalen Walker either an outside linebacker at edge. You know those plays where they reverse where they're going, they'll go around each other.
Yeah.
I think that could work. So, having Jalen Walker going in the middle, then you got James Pierce with his speed going on the outside. That's a sack machine.
Now it says that apparently the Falcons, according to report here, is that they've done a lot of homework on James Pierce.
He did have character issues, didn't he? I think he did. But they've worked on it. Talked to us about. Listen. This is one of the few times. I think this would have been my fourth option, and I still love it. It would have been so hard to ruin this pick.
Yeah. I love it. I'm completely okay with it.
You go after your guy that's going to fit in your scheme, get that speed. That's what the Falcons needed. They have a speed, a guy that's going to get around there, going to get their sacks, lighting him up with Jalen Carter. Like you said, when you're going to trade up and get this second pick in the first round, I mean, wow. I feel like this is kind of a makeup draft. The Falcons don't owe us nothing.
No.
Last year we all called them crazy. We're like, what are you doing with Michael Penix?
It worked out. Penix is working out.
He worked out, and they're coming here, and they have nothing to prove for us.
Okay.
This is a beautiful draft by the Atlanta Falcons. Thank you to that front office right now.
We do need to discuss, was this worth a first-round pick for next year?
Now,
that's going to be the question on what's it's worth it. I think that's a question we're not going to be able to answer till we see what happens on the field this year.
I think this is a go all-in pick.
I think so too.
This is all in because James Pierce. I think he is slightly more potential guy, but what he can bring is that speed off the edge.
Yes.
For this year, which is what we need. Ebiketie one side, James Pierce the other, Jalen Walker playing an outside linebacker, slightly edge rusher role, running those inside outs. I love that.
And here's the thing. The Falcons, the past couple of drafts, have really bolstered their offense. We know that the Falcons have no holes anymore to fix on the offense. Receivers are there. Quarterbacks now in place. We have one of the best backfields in the NFL now. Yep. So we knew heading into this draft, the Falcons were going to make up for the missed opportunities to get defense in the previous draft and to fill in the holes on the defensive line. And I think to give up a first round to do that not once, but twice in the first round, I am more
more than okay with.
Well, then you got to go back and you got to think to last year. Is that what the Falcons front office was thinking? They were going to get Michael Penix, who was going to sit behind a veteran quarterback, knowing that the next year is a very edge rush heavy draft.
It's huge.
It's
so edge rush
something
heavy.
we were not looking at last year, 2024.
No fan does.
that front office looks like geniuses right now.
They do. They do.
Pure geniuses.
But I will say, I really wish if we were going to give up a first next year for this pick, I wish we could have kept 46. I really think they could have figured out a way to keep 46 without giving me a first.
Because now, 101 is our next pick?
Yeah, but I mean, we still moved up from 200 some to 101, so that's good.
Right.
I think we can get like a Trey Harris type receiver there, which would be nice if he falls there. But nice. I do wish we could have kept 46 if we're going to trade the first.
But this is much better than anyone we could have got at 46.
I agree.
That's true. Hi, it's me. This is Jason Barker. I kind of jumped in here on the board randomly in the middle, and because of that, I did miss exactly what we gave up in that trade. Y'all three, could y'all tell me exactly the dimensions of that trade?
If I'm not mistaken, it's 46, our second round pick. 2026 first rounder, and I think it was 212, 211, 202, something like that.
Of this year?
Yeah. And then we gave it up for 101 and that pick.
All right, so what did
we get 101 back?
Yeah.
Adam Schefter put out the Falcons got this pick here and a third round pick this year.
101.
101.
Yep.
And the Rams got the 46th pick, a first rounder for next year, and then a 7th round pick for this year.
We only had one first rounder next year, right?
That I believe so. Yeah.
Yeah, just that one.
Just
that we
one?
gave up.
Okay.
Yeah. So that means we have no first round picks as of right now for next year.
Right. I mean, we'll get a first for Kirk, right?
I mean, hey man, the front office said a couple of days ago the teams are still calling about Kirk Cousins. I don't know what that's supposed to mean.
So the Falcons have been in talks. Are we going to make a trade? Are we going to make a trade to help bolster this defense? Do we do that now?
Yeah, we trade back in the first round again. We get Malachi Starks.
Now, come on.
Number 3.
Trade away all your draft capital, Falcons front office. Trade away all your draft capital. Trade
All
back up.
in now.
Get your
All
safety.
in now.
You already got your linebacker. Now you got an edge rusher. Get you a safety. Build that entire defense. I love what the Falcons did in trading back up to get James Pierce Jr.
I'm really
getting that pass rush, which is their biggest need, no doubt about it. I've been hearing people cry about it.
Oh
at the
my
station.
gosh.
Yeah,
Like,
you have.
You needed that pass rush.
Yeah.
Not
You're
anymore.
getting it here.
Not anymore. I'm really curious how this is going to work, though, because I like Ebiketie a lot more than most Falcons fans do. I think he's made great strides in his 2-3 years, whatever he's done. And I think he made, end of the season last year, he was on a tear. So I don't know how they're going to work out the 3 edge rusher thing, but I think they'll figure it out. I think they will use Jalen Walker as more of an outside linebacker than a pure edge.
Do it. You do it. Take this to your advantage. This is a good problem to have.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah. Well, we haven't had this problem in
exactly.
forever.
This is the best problem we've ever had.
Yeah, I agree.
So then you look at the rest of the guys who are still on the board. Dude, these playoff teams have some dogs to pick from.
They do.
Who do we have?
Ravens.
The Ravens on the clock right now getting.
Now, they lost Brandon Stevens this past offseason. Will Johnson's still on the board, and I'm going to lose my mind if Will Johnson's not taken here by the Ravens, because I actually think this is a perfect fit for him. The Ravens could use a little help on secondary, especially this has been an unfavorable offseason for them in terms of who they've lost on the defensive end. This is a good way to kind of patch that hole a little bit.
I do think if they don't trust Will Johnson's health, which seems to be the issue here,
apparently,
Ravens,
obviously, then Malachi Stark should be the move because he can play outside corner.
Goodell is about to announce this pick.
I'd be okay with that too.
ESPN saying Mike Green is the best fit. Will Johnson best.
Malachi Starks.
I told you,
dude.
Good pull.
What the heck?
Okay, dude.
That is a great pick. That is a fantastic dude.
He can play outside corner. I don't know why people haven't been noticing this. His freshman year at Georgia, oh my goodness, his freshman year. Did you see his first game against Oregon ever? His first ever game.
I did. I watched that game.
I'm a Tech fan. I watched that game and was terrified. My goodness, his play against Oregon that first game made me know he was going to be a first rounder, and I can't believe he fell this far.
Do you know what? You know what this shows, by the way? That I guess Will Johnson is, I guess anybody who's done their homework on Will Johnson are just terrified to draft him.
Looks like everybody's done their homework on Will Johnson.
Apparently,
he
yeah.
shouldn't have declared low key. I think he should have gone back if he could have. If unless it's that serious that he's not even going to be able to play next year.
I know, like heading into the combine when he decided to skip out, that everybody was like, "Whoa!" They weren't fans of that at all because they wanted to see more of him because of his injury history. So I guess you're right. If he was going to skip out of the combine anyway, why not stay another year to prove to all the prospects that you still can be a good corner and help out in the secondary? Because skip out the combine is not helping your case at all.
Yeah, I don't think skipping out the combine was his choice at all. Though I think he's just that injured. I don't know. I think when you're that hurt, NFL teams just get terrible. I think the main reason is how much talent there is in this draft. It forces you to realize, all right, we have so much sure talent here. Why are we going to take a risk on someone with that torn ACL?
Now, is he still hurt, or is he just like?
I think he's still hurt.
I thought he was like towards the end of recovery.
He might be he might be recovering, but
right.
I don't know. There's so much talent in this draft class.
There
that
is.
I really understand not risking it on him.
I like the I do like the Malachi Starks.
You could debate Malachi Starks is more talented than Will Johnson.
Malachi Starks is versatile. He's going to go out there. He has some fantastic ball skills. He is probably, right now, I'm saying, the steal of the draft this low here for the Ravens, who are already a dynamic and scary football team.
I agree.
I love this Malachi Starks pick for the Ravens. As a Bills fan, I'm very upset about it because I wanted him to fall down to that pick 30
that
for
would
us.
have been far.
But I love this pick for as Malachi Starks. He should not have still been on this board.
It's just positional value. People don't like safeties. And I don't get it, though, because he's so versatile. He can play slot. He can play outside. He can play... Mm-hmm. I think he can play sort of linebacker. I mean, his best is probably safety, but I don't know. I get not liking safety positionally. Same with it's like the running back of the defense, you know.
Yep.
But I don't get why he fell this far. I would have liked us taking him over James Pierce, even though I like James Pierce. I'm not mad at the pick at all. Happy with the pick. I probably still would have rathered Starks there.
I like the pick, but I do want to say we are now joined back by Jackson Voles and Joey Prater, who is a Lions fan.
Yeah.
And your team is on the clock.
It's in. The pick is in, and I'm hoping Will Johnson. Come on, y'all. We still got him on the board.
Will Johnson's still on the board, dude. I think you guys go Will Johnson here. I love this pick for you. I also would not hate Mike Green here.
Yeah, Will Johnson, Mike Green, or Josh Simmons. At this point, Josh Simmons.
He's fallen a lot. Yeah, he's fallen a lot
get
too.
That offensive line help that you.
He has injury concerns too, right? I'm pretty sure Josh Simmons has some injury concerns.
So does our entire defense for as a Detroit Lions.
So does most of the players in this draft. It seems like. But I like a Josh Simmons here for the Lions to help out with that offense. I like you said, Will Johnson still being there, but I also like Mike Green to help out with that pass rush. Aiden Hutchinson was hurt last year, so maybe he might struggle a little bit coming off of injury and stuff. Maybe you get Mike Green to come off the other side.
I like Shadur here. I really like it. Goff is old. Goff's a veteran. Goff's got 4 years maybe left in him. Shadur could learn so much from Goff. Shadur and Goff are similar players too. I would love a Shadur here.
Phil, do you know who's been learning under Jared Goff for the past couple seasons?
If you're talking about Hendon Hooker, that is
Hendon Hooker. Why would they draft quarterback here? Give me your reasoning why they would draft quarterback here, because that's one of the worst takes I've heard.
What? They're good everywhere. Everything else will be a bonus. They don't have a super huge need that I can see. Maybe receiver might be their biggest need, and the receiver room is really good too. Yep. If you get Shadur, you upgrade on Hendon as a backup, which it's always nice to have a backup, but it's more due to the future. I really think Shadur could learn so much under Jared Goff. They're really similar players in my opinion. Both pocket passers, not super mobile. Shadur's maybe a little more mobile. I think Shadur could learn a lot. I think he could take over the franchise in a few years.
Well, now, Joey, if your Lions take Shadur Sanders, who everybody thought is now going to fall out of the first round, what would be your thoughts on taking Shadur here?
I think we'd be giving up too much on other things. Like, we don't need quarterback right now because golf is fine. We can fight through golf. Besides, we have a huge quarterback class coming up. We can wait till next year to do that.
Yep.
We need
but you're not going to defense. I think the Lions are good enough right now to win the Super Bowl. When you're good enough right now to win the Super Bowl, you focus on the future. That's my opinion.
Choke again.
You don't need to get that big player for the future if you're basically in win now mode.
But I think Jared Goff is aging, and I think he's really good. But I think Shadur can learn so much from him. Shadur could be this. I think this would be Shadur's best, maybe his best spot. I don't see why that's a crazy take.
I can't hear it anymore, man. I'm looking at this Lions team, and their biggest need is D-line. The only guy that they have on that defensive line is Aiden Hutchinson.
Aiden McNeil's one of the best interior D linemen in the league.
Well,
and outside of
Roger Goodell is on stage about to announce this Lions pick number 28. The Detroit Lions select
Tyreek Williams.
Oh,
let's go!
Never heard
I
of
forgot he was still on.
Out of Ohio State. I really like that pick.
I'm going to be completely honest, never heard of him.
Out of Ohio State, dude, 6'3", 334, D lineman out of Ohio State.
Okay.
He can wreck a offensive line pretty well, dude. This guy, I really like this pick here for the Lions.
Okay.
How do you feel about it, Joey?
I forgot Tyreek Williams was part of this draft class. I'm not going to be honest. But now that he is here, I'm excited because he is a stud when it comes. Like, we got to see him in action in the most recent national championship. So I think it will be amazing to get to see him be part of the Lions.
The Lions do still have Aleem McNeil, right? Am I?
They do still have Aleem McNeil.
Okay.
Yes, you are correct.
I don't hate pairing him up with Aleem McNeil. Okay. I don't know. I like
DJ Reed. I'm looking at this D line, bro. DJ Reader, injury prone. Marcus Davenport is old. Alex Anzalone had a fantastic season.
Yeah.
Outside of Aiden Hutchinson, Alex Anzalone, and Aleem McNeil is fantastic as well. They need a healthy D line. They need a younger D line piece. Other position I was looking at is to have another side of the ball, Terrion Arnold. They just extended Kirby Joseph as well. They also have Brian Branch out there. So Tyreek Williams. I'm not mad at the pick when it comes to the Detroit Lions.
In the past 2 seasons, he recorded 100 tackles, 18 tackles for loss, and 5.5 sacks, which isn't amazing.
Probably more of a run stopper. I think he's more of a run stopper.
It's not amazing, but he's a great run stopper who can take on double teams to help other guys get through. He can disrupt an offensive line, like I was saying. He can locate the ball very well, shed blocks in time to make plays. And he's a big, strong guy. He can push the pocket, get some pressure on the quarterback when he needs to. And I mean, he's a wrecker. He can make some plays. But now on the clock we have the Washington Commanders,
who beat my Lions. I still don't know how that happened.
Because Jaden Daniels is a wizard.
Daniels is a beast. That is why. But we'll see who the Commanders go with here, as we are now being joined on the set by Michael Miller and Chase Jefferson.
Andrew
Jefferson.
Enough.
I'm sorry, they are twins. I get them confused.
It's been a long night, man.
Right. But we will see. What do we think about this Lions pick here with Tyreek Williams?
I just keep wondering, how bad is this Will Johnson injury? I mean, I just can't keep thinking myself, how is he still?
It's getting to the point where I'd be scared to take him at 30 with the Bills pick, because he is still up there.
Yeah, I mean, I just really looked. As ridiculous as it's going to sound, I kind of wanted the Lions to kind of get another offensive line here. I was looking at Tyler Booker. That's who I had in my draft board, only because they lost Jonah Jackson, and I think that was the left guard. That was one of the biggest blows in the offseason for the Lions. So I was kind of really looking at them to get a replacement because they have one of the best backfields in the NFL. I just don't want them to hinder that. So I feel like if they got another offensive line there, it would have done them really well, especially late in the season. But
the fact that Josh Connerly and Josh Simmons are still on the board and the Lions didn't select either of those just surprises me.
It's confusing.
It's very confusing to me, which I don't really understand it. But again, they need a healthy D line.
Well, we also have to remember the Lions ran the ball 50% of the time.
Yeah.
That's among the most in the NFL. So why not get something that caters to your offensive scheme? I don't get it.
Yeah, well, the Washington Commanders pick is now in. Their top needs are edge rusher, safety, corner. Obviously, Will Johnson's still out there. Mike Green is still out there. There is plenty of guys out there that they can take. They really can't mess this pick up at all. Even a Jahad Campbell, maybe even a corner. Get you a Maxwell Harrison out of Kentucky, speedy guy, or even offensive lineman with Josh Simmons, Josh Connerly, some of those great offensive linemen that are still out there. I don't hate any picks here. I think they go Mike Green here. I don't think he should still be there.
I agree. I was actually kind of looking at Jai Campbell, the linebacker out of Alabama, because Bobby Wagner, he's 34 years old, and he's only under a 1-year contract. And I think if you get a guy like Campbell and just let him get mentored by a guy like Bobby Wagner, in long-term athletic success, that's going to do him very well. And he's a guy that he kind of takes on all three phases of a linebacker position because his numbers are really balanced in terms of like tackle for loss, just run stoppage, and he's good at breaking up the pass attempts. So I think it would be a great guy for a Commanders defense.
Nobody knows this Commanders defense more than an Eagles fan. And just to let you know, over this past offseason, they lost Deron Payne. They lost Jonathan Allen, who is now a Minnesota Viking. They need a defensive line. And Jahad Campbell, the fact that Jahad Campbell is still there as well blows my mind. Because I had him going to the Buccaneers at 19.
And Jahad Campbell, I mean, think about it. Because he is a hybrid guy, does that not cater to Dan Campbell's defense anyways? Like, I feel like that is the perfect guy that Dan Campbell would want to put in that defense.
I mean, we saw not Dan Campbell, Dan Quinn. Dan Quinn.
I'm sorry.
Dan Quinn.
Yeah,
we saw Dan Quinn's Falcons defense, and it's eerily similar to this Commanders defense.
Absolutely.
And you had guys like Keanu Neal, Vic Beasley Jr., Deion Jones on that D line. I see Andrew over here reminiscing on
everything
old
but
Falcons
the last
days.
game, Jackson.
Everything but that last game. I think they go Jahad Campbell here. They need a versatile pass rusher on that defense, and I'm looking at this depth chart. The two guys they have at DB right now is Mike Sandstro, fantastic rookie season last season, a guy out of Michigan, and then they also have Marshawn Lattimore, who they acquired middle of the season.
The Washington Commanders select Josh Connerly Jr.
This is the most ridiculous draft I've ever seen.
I don't
What is happening?
So I don't really understand that pick when you have so many needs on that Washington defense. It doesn't make sense to me. Right now, their offensive line consists of Nick Allegretti, Tyler Biadasz, Sam Cosmi, Andrew Wiley, and Brandon Coleman. Never mind. I see why they needed an update on the offensive line.
Well, yeah, but you see a guy like Josh Simmons out there who I think is a better prospect than Josh Connerly Jr. They play the same position. Josh Simmons, I think he could have been a much better player.
The Commanders' O-line is what prevented them from beating the Philadelphia Eagles' run defense. And you look at Brian Robinson Jr. and there's another guy for Austin Eckler, who got stopped at the line too many times, especially against now an NFC East defensive line that consists of Micah Parsons, Abdul Carter, now Dexter Williams, and you got the whole Eagles D-line. I feel like it's a right pick right here for the Commanders to go O-line.
I love this pick as a Bills fan because I would not have wanted a Josh Connerly Jr. There are so many guys here that we can take with this 30th pick that I would be happy with having. Anybody. Will Johnson kind of scares me now. But somebody like Jahad Campbell, even Nick Emmanwori, who should not be there. That is my ideal pick as a Bills fan. They better go with Nick Emmanwori here, or I'm going to start throwing this mic around. You do not want to see me throw this mic around.
And Jackson, I understand what you're saying about the Eagles' rush defense last year in the NFC Championship game and how that prevented them mainly from winning that game. I still just don't understand how, when you watch Washington last year, I get offensive line wasn't the strong suit. They definitely need some improvement there. But they were so explosive offensively last year. I just don't see how you can sit there and see a guy like Jahad Campbell or Mike Green that's still sitting there when you need help on that defense front after losing a guy like Deron Payne. I just don't understand it.
Do you know what I wonder? I wonder, the only thing that I can put together is maybe they realized last year that Jayden Daniels, because he is such a dual threat guy, because the one thing that he does very well, that he did really well at Oregon, was he was able to create less pressure off the outside. So, and I think if he learns the way that Jayden Daniels plays and he knows which way to flow the defensive line or move him out of the way for Jayden Daniels, then maybe that can open up the pass game even more. But like you said, it's not like that was an issue for Washington. So I just don't know why they would try to make an impact on that now.
I actually do, because they have the acquisition of Deebo Samuel. We saw that Deebo Samuel was a guy in San Francisco who was utilized at running back. He's an elusive back, running back and wide receiver. With this Dan Quinn offensive scheme, I wouldn't be surprised if they utilize Brian Robinson Jr. and Deebo Samuel on you got some sweeps. I mean, I feel like that Dan Quinn, I feel like I like this pick for the Commanders, and I hate to say it as an Eagles fan.
No, JT, I actually want to ask you this real quick. So I think, you're in agreement that the Bills need to go something defensive-wise. Yes. I think they go defensive tackle here, or defensive line. But I also think there's a world where we were just talking about Mike Green. I mean, Mike Green, you said he's still available. I know the guy for South Carolina, Nick, is a guy. He's eye candy.
Nick Emmanwori.
He's eye candy for the safety position. But
Mike
Green.
The Eagles.
All right, good news. The Bills did not trade out of the first round this year, so I'm not staying up for no reason.
Let's go, JT.
I love this already. All right, please. Will Johnson, Nick Emenwari,
Maxwell Hairston,
Maxwell Hairston,
Trey Amos.
For some reason, I'm getting a gut feeling we're taking Maxwell Hairston here.
Dude, hold on. But if you get Mike Green, I was just thinking about it. You pair him up with Ed Oliver, though. That dude,
Ed
that
Oliver,
gets Buffalo.
Joey Bosa. Dude,
that's what I'm saying.
Our pass rush would be very, very good this year.
Talk about a disruptive
Gregory
lineup.
Rousseau.
Rousseau, dude, we have some good players.
Dude, I'm kind of salivating. I'm not a Bills fan by any means, but dude, just seeing that.
I'm salivating at the fact that we could get Mike Green or Nick Emenwari for the
could
Eagles.
Still be there for the Philadelphia Eagles at 32.
Dude, Mike Green could go to the Chiefs too. Like the
what
Chiefs
if Mike
are
Green goes to the
next,
Chiefs?
right?
Yeah,
that'd be insane. But the Bills pick is in. Roger Goodell's taking his precious time to get up here on the stage. But,
Where'd that bike go that he had earlier?
Yeah, get him out there on the bike again.
Yeah, get that bike out there. We'll get out there fast.
I can only imagine that everybody there is just as delirious as we are now, since we're like 3 hours into this thing.
Yes.
Yeah.
Now I don't want to look at my phone because I don't want to spoil the pick for me.
No.
So I'm gonna put the phone down.
Yeah,
Can we just still talk about the fact that we're sitting here with the 30th and 31st first second picks coming up, and you've got guys like Mike Green and Giada Campbell were two guys that a lot of people thought could have gone top 10, and they're still sitting here.
Top 20. Top 20.
But and I'm thinking about it. I know this is unrelated to what we're just talking about, but since Shadir Sanders is such
I think the Bills draft Shadir Sanders to learn behind Josh.
Please shut up.
Okay, let's move on
Please
from that.
Stop talking.
Now the Browns get an early
don't look
second pick in the draft, and they still need.
I'm not. Give me some bad vibes.
I'm not.
Yeah,
but I'm looking at this Bills depth chart, and I feel like they need to go defensive back here. Again, you still have Dane Jackson. I mean, you have Christian Benford, and you have Tre'Davious White, who's like
Tre'Davious White is back.
He's 34 years old.
Wait,
he's old.
Didn't y'all lose Jordan Phillips too?
We did lose Jordan Phillips. We also lost.
So there's another
You
reason.
still have DeMar Hamlin.
We also lost Rasul Douglas in free agency. So our defense took a hit, but we did get guys like Joey Bosa. We signed Tre'Davious White back, and here we go,
Okay.
Buffalo. We have another person up on stage that is going to be announcing the Bills pick, and I hope he says Nick Emenwari's name. That'd be the ideal situation for Buffalo.
All right, JT, this is your time, man.
I might go crazy.
I'm gonna
right
let
here.
you have this moment.
Please, 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 please. Moment of silence for.
I think this defense.
Shush.
It's going to be a defensive
Shush.
back.
I could see Maxwell Hairston. I could see Nick Emenwari.
There we go. All right.
All right, here we go.
What a legend.
What's going on, bud? Let's see what we got.
Now, obviously, we can't play the audio over the air, so we're just gonna have to kind of just wait in silence for a minute because we can't hear anything ourselves. But I am looking for a replacement for Jordan Phillips.
Maxwell Hairston.
Okay.
For the Buffalo.
I had a gut.
That's
feeling for
fantastic. As a Kentucky fan, he's a speedy defensive back who is fantastic in man coverage. Honestly, I think that was a pick six against the Georgia Bulldogs, and we were screwed out of that game. I don't care. I watched that game live. Maxwell Hairston, look at his highlight tape, bro. Oh, it makes me salivate. Maxwell Hairston, he has me on the edge of my seat.
I am on the edge of my seat right
JT
now.
Groves, you should be super excited about getting Maxwell Hairston.
This was my second option behind Nick Emenwari. Obviously, I was talking up Nick Emenwari this entire draft, a guy that you can plug and play anywhere.
Yeah.
I don't hate this pick. We lost some corners. I don't hate Maxwell Hairston at all. 4.29 40-yard dash out of Kentucky.
There he is.
You obviously
4.29?
talk him up.
There he is.
I'm not mad at this.
Look, he does a good. I will say
He looks like a beast.
he does a good
I would
job.
just say he looks like a beast.
He's
And
a
he's
guy-
dressed very well.
Yeah, he's a guy
He's
that
already dressed in blue, baby.
He's already wearing blue. He knew where he was going.
probably for related to Kentucky, but
Yeah,
one thing he did at Kentucky
I
though.
like saying he's related.
I gotta say, Kentucky, they have a lot of good receiving cores, and he does really good at holding the double team. So I feel like, in terms of we go back to the issues that Buffalo has with playing Kansas City, and you talk about those double team issues, maybe this can be the kind of guy that shifts Buffalo in the right direction in terms of that rivalry. Maybe gets you to the Super Bowl this time. So you don't know what that kind of pick could turn into, but it's not terrible. I like it.
I do not hate this pick at all. Maxwell Hairston, obviously, I mentioned not my first option. But looking at some of his highlights that they're showing right now, I like this kid. I think he's very good. He can make good plays on the ball. Do you know his size, Jackson, off the top of your head?
I believe he is 6'1".
6'1". I don't hate that. I like that. He looks like a ball hawk corner.
Yeah.
A guy that can definitely step up and Rasul
There
Douglas.
there was a lot of comparisons of him coming out of college as of Marshawn Lattimore. With Marshawn Lattimore, the way Marshawn Lattimore plays, Maxwell Hairston, you got a good prospect.
I like it. I like it. I would have rather had somebody else.
Oh,
I've
okay.
already said.
I got confused with prospects there.
No. We're back with Brandon Dyer and Riley. Welcome back on the show, guys. What do you guys think of this pick here with the Bills?
I really like the pick for the Bills. I thought they were going to go secondary from the moment that they were. Oh, did they trade
the
up?
Philadelphia Eagles have traded up with the Chiefs.
Okay.
The Philadelphia Eagles have traded up with the Chiefs.
Okay.
Oh, hold on. Let me stand up.
Hold on.
Jason, please get me in this camera angle as I stand up for
I
this.
missed what the pick was that they traded.
It's a fifth rounder. It's like
a fifth
149,
rounder. It was
something like that.
150
Please get me
They traded up
in
one.
this.
They traded up one pick and threw in a fifth rounder to apparently get some guy that they're really excited to get.
No. Can I?
You can do
Is
your
this
talking.
going to be
Go
Mike
for
Green?
it.
Thank you.
Go for it. Take Mike
If
Green.
we get Mike Green, Nick Emenwari, or Will Johnson here, there's no shot because I was on this NFL draft show last year, and I'm surprised Quinyon Mitchell fell to us. What we need for the Philadelphia Eagles heading into this season, by the way, you're reigning Super Bowl champs, baby, is you need either O-line, an edge replacement for Josh Sweat or Brandon Graham, who just went to retirement, or a DB, because we just lost Darius Slay, or a safety, and we just got rid of C.J. Gardner-Johnson. So, Howie Roseman knows what he's doing. That's all I got to say.
He does know what he's doing. That is 100% correct. I mean, I think this is a interesting spot to trade up for because do we think the Chiefs are going to go offensive line or something? Like, if they're going to draft defense assuming the Chiefs draft offensive line, this is kind of an odd trade up, but it's pretty cheap. So I guess it's not anything to be like super concerned with specifically. It just kind of depends. I do think it's going to be very good for you to get Mike Green to replace Josh Sweat, or again adding Will Johnson. I think any of those picks, any of those guys that we're surprised to have fallen this far, I think are going to be great.
Hey Buffalo, can you guys trade back up into the first round and pick 32 and take Nick Emenwari, please? That'd be awesome. But Jackson, I want to throw this to Jackson real quick. As an Eagles fan,
please.
Who are your top three that you would want to take?
Mike Green, Will Johnson, Nick Emenwari. One of those three. If we get Will Johnson on the other side of Quinyon Mitchell, it's looking like and Cooper DeJean.
Great secondary.
Cooper DeJean is a flip between safety and DB. That's what we utilized him last season. We also utilized him at punt returner. But we need edge, and edge is what we need. And I'm edging on the edge of my seat right now because Josh Sweat and Brandon Graham. They're gone. Josh Sweat is, I believe, a Cardinal or a Commander. It's one of those two. Brandon Graham is retired. And, Darius Slay is now a Steeler. Avonte Maddox is gone. So, I'm just hoping for the next franchise edge or O-line. Because Lane Johnson is old and
you said edge or O-line, but then you listed two of your players that you
and
want.
DB and secondary. Bro, I'm delirious. It is JT, Riley, Brandon. It's 11:34 right now. So I'm like.
And it's that feeling of like you're a sports fan. You want everything your team needs. I wanted offensive guard for the first round, but it's only one pick, unfortunately. So wanting a bunch of different things, totally realistic, understandable. And I do think you're right about edge or defensive line generally. I think that is the place to go first. And I'm excited to see which of these defensive linemen they go after. Do you think it's going to be Mike Green or Nick? I'm not going to pronounce that name.
I absolutely think this is going to be Mike Green right here.
Imagine. Do you know what Mike Green's celebration is, Brandon? Continue. My bad. Hold on, continue.
I think that's going to be the pick right here. There would have been no other player that I think you would have traded up to pick right here other than Mike Green.
All I got to say, Mike Green, while he was at Marshall, this was his celebration. Imagine Mike Green in Midnight Green, baby. Sacks. He's sacking Jaden Daniels. He's sacking Dak Prescott. He's sacking old Russell Wilson. Stands up. That would look fantastic.
That was
bro.
horrific. Please never do that again. Anyways, I think the Eagles also go with Mike Green here. I don't think there's a reason that you trade up and not take Mike Green here. I mean, it's in his last name. You got to take him. You just got to take him.
I want to know why the NFL keeps on letting the Eagles get away with drafting this front
It's the
seven
script.
that has been
It's
absolutely insane.
I'm gonna cry. But JT, you think they go Mike Green?
I think they go Mike Green.
Riley, you think they go Mike Green?
I'm pretty confident they go Mike Green.
Brandon, you think they go Mike Green?
I think they go with the guy that's been in green his whole college career, and he winds up wearing green in the NFL.
Yeah. Or they could go Shador Sanders.
Shador Sanders?
It's an option. What if they go Jahad Campbell?
Jahad Campbell, I mean, I wouldn't be mad at that. He's a versatile guy who can play both edge and linebacker, and that's genuinely what we need right now. So, I mean, any sort of D-line, DB, or O-line. But if we go something like out of left field, like a wide receiver that I was seeing earlier today, I like Luther Burden. We had Devontae Smith. We have A.J. Brown. I
think your receiving core is pretty good. You have Dallas Goedert
yeah,
at tight end, too.
We
thought the same thing about the Bucks, and they went and took Egbuka when they already have Mike Evans and Chris Godwin.
Well, Godwin's injury prone.
Yes, but you could see the Eagles take a receiver here.
New example, Bears went to Colson Loveland when they have Cole Kmet.
That is true.
That is true, exactly. When they also should not have went with him over Tyler Warren.
I think it's an interesting ad for that team, but yeah, I mean, maybe if Ben Johnson wants to do 2 tight end sets or something, I think it could be
the pick is in.
Roger Goodell is on the stage.
Let's see who we got. Oh.
Jahad Campbell, baby.
Oh,
I will take that.
I like that.
I will take that. He's a versatile linebacker who can play edge and linebacker. Eagles keep drafting these SEC products. I'm loving it. I know everybody in this room's loving it. I know everybody in the control room is loving it because they love to see me happy. They love to see me happy. I know everybody's excited. Why are y'all not cheering? Why are y'all not standing up? You're supposed to be excited.
I love it.
Patrick Mahomes tweeted the emoji with the cool shades on.
Oh, I forgot about the
Chiefs. They got
Chiefs.
their guy. They know who they wanted, and they let him. You guys let him fall right to
Jahad
Oh,
Campbell.
I think they should have gone Mike Green right
the Chiefs
there.
already know.
I would have really liked to see y'all go Mike Green.
Yeah.
I thought that was going to be the pick because the Chiefs needed an edge rusher, and now I don't think it makes any sense the reason y'all traded up with the Chiefs.
Yeah.
If you guys thought that they were going to take Mike Green, then you should have traded up the spot to get Mike Green, but the corner was still going to be there, or the linebacker was still going to be there. Jahad Campbell was still going to be there in the next pick.
I still like Jahad
the Chiefs
Campbell.
wasn't.
I like Jahad Campbell.
I think the Chiefs would have went Mike Green then, and they're going to go Mike Green right now. Mahomes seems very happy with this selection.
Yeah.
Maybe they go offensive line then.
Or you don't know.
Maybe they go Josh Simmons out of Ohio State.
Another team like the Cleveland Browns could trade in to the spot and potentially.
The pick is already in.
The pick is
already.
So it is the Chiefs.
They know who they want. They know who they want.
And I think it could be Nick Emenwari.
I think Jahad Campbell's going to help out in coverage. Like, he's a great coverage linebacker. So I do like the pick for Philadelphia, but it is kind of odd for the trade up, I will say.
I'm gonna cry if this is Nick Emenwari and the Bills let him go to 32 to the Chiefs.
To the Kansas City
JT knows
Chiefs.
a little bit of things about some Chiefs trades, don't you, JT?
I do.
Classic.
I mean, we'll see how that pans out, but right now. It was 1 year under their belt. Xavier Worthy obviously looked really good. Keon has some things to work on. Over time, I got faith in Keon. I mean, I'm even repping his jersey right now, so I got to represent. But I'm so scared that the Chiefs go Nick Emenwari, and that's just one more thing that we have to worry about when we face them in the playoffs.
I really think the pick here is going to be Mike Green. I really think that was a guy they looked at. They probably didn't have a big chance on even getting. But if you're going to put a pick in that fast, I feel like that's pretty confidently going to be someone you feel a whole lot highly about. Mm-hmm. And, hey, we're talking about some of the character issues earlier that Mike Green has. He's going to fit in right in with the Chiefs organization.
So I know y'all said that y'all weren't really a big fan of us trading up a spot just to do that, but we had 8 picks. Now we have 7 picks
Okay,
in the
that's
NFL
fair.
draft. So just the variety of picks, I understand. Again, I'm not sure if the Chiefs were gonna go Jahad Campbell here. I don't think so, but again, I'm loving the pick.
Again, it wasn't a horrible trade. I just didn't. It's one I didn't understand.
Yeah.
I really think the Chiefs go offensive line here. I mean, they were having so much trouble with it all of last season. I know it was really exposed in the Super Bowl, but like they had to push Joe Tooney into guard, and then, they had to push him out to tackle, and then he left. So now I think the Chiefs need offensive line more than ever. Josh Simmons seems like a great, prospect without character concerns like you would have with Mike Green or something. So I think it's a real chance they go with O-line here. I do think they need edge, but I also think that O-line was like their big weakness last year, especially in the Super Bowl, and I don't think they want to get embarrassed in the same way again,
And what's insane, Will Johnson is falling out of the first round.
Yeah.
Which, obviously, with this injury,
It's more severe than people realize.
Obviously, GMs have noticed, and they do not want to risk it with Will Johnson. I don't think the Chiefs even risk it here going Will Johnson. Obviously, Mike Green, Josh Simmons would be the ideal. If they don't go Nick Emenwari, I'll be fine with Mike Green or Josh Simmons.
I think they either go Green or they go Simmons. I don't think that there's another pick there that they're going to go with.
I sure hope so. I'm scared to death for this pick.
But before this last pick is put in right here for the draft, what do you guys think about the first round? How do we like it?
I mean, I'm liking it so far. There was a lot of moves that I didn't expect to be made, like the Chargers going with Omarion Hampton, running back, or the Buccaneers. I mean, I understand with injury concerns with Chris Godwin and up there in age with Mike Evans. I didn't really expect the Buccaneers to go wide receiver. And then Colston Loveland going to the Bears when, you have Cole Kmet there, who's been really serviceable, more than serviceable, like a top 5 range tight end in the NFL, when Ben Johnson is a guy who utilized that tight end spot. He utilized Sam Laporta when he was in Lions. And Cole Kmet, I'm not saying Cole Kmet is like Sam Laporta-esque, but, it's just these moves surprise me.
Pat McAfee is now talking to Brandon Beane. I trust Brandon Beane and Sean McDermott. I trust they know what they're doing with Maxwell Harrison. But some of the biggest surprises for me in this first round, I was so good with the first 7 picks. I had all of those right, and then it started going downhill. And Colston Loveland going over Tyler Warren was something that surprised me. Tyler Booker going as soon as he did surprised me. Gray Zabel going at 18 to the Seahawks. And even, let's see, the pick is in. They went with Josh Simmons.
Yes, wow. Sir.
Take Josh Simmons out of Ohio State.
I mean, again, it was such a need for them. Their one guy that was consistently good at tackle is now gone. He went to the Bears, and he was filling in guard, or he was a starting guard before they swapped him out to tackle. So I think O-line was the play there. I am curious if they'll trade up in the second round for an edge or something, because I think Mike Green will go early in the second. But I think Josh Simmons makes sense here. I don't know how much of a reach it is, but it just felt right.
I don't think it's a reach at all.
I don't think it is.
I think this was a good pick. Although he was hurt most of the 2024 season, he didn't perform at the Combine either, but he's supposed to be ready for the 2025 season. And he's just a great offensive lineman that can help out your offense when you need it. And that makes sense why Patrick Mahomes tweeted out that cool shades emoji, because he knew they were going offensive line. He needs all the help he can get. That's the biggest problem he had in the Super Bowl against your Eagles, Jackson.
Yeah. Was
they needed that offensive line to stop the Eagles' rush defense.
And as Riley mentioned, Joe Tooney's gone. He's now a Chicago Bear. In this offensive line, you still got Creed Humphrey, who's one of the best centers in all of the NFL. But the only weak spot I necessarily see with this Kansas City Chiefs team is that O-line. So, Josh Simmons going here, he was projected around the early 20s, late teens originally. But him falling to the Chiefs, I think it's a fantastic pick for Kansas City.
I do like this. And some notable players that fell out of the first round: Will Johnson out of Michigan, Mike Green out of Marshall, Nick Emenwari out of South Carolina. Some big-name players that I think should have gone in the first round. But, of course, thank you all so much for joining us today. with Jackson, Brandon, Riley, and everybody else at Wolf Sports Network that came in to take part in this draft show. They showed up. They showed out for their Falcons, Eagles, and Colts, every other team that is here represented today. Thank you all so much for watching. Go show some love to the shows. We have 1 week left of the semester, 4 shows. Sports Pack on Mondays and Thursdays from 6 to 7. We have The Playbook on Tuesdays from 6 to 7. Sports Out of Pocket from 5 to 6 on Wednesdays. And, of course, Triple Threat at 11 a.m. on Fridays. But for us at Wolf Sports Network, thank you so much for joining us for this NFL Draft Show, and we will see you all next year.